Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Was Betrayed by Everyone and Became Mortal Kombat Scorpion Part 2. Before we start, please go support Michiha123 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Chapter 5, The Tournament and the State of Kuoh. Normal narration. Flashback 2 months before the events at the tea house. Place: you can see an old man selling potions in a village in the outer world. People were increasingly approaching the old man to see what he was selling, making them interested in potions. Friends, your patience is about to be rewarded. Save the best for last. I recently discovered a panacea of unparalleled power. It will soon be in every home in Outworld. This elixir is made from an ancient recipe. It contains Patreon flowers, Margovian nectar, and powdered Arctican dragon teeth. All of this, and more, imbued with powerful Lycorian magic. The inhabitants of a village in the next canton bought this miracle cure, and overnight, all disease, even the Tarkat, disappeared. Now, magic with such power is expensive. You must be asking yourself, can I afford it? But you should consider whether you can afford not to have it. 2. Your lie, Tsung. Your cures are useless. A mysterious man would reveal the name of the old sorcerer, calling him Tsung. Tsung, I'm sorry. Are you someone foolish enough to believe it? My daughter was dying when you came to my farm. You promised me a miracle, and I gave you everything I had. But days later she died, sadly shocking the villagers. Tsung, that's impossible. My magic couldn't have failed him. Relax, there was no magic at all. I gave your elixir to an imperial mage, and do you know what she said? Grabbing Tsung's potion and throwing it to the ground, breaking the bottle. It's nothing. Just Borjang tea. Angry, and at the same time the villagers would get angry with Tsung for trying to scam them. Tsung, the magician is mistaken, good sir. My elixirs are of the highest quality. Their effectiveness is guaranteed. At that point the villager would grab Tsung and throw him to the ground. Tsung would try to get up, but at that point the other angry villagers would corner him and hit him. Time skip 4 hours later. Tsung is seen at his potion stand leaving with a box. Upon opening the box he would have a mirror and look at himself, and then remove a wig and a mask, revealing that he was only wearing a disguise while his real face could be seen. That disguise is an excellent deception. It's easier for the villagers to trust a kind old man. This person who spoke to Tsung was Chronica. Tsung, did you come on behalf of a dissatisfied customer? If you're looking for revenge, go ahead. If you're looking for restitution, I have nothing. Angrily. Chronica, what I want, Tsung, is to elevate you. To make you the great sorcerer you now only pretend to be. Tsung, a generous offer. Why me? Seriously, Chronica, your resilience is unique. Who else could survive traveling the remotest parts of the Outworld, selling dubious cures and fake magic? Tsung, standing up. Ha. Survive? I can barely survive. Angry. Chronica, you deserve better. To live among kings, not peasants. But ever since you were born, there have always been plots against you, those who fear how strong you could become. Tsung, how do you know that? Who are you? Chronica, I am your liberation, Tsung. Join me, and I will lay the kingdoms at your feet. Tsung, upon hearing this, knew that he could change his miserable life, so he would not hesitate to accept Chronica's offer while having a smile. Psychopath. What fear. End of flashback. Issei. This fight is over, Raiden helping Raiden get up as Wukong approached. Wukong. Although everyone trained hard, Issei stood out. The result doesn't surprise me. Raiden, congratulations. Issei happy, bowing. Issei, thank you. Raiden happy. Mrs. Bo, although I would have liked my student to win, nothing more could be expected from a true Lin K warrior. Congratulations. Issei happy. Baihan, it was to be expected that a Lin K would win. With a smile. Teresa, ISSSEII. Throwing herself at Issei to hug him. You fought incredibly. That's my brother. My Issei, saying the last thing in a whisper that Issei didn't hear. Kuai Liang, hugging Issei from behind. I knew you would win. Issei, my beloved. Issei, saying the last thing with a whisper that Issei didn't hear. Issei was blushing as he could feel Teresa's and Kuai Liang's breasts, which were not small at all. They were the size of Rosweiss or Zenovia's breasts. Kung Lao and Johnny felt jealous since two beauties were hugging Issei, although Kung Lao couldn't say anything since he was in a relationship with Raiden's sister. Teresa and Kuai Liang separated from the hug with a light blush on their cheeks, but were not seen by Issei. Wukong, Issei, You proved to be the one who stood out the most. Now you are the one chosen to participate in the tournament. I am proud of you. Happy. Issei, upon hearing that someone was proud of him, felt like crying. He had never been told that, but he held back his urge to cry. Issei, thank you very much, Lord Wukong. Happy. Kensher, but won't it be difficult for him to fight against so many? Seriously, Johnny, yes, I think they will have mercy. Seriously. Kung Lao, be careful. Issei, they might hurt you. Or kill you. Seriously. Wukong, no participant in the tournament has ever died or been seriously injured. I would never send my champions into mortal combat. Grabbing Issei's shoulder, we will depart in 7 days for the capital of Outworld, Sundu. The tournament will be held at Empress Sindal's palace. Time skips 7 days later. During that time, Issei trained a little and said goodbye to Baihan since he could not be there when Issei left for the tournament, since he was busy with Lin K matters. Teresa and Kuai Liang were with Issei to say goodbye to him and wish him luck. Although they did not show it, they were in love with Issei, although he does not know it since he sees them as the sisters he never had. Issei, I guess I'm leaving now. With a smile. Teresa, yes. Issei, okay. I have to go now. Lord Wukong is waiting for me. He was about to leave but was stopped by Kuai Liang. Kuai Liang, but before you go, blushing. Teresa, we'll give you something for good luck. Blushing. Issei, really? What do you know? Choo choo. Teresa and Kuai Liang had kissed Issei on the cheek, making him blush. But Teresa and Kuai Liang were even more blushed, but they were able to control themselves. Teresa, those were some good luck kisses. Smiling with a blush on her cheeks. Kuai Liang, please take care. Issei, hugging Issei with a blush on her cheeks. Issei, yes, blushing. Issei would say goodbye to the two Lin K and head towards where they were all gathered with Wukong. Now everyone was gathered in a courtyard while Wukong created a portal to go to the outside world. Teresa and Kuai Liang couldn't go since they weren't selected to be in the tournament, so they could only watch as Issei left. Wukong, the outside world may be strange and intoxicating for the inhabitants of Earth. Don't let it affect you. Focus on the task at hand, seriously creating the portal. Once Wukong created the portal to go to the outer world, everyone was ready to go. Teresa and Kuai Liang looked at Issei with concern if something happens to the brown-haired boy since they did not want him to get hurt. Kung Lao, Johnny, Raiden and Kensher were nervous about entering a new world while Issei was not worried since he already lived this with the factions. So Issei along with Wukong, Johnny Cage, Kung Lao, Raiden and Kensher would pass the portal to be in a different realm from Earth. Location: Sundu, outside world. When Issei, Wukong, Johnny, Kensher, Raiden and Kung Lao crossed the portal, they would arrive at a very beautiful temple with great vegetation. Johnny, Toto, I think we're not in Kansas anymore, recording with his phone. Liu Kang's group would walk a little in the temple until they saw two very beautiful women and some guardians on either side. The first one had her hair tied back in a ponytail. Her eyes were honey-colored, she wore pink clothes and carried sai as weapons. She was Princess Melina. The second woman was like a twin of Melina since they were identical. The second woman had straight hair. Her eyes were honey-colored, she wore yellow clothes and as weapons she carried steel fans with sharp tips. She was Melina's younger sister, Princess Kitana. Note: in this part Kitana and Melina do not have the masks. Kensher, Raiden, Kung Lao, Johnny blushed seeing such beauties. Even Issei blushed since they were just as beautiful as Teresa and Kuai Liang. Johnny, wow. Are those Wukong, Empress Sindal's daughters? Yes. Johnny, they don't disappoint, watching Kitana and Melina with lust. Issei, we are the ambassadors of the Earth, Johnny. We will show them respect. Not unwanted attention. Seriously. Kitana and Melina saw Wukong, Issei and the others arrive while they were up on some stairs. Melina, Lord Wukong, welcome, smiling. Wukong, thank you. Princess Melina smiling. Melina, do you remember my sister? Wukong, of course. Princess Kitana bowing, at present to you. Johnny Cage, Kung Lao, Kensher, Takahashi, Raiden, and the champion of Earth. Issei would bow to Kitana and Melina. Kitana would blush upon seeing Issei but would hide it to look serious. Kitana, I hope you're ready. Issei, our champions are determined to win. Melina, no one but me. We haven't had a serious victory in a long time. Kitana had fallen in love with Issei at first sight, but she pretended not to look weak and looked at Issei more seriously, making him doubtful. Issei's mind: why does Princess Kitana see me like this? Did she not like me? Then a dark-skinned woman arrives wearing yellow clothes. I hope they don't take down my image. XD. Tanya, Princess Melina, we must get going. Empress Sindal is waiting for us. Melina, thank you, Tanya. Please follow me, leaving the place while everyone follows her. Wukong, Issei, Johnny, Kung Lao, Kenshir and Raiden began to follow Melina and Kitana to reach two carriages. The carriage in front were Issei, Wukong and Melina, and in the carriage behind were Kitana, Johnny, Kenshir, Kung Lao and Raiden, so they would begin to go to the palace where the tournament was going to take place. During the journey, a festival was held, attended by many people and strange beings with 4 arms called shokin, as well as centaurs. They were all celebrating the start of the tournament, while the carriages were guarded by female guardians carrying spears and shields. Kung Lao, Raiden, Kensh and Johnny were amazed to see the festival, but what impressed them most was seeing the beings that were not human. Issei, they are centaurs. And shokin? Impressed. Melina, the beings of 6 are Naknadans. Issei, the Lin K and the monks described them, but seeing them in person. Wukong, I see that your majesty once again spared no expense for the festival. Melina, shouldn't I? It's in honor of my late father Rias, but a little annoyed at remembering her father. Wukong, I only admire princess. I don't judge. Like everyone in the outside world, I value Jared's camaraderie. At that moment, she would hear a small disturbance, to which Melina peeked out to see what was happening and saw people who looked sick while they were arrested being transported to a place by a black-haired woman with purple clothes. She was Sun Du's first officer, Li Mei. Melina would stop the carriage and get off it to approach Li Mei while she was upset because there shouldn't be any problems to get to the palace. Melina, first officer. We had to clear the route. Can it wait? Angrily while calling Li Mei's attention. Li Mei, do I allow the Tarkatans to infect the city, Your Highness? Those prisoners harbor them, instead of reporting them for quarantine. Melina, the inhabitants of Earth cannot know our secrets. Li Mei speaking in a low voice as Sun Du's first mate, you should know better. Or maybe I'm expecting too much, annoyed as she returned to the chariot. All this was seen by Issei and Wukong, who were still in the carriage. Issei, apparently Princess Melina doesn't like him very much. Wukong, Li Mei used to be the Umgadi, the palace guard. The assassination of the princess's father occurred during her reign. After what happened, Melina would climb back into the float, and they would move forward again while the festival was still visible. It would take 20 minutes for everyone to arrive at the place where the tournament was going to be held. Time skip 20 minutes later. Location, Empress's Palace, outside world. Everyone had arrived at the palace and would wait for the tournament to begin. While everyone was waiting, Issei looked somewhat worried and Wukong noticed this. Wukong, worrying is a pointless waste of energy, Issei. Issei, but the tournament if I lost. Wukong, focus on your actions, not the outcome. That's all in your hands. At that moment, a being of quite high height would arrive. On his head he had horns. At the same time he wore a skull mask, and he also wore red and silver armor, making him look intimidating, and this was seen by Johnny, who would tell them that the man was getting closer. Johnny, red alert. A typical villain is approaching. Seeing the man. Wukong, don't let General Xiao provoke you seriously. At that, Xiao would arrive at the place where everyone was gathered. Xiao, ha ha ha, is the Earth Champion skinnier than usual, or is that just me? Mocking. Kung Lao, you want to test his strength? Issei goes. Wukong, he's going to prove his worth soon. Seriously. Xiao, have you not yet told the people of Earth that the Outworld exists? Wukong, it's safer this way, General. Seriously. Xiao, I suppose so. The fragile minds of your people couldn't handle the truth. Mocking. Wukong, you think they're weak, General? Seriously? After winning this tournament so many times? Seriously. Xiao, we will destroy your champion, Wukong. He will not taste victory. Angrily retreating. Issei was angry and felt like beating Xiao to death, but he would restrain himself because of the rules of the tournament. Play the song at 123 for a better experience. Smiley face. At that moment, trumpets are heard and Kitana and Melina enter next to a very beautiful woman with long white hair and purple clothes. She is Empress Sindel. Kitana and Melina would go to their thrones while the people who were there, Issei, Wukong, Kung Lao, Johnny, Kenshir and Raiden, would see the 3 women coming to their thrones to sit down. Sindel, greetings, members of the royal house. Greetings, visitors from Earth. We gather once more to honor the legacy of my late husband and to continue the tournament he created with Lord Wukong with the goal of fostering peace between the kingdoms. May Jared's soul protect us with pride from the living forest, where he rests with a bit of anger, mentioning her deceased husband Lord Wukong. Smiling. Wukong, Empress Sindel. I am pleased to be your guest once again. Bowing. Sindel, you're always welcome here. Now, let's meet your champion. Wukong, the champion of Earth, is Issei, Your Majesty, showing Issei he earned his place by embodying the best qualities of the inhabitants of Earth. Sindel would see that Issei was not nervous, which puzzled her since all previous champions who participated were nervous. Sindel, you don't seem nervous, young man. What's the reason for that? Issei, I've been to unfamiliar lands before, this is something similar. That's why I'm not nervous. Seriously. Sindel, impressive. I've never seen someone not be so nervous about being in the tournament, taking an interest in Issei. At that, Sindel stands up to announce the start of the tournament. Sindel, it's begun. At that moment, a bell is heard signaling the start of the tournament. Then Li Mei would arrive, since she would be the first to fight in the tournament. Sindel, as tradition demands, the first competitor from the Outworld will be Sun Du's first mate, Li Mei. May she defend the glory of our kingdom as she preserves the order of our capital. Li Mei, Your Majesty. With my combat, I will honor both the royal house and the entire Outworld, bowing as Sindel goes to touch her shoulder. Sindel, if that happens, you'll exceed my expectations. Remember, you wouldn't be here if it weren't for Jared's tradition, sitting back down. While with Issei and Wukong was giving support to Issei so he could fight. Wukong, you just have to do your best. The rest will happen by default. Touching Issei's shoulder while smiling. Issei, yes, Lord Wukong decided. Issei and Li Mei were serious while Wukong left the place so the fight could begin. Li Mei, let's see what you can do. Seriously. Issei, I hope this is the first of many victories. Determined, putting himself on guard. Li Mei, I will triumph, inhabitant of Earth. For me, this fight is more important than you could imagine. Seriously, putting yourself on guard. Please put the music at 0:15 for a better experience. Smiley face. Sindel, fight. Li Mei would launch herself against Issei, who dodged Li Mei's movements. With a quick movement, Issei would connect a kick to Li Mei's stomach, causing her to back up a bit, but Li Mei would recover and manage to connect a blow to Issei's face, causing her to get a little angry. Issei would launch himself against Li Mei, managing to connect several blows to Li Mei, causing her to fall to the ground, but she would get up quickly, and with a movement that Issei could not see. Li Mei would begin to knee Issei in the face, causing a little blood to come out, before Li Mei could give another knee. Issei would take her knees and whip her to the ground. Li Mei would quickly get up and create a pink explosive, throwing it at Issei, but he would teleport behind Li Mei, connecting a hook, causing Li Mei to rise a few meters, and then Issei would grab her by the leg to lower her, and take out his harpoon, sticking it in Li Mei's mouth to push her and fall to the ground by the harpoon by the force that Issei put. Li Mei was somewhat sore but got up, and with a quick movement she would throw several punches, but they were blocked by Issei, causing her to not be able to land any blows, making her a little frustrated. Issei would take out his kurosagama and begin to cover it in fire to throw it at Li Mei, who would receive some cuts with fire, making the pain a little stronger, but Li Mei would manage to catch Issei's kurosagama, but she did not expect that Issei would whip out a large amount of fire, causing Li Mei to burn. Issei took advantage of this, and would begin to hit Li Mei in the face, causing her to be a little stunned. Issei took advantage of this, and would kick Li Mei in the head, who could not block the attack and would fall knocked out. Scorpion wins, the music ends. Issei, thanks for the fight, First Officer. Seriously. Li Mei would stand up and bow to Issei, and without saying anything else she would leave the place, while Sindel, Kitana and Melina watched in shock as Issei won. Sindel, congratulations, Issei. You put up a good fight. We'll see how you do next time. The next fight will be against the Shokan Princess. Shiva. Seriously. Then a 4-year-old woman with remarkable muscles arrives. Kenshir, Kung Lao, Johnny and Raiden were impressed to see that Issei's next opponent was a Shokan. Issei, seeing the woman, knew that she was going to put up more of a fight than Li Mei, so he should be more focused. Shiva, so this is an Earthling who defeated Li Mei. Seriously. Issei, you're right, Princess. Seriously. Shiva, I'm not like Li Mei. I'll win for my people. She would be putting herself on guard. Issei, I will win for Earth. Seriously, putting himself on guard. Put the video at minute 0:140 for a better experience. Smiley face. Sindel, fight. Issei would teleport behind Shiva and hit her in the face, but surprisingly for Issei, Shiva did not move, and with a quick movement Shiva with 2 arms would take Issei and with her other arms would begin to hit him in the face and then throw him. Issei would recover. This time he would launch himself against Shiva, giving her stronger blows, causing Shiva now to retreat. Issei would throw a fireball at Shiva, causing her to give a small scream of pain, and in that Issei would throw his harpoon at Shiva, managing to stick it in the stomach, causing Shiva to give a small moan of pain. Issei, come here. Issei would pull his harpoon, causing Shiva to arrive in her place, and in that Issei would connect several kicks to Shiva's face, causing her to fall to the ground. Issei would lift Shiva and begin to hit 2 of Shiva's forearms so that Shiva could not grab him again. Shiva would notice this, and would grab Issei's head to slam him against the ground, causing Issei to groan in pain. Issei would see Shiva's legs and with a quick movement would knock Shiva down. Issei would get up quickly and begin to step on Shiva's arms, causing her to scream in pain. Shiva would take Issei's foot and get up quickly to try to hit Issei's testicles, but in a quick movement Issei would kick Shiva in the eye, causing her to release Issei, and this was taken advantage of by Issei to hit Shiva, making her back. Issei would begin to make cuts on Shiva's back with his hot harpoon, causing Shiva to scream in pain, but in that Shiva would take Issei by the arms to lift him up and would begin to headbutt Issei, getting a wound on Issei's forehead, causing it to start bleeding. When Shiva was going to headbutt Issei again, she didn't expect that now Issei would headbutt her, causing her to release Issei due to the pain of the blow. In that Issei would use his kurasagama to tie Shiva's forearms, making her unable to move, but Shiva would take a big jump to try to crush Issei, but Issei would dodge the attack and with a quick movement cover his kurasagama in fire, causing Shiva to scream in pain. Issei took advantage of this, and would start kicking Shiva in the face, who couldn't take it anymore, and when Issei gave the last kick he made Shiva fall unconscious while freeing Shiva from her kurasagama. Scorpion wins. Stop the music. Issei. This fight is over, princess of the Shokan, panting. Issei would help lift Shiva, who was noticeably taller than Issei. Once Shiva stood up, she had thoughts of Issei being the king of the Shokan. Shiva would retreat, while those present applauded for the fight. Sindel, congratulations, Issei. You've won the second match. Now let's move on to the third match. The third match will be against Kitana and Melina's childhood friend, Jade. You can see a beautiful woman with black hair and green clothes carrying a bow and a sharp boomerang as weapons. Kenshir, Kung Lao, Johnny and Raiden would blush upon seeing Sindel, since like Sindel, Kitana and Melina, she was a very beautiful woman, while Issei looked quite serious. Jade, I hope you don't hold back, because I won't. Seriously. Issei, I never hold back. Jade, I hope you don't hold back, because I won't. Seriously, while she gets on guard. Please put the music at 320 for a better experience. Smiley face. Sindel, fight. Jade would take out her bow and with a quick movement with her bow would hit Issei's eye, causing him to lose his sight for a few seconds. Jade took advantage of this and with her bow would hit Issei's testicles, causing him to scream in pain and fall in pain. Issei would get up quickly and teleport behind Jade to hit her in the face and grab her bow to start hitting Jade in the chest with her same weapon. Jade would try to recover her weapon, but Issei would throw it and start hitting Jade all over the body, causing Jade to fall to the ground. Jade would get up and throw her boomerang at Issei, managing to make a cut, making Issei groan in pain. Jade would go for her bow, but Issei would use his harpoon, throwing it at Jade's back, making him groan in pain, making him unable to run. In that, Issei would teleport in front of Jade to kick her in the stomach, making Jade lose all the air, but she would recover quickly. Jade would try to hit Issei but would only dodge the attacks. With a quick movement, Jade would connect a paw in Issei's ribs. Jade takes advantage of this and would manage to collect her bow. Issei without hesitation would take out his harpoon again and would throw it at Jade's bow to attract him, but surprisingly Jade would take the harpoon and pull Issei towards her and then take out a boomerang and would manage to cut Issei's chest, causing him to give a small moan of pain. Issei would try to hit Jade, but she would manage to dodge all of Issei's attacks and then kick Issei in the head, causing him to step back a bit. Jade would try to hit Issei again, but unexpectedly Issei would take Jade's arm and bring her closer to him to give her a head, but that stunned Jade. Issei took advantage of this and would take Jade by the face to knee her in the face and then knock Jade down, and would start hitting her, making Jade half unconscious, but she would manage to get up with great difficulty, while Issei would start hitting her in the ribs, making Jade almost knocked out, but finally Issei would hit Jade in the stomach, making her lose her strength, and she could not fight anymore, falling to the ground knocked out. Scorpion wins. Stop the music. Issei, this is over. Jade serious. Issei would help Jade get up while Jade was somewhat sore from the fight, but when Issei helped her get up she blushed, but thanks to the mask her blush could not be seen and she would quickly withdraw from the fight. Sindel, very well Issei. Now let's begin the fourth match. General Xiao. Who did you choose to compete next? Xiao, your majesty. I chose Reiko, my second in command. Then a guy arrives with his face painted, and with armor similar to Xiao's and with his hair tied up. Xiao, Reiko was orphaned as a child during the Kafala War. Although he was captured, his spirit remained intact. Through sheer determination, he survived. After the war, I took him in and raised him into the perfect soldier. Few are as well versed in the art of war as he is, with pride. Reiko would arrive where Issei was and would start making fighting movements to intimidate Issei, which she failed to do since Issei was not surprised by those movements. Reiko would finish making her moves, go to Issei and ask him something that would make Issei angry. Reiko, what army did you serve in? What wars did you fight in? Seriously. Issei, upon hearing what he said, would get angry as he would begin to remember how he served the factions and fought in several wars for them, and they only ignored his efforts while they gave his brothers all the credit, and how it is that they all paid him with betrayal. Issei, I participated in several wars and served some miserable traitorous worms. I served enough to know that you can't trust anyone angry. Sindel, Kitana and Melina were puzzled by what Issei said, but they would become serious when they saw that Issei had gotten angry, thinking that what Reiko said made Issei remember bad things. The same thing happened with Johnny, Kung Lao, Kenshir and Raiden. On the other hand, Wukong became more serious, thinking that maybe he was going to interfere in the fight since he knew what the factions did to Issei. At the same time, he was also going to interfere in the fight since it was likely that Issei was going to kill Reiko. Reiko, your pain doesn't compare to what I went through. Seriously. Issei, of course it doesn't compare. Because yours was child's play. Angrily angering Reiko with what he said. Reiko, you wish you hadn't said that. Angrily putting himself on guard. Issei, this will be your last battlefield. Angrily putting himself on guard. Sindel, fight. Issei would teleport in front of Reiko, giving her an uppercut, causing Reiko to rise a little, but she would recover quickly and take Issei's legs to knock him down and start headbutting Issei, but Reiko would realize that Issei would respond to Reiko's headbutts, causing their heads to collide brutally. Issei would quickly grab Reiko's head and bury his thumb in Reiko's eye, causing her to scream in pain. In this way the two would separate and get up quickly, and then Issei would quickly hit Reiko in the liver, causing her to complain from the pain of the blow, but she would recover. Reiko would try to kick Issei, but the brown-haired man would manage to grab Reiko's foot and would start elbowing Reiko's leg with the intention of fracturing it. Reiko would kick Issei in the face, managing to connect, and at the same time making Issei release Reiko's leg. Issei, with the chains of his harpoon, would throw them at Reiko's neck and would begin to suffocate him, but Reiko would take the chains and throw them at Issei's face, making him hit with his own chains, making Issei angry. Issei would launch himself at Reiko to hit him, but to Issei's fury Reiko was blocking and dodging all the blows. Issei in a quick movement would hit Reiko, making her kneel, and then kick her in the face, making Reiko back a few meters. Reiko would get up quickly and would launch herself at Issei to take him by the arm and would start hitting Issei in the face, making the brunette not defend himself much, but something occurred to him and would take Reiko by the hair to subdue him and would start kicking Reiko's legs, making her kneel again while she would loosen Issei's arm. Issei took advantage of this and would take Reiko by the neck to start hitting him, but Reiko would kick Issei in the testicles, making him release Reiko. Reiko would try to hit Issei, but Issei would teleport behind Reiko, and then Issei would cover his fists in fire, and then hit Reiko in the back, making the blows more painful for Reiko. Issei did not hold back and would kick Reiko in the face, knocking him to the ground. Issei took advantage of this and would start kicking Reiko's face, leaving him half dying. Issei would again grab Reiko by the neck and start hitting him in the stomach, causing Reiko to spit blood, and when he could not take it anymore, Issei would leave Reiko as he fell to the ground knocked out. Scorpion wins. Issei, I'm not done with you yet. Angry, Reiko was going to get up, but in that moment he would be knocked down by a kick to the face from Issei. Issei took advantage of this and would grab Reiko by the neck to start hitting him several times, staining both his yellow clothes and the white floor with blood. Sindel, Melina and Kitana watched in shock as Issei brutally beat Reiko. Johnny, Kung Lao, Kenshir and Raiden did not understand why Issei kept hitting Reiko because the fight was supposed to be over. Wukong, seeing this, knew that Issei had the intentions of killing Reiko. If Issei were to kill an opponent in the tournament, he would be disqualified and would be sentenced by the rules that Wukong set with Sindel's deceased husband. Without hesitation, Wukong would go to stop Issei from doing anything stupid, managing to subdue him. Wukong, ISSCI. Stop. Grabbing Issei. Issei, no. This bastard must die. Kung Lao, Kenshir, Raiden and Johnny also went to subdue and tried to calm Issei down. Johnny, calm down bro. Raiden, Issei, calm down. Xiao would take Reiko so that they wouldn't hit him anymore while Issei was calmed by Wukong and the others. Issei, Sorry, I got a little carried away. Calming down. Wukong, don't do that again. Seriously. Issei, yes. Once everything calmed down, Sindel would speak. Sindel, after this inconvenience, we'll recess until first thing tomorrow morning. I hope to see you all at the banquet tonight. Retiring with Melina and Kitana, Issei along with Wukong, Johnny, Kensher, Kung Lao and Raiden would go to a place in the palace to rest. In another part of the palace, Wukong was serious while Issei was silent, and Kung Lao, Kensher, Johnny and Raiden were confused until Kung Lao spoke. Kung Lao, why did you hit Reiko like you wanted to kill him? Issei, the wretch reminded me of things I want to forget. Angry. Wukong, Issei had already shown his skills when he faced me. Everyone hearing what Wukong said was surprised to know that Issei faced Wukong. Johnny, and when did they face each other? Issei, it was a year ago. I wanted to get revenge on the people who hurt me, but when I met Wukong, that's where it all started. I didn't believe he was a god since I had already met other gods, and I never saw Lord Wukong. Raiden, gods? Are you talking about the old gods? Issei, no. I'm talking about the Greek, Norse, Egyptian, and Hindu gods. Johnny, ha ha ha. Issei, are you sure you're not on drugs? Kensher, it is impossible for those gods to exist. Everyone didn't believe what Issei said. They thought he was crazy because he said that those gods exist. But they were going to be even more surprised when Wukong told them that they exist. Wukong, you are wrong. The gods Issei mentioned do exist seriously. Issei, not to mention angels, fallen angels and demons. Johnny, wait, biblical beings exist too? Issei, yes, I come from a family of high-class demons. Kung Lao, does that mean you're a demon? Issei, although I come from a family of demons, my blood is human, so I am a human, or well, a specter now. Seriously. Kensher, why a ghost? And how come you're not a demon? Issei, for an unknown reason, I was born with human blood and not demon blood. And about the specter, I was accused of working with a group called the Chaos Brigade, all thanks to a fake video where I seemed to be selling information to the leader of that organization, Rise of him Lucider. Raiden, can you tell us your story? Issei, fine, but please don't tell anyone about this, okay? Everyone nodded except Wukong. Thus, Issei would tell everything that happened to him since his childhood, the arrival of Rias and Sona, how they treated him in the city, what happened with the supernatural, the battle of Rise of him and how they sent him to Tartarus, how he faced Wukong and how he became a Lin K. Everyone except Wukong was impressed by everything that happened with the factions, and at the same time would be upset by how they treated Issei throughout his life. Kensher, and why isn't there some supernatural being participating in the tournament? Wukong, I asked God not to mention anything about the tournament or the kingdoms, as I was afraid the factions might cause more conflict. Raiden, so the factions know nothing about the kingdoms or the tournament. Wukong, indeed, Raiden. Fine. Let's heal your wounds, Issei. Issei, yes. But all this was heard by Sindel, Kitana and Melina, who when they heard Issei's past, Melina and Sindel would get furious and swear to torture and kill the supernatural beings, while Kitana was shedding tears of sadness knowing what happened to Issei. So the three of them would withdraw to organize the banquet that was going to take place. Time skip a few hours later. You can see everyone gathered at a banquet while they eat. Kung Lao and Raiden were enjoying all the food there was while Kensher watched them eat. Johnny was talking to Kitana, who seemed disinterested. Johnny, I'm sorry. Are you 10,000 years old? Now that's aging gracefully. While sipping wine, Kitana was getting fed up with talking to Johnny, and this was seen by Issei and Wukong, who were talking about other things. Issei, what do you see in him? Wukong, he's a hero, Issei. He doesn't know it yet, though. Do you recognize everyone here? Issei, most of them, from your descriptions. Even though I've barely seen them, I feel like I've known them before except for her. Issei would set his gaze on a black-haired woman with purple bows. Wukong, this is Rain, the High Mage of the Outworld. That's not her real name. She earned it because of her mastery of water magic also. Like Teresa and Kuai Liang, she was a man in past timelines. Issei, I see, that's why she didn't seem familiar to me. And about General Shao, was he a general in the past timelines? Wukong, General Shao in the past timelines was the Emperor of Outworld. Emperors are given the name Quan, so General Shao was called Shao Quan, but now I made him a general so he doesn't make attacks on Earth seriously. Issei and Wukong see Melina, who seemed to be sick since she looked dizzy and touching her stomach, and Tanya sees this and goes to see Melina to see her condition. Tanya, are you feeling ill, princess? Whispering, Melina, I'm fine, Tanya with a vomit-like voice. Issei and Wukong saw this but didn't notice Melina's state. Issei, I know I have to fight Melina, but against Tanya too? Curious. Wukong, by tradition you shouldn't. If you did, you'd be put to the test seriously. Issei, why? Wukong, the Umgadi, like Tanya, are warrior priestesses chosen from the firstborn of the Outworld. They are trained from childhood to defend the royal family. Seriously. Issei, if the Empress needs such protection, there must be a lot of conflict in the outside world. Seriously. Wukong, he had a difficult past. Although the last few thousand years of Empress Sindal's reign were a golden age, the memory of that conflict still lingers. Seriously. Sindal would rise from her seat while holding a glass of wine. Sindal, my husband, Jared, believed our kingdoms shared a common destiny. Let us commit to more dialogue and don't let decrees break our bonds. At that, all the people who were at the banquet would stand up, including Issei and Wukong. Issei, Your Majesty. It's an honor to be here and meet your people. I realize that there's more that unites us than divides us. Suddenly General Shao starts laughing at what Issei said. Shao, ha ha ha. Our towns couldn't be more different, champ mockingly. Issei, excuse me? Seriously, Shao, you heard me. The people of Earth lack. Sindal, enough. General seriously interrupting Shao. Shao, my apologies, Your Majesty. I believe I'd enjoyed this excellent wine too much. If you'll allow me. Seriously. Sindal, you can go. Seriously. Shao and Reiko would leave the banquet while Shao would throw a glass, causing it to break. Time skip 30 minutes later. Location, Sindal office. Sindal would be in her office while she was worried about what Shao did at the banquet, so she called Shao to scold him. Sindal, it's already horrible that we might lose to Earth, and on top of that, you get drunk and insult them. You needlessly stained my honor and your family's dignified military tradition. Angrily scolding Shao. Shao, may I speak openly, Your Majesty? Seriously. Sindal, sighing the same thing again? If necessary. Shao, we must act according to the prophecy of the sorcerer, who warned us that Wukong would conquer the Outworld. Seriously. Sindal, and usually his predictions are infallible. But I have no proof that Wukong has any ill intentions. The outside world has been at peace for centuries thanks to his interventions. Seriously. Shao, he's cornering us with agreements, and that compromises our sovereignty. If only we could fight our enemies. Sindal, you would condemn us to an endless war. Angry. Shao, I prefer that to being Liu Kang's lapdog. Seriously. Sindal, if any indication emerges that the prophecy is correct, we will act. But only then and only at my command. Didn't your illustrious father teach you that war is a last resort, not a first? Seriously. Shao, yes, Your Majesty. Seriously. Sindal, don't forget that, General. At that moment there would be a knock on Sindal's office door. Sindal, come in. Kitana and Melina would enter Sindal's office while Shao would leave the place. Melina, did you want to see us? Sindal, I saw what happened tonight. Seriously. Melina, it's nothing, probably something I ate. Worried. Sindal, yeah? I can't risk it, can I? If you fight tomorrow, symptoms of your illness might manifest. Kitana will go in your place. Seriously. Melina, what? It's already rumored that she's supposed to replace me as your heir. This will confirm it. Worried. Sindal, if you're sick, it's your fault. I still don't understand why you left the palace unsupervised that night. Melina, I just needed to be alone, away from all this. I never imagined. Sindal, that's your problem, Melina. You never think seriously. Kitana, Mother only wants to protect you, sister. If your illness becomes known, you'll be sent to the desert. If you want to take the throne, you mustn't reveal your secret. Worried, Melina, unable to bear her concern any longer, would run away from the place while Sindal and Kitana were worried about their daughter/sister. Time skip the next morning. Everyone was gathered in the palace garden to continue the tournament. By this point, Issei had already defeated the other fighters. Now Sindal was sitting on her throne. Sindal, you never cease to amaze me, Issei. You defeated Kodo, Motaro, and Goro, among others. Only 2 more fights left. Are you ready, Earthling? Issei, yes, Your Majesty. Seriously. Sindal, then you will face my daughter Kitana. Kitana would come out into the garden, while having her mouth covered with a mask and carrying in both arms her steel fans with sharp tips. This baffled Wukong, since the one who was supposed to fight Issei was Melina as he approached where Issei was. Wukong, Your Majesty, this is unprecedented. Issei's next opponent should be your heir. Seriously. Sindal, Melina had to leave to attend to some urgent imperial matters. Lying. Wukong, But I didn't prepare him to face Kitana seriously. Sindel, you've already demonstrated great skill, can't you improvise? Issei, don't worry, I can do it, calm down. Lu calm, very well, stepping back so the fight can begin. Kitana, I am a rival as strong as my sister, an inhabitant of Earth, seriously. Issei, I don't get my hopes up, Your Highness, seriously, putting himself on guard. Kitana, I will win this fight. For her, my Empress, and all of the Outworld. She would open her fans as she stood on guard. Please put the music at minute 0:17 for a better experience, smiley face. Sindel, fight. Kitana would use her fans to try to hurt Issei, but he dodged Kitana's attacks and with a quick movement would take Kitana's arm to hit him in the face and a kick in the ribs, making Kitana groan in pain, but would recover and threw her fans, making some cuts to Issei, but Issei didn't care much and would rush at Kitana to try to hit her, but Kitana dodged Issei's blows and with a quick movement would try to kick Issei, but he would dodge it and would take Kitana's foot to throw her, causing Kitana to fall to the ground. Kitana would get up quickly and run towards her fans to take them, and this time Kitana would rush towards Issei to try to stick one of her fans in Issei's shoulder, but she would not succeed, and this time Issei would rush towards Kitana, managing to connect some blows to the stomach and face. Kitana would take one of Issei's arms and would manage to stick one of her fans, making Issei give a small cry of pain, but Issei would not let her, and would take out his harpoon, covering it in fire, and would stick it in Kitana's shoulder, causing Kitana to release Issei and give a cry of pain. Issei would throw his harpoon at Kitana, but she would use her fans, creating a gust of air, making Issei's harpoon unable to reach. Issei would take out his Kurosagama and cover it in fire to start spinning it, making some cuts to Kitana. Then Issei would teleport behind Kitana and give her a fire-covered kick to the head, causing Kitana to fall to the ground. Kitana would get up quickly and throw one of her fans at Issei's leg, managing to stick it, making Issei give a small cry of pain as he got on his knees, and this would be taken advantage of by Kitana to kick Issei in the face, causing him to fall to the ground. Issei would recover and run at great speed and take Kitana by the face to start hitting her in the face, making Kitana somewhat unconscious but still standing, and then Issei would hit her in the stomach, making Kitana lose air and become somewhat dizzy. Issei took advantage of this and would begin to give several blows all over Kitana's body, making her almost knocked out. Issei would continue hitting Kitana and finally give Kitana a hook, making her rise a little and fall to the ground, knocked out. Scorpion wins, the music ends. Issei, you fought well, Princess, helping Kitana up. Kitana, just like you, inhabitant of Earth. To my surprise, serious and pained. Issei, I hope we see each other under different circumstances. Sindel, it's time for the final duel, gaining everyone's attention as Kitana goes to sit next to Sindel. The victories achieved are a true testament to your abilities, but now you must face General Shao. Shao would arrive at the garden while carrying an axe and wearing a skull-shaped helmet, making him look imposing. If you're wondering why Shao carries an axe and not the mace he uses in the other games, that's how they did it in the 2023 one Malawi Kwacha. Sindel, victor of the Tavarian War, conqueror of the Khotan Plains and defender of the Navala coast. General Shao defends us with fervor and tenacity, as his family has for generations. All of us in the Outworld are grateful for his service, smiling. Issei, what a fabulous list of achievements. General, seriously, as he puts himself on guard. Shao, it's barely a part of them. Reciting everything would take days, mockingly as he stands on guard. Please put the music at minute 0:17 for a better experience, smiley face. Sindel, fight. Shao would try to cut Issei with his axe, but he was very slow, and Issei took advantage of this to hit Shao in the face, but like Shiva, Shao did not move. Issei, noticing this, would move away from Shao, who would try to grab him to hit him but would not succeed. Shao lunged at Issei, managing to hit him a little, but Issei would not let himself be hit, and also began to hit Shao in the body, causing Shao to give small moans of pain, and with a quick movement, he would take Issei to hit him with his skull-shaped helmet, making Issei a little dizzy. Issei would recover and take Shao's arm to stick his harpoon in him, achieving it while Shao released Issei and gave a small cry of pain and took out the harpoon to throw it to Issei, who would catch it. Shao, with a quick movement, would take Issei to hug him with great force with the purpose of breaking his ribs, causing Issei to scream in pain, and in that he would cover his body in fire, causing Shao to burn and release Issei. Issei took advantage of this and would take one of Shao's horns and would start hitting him in the face, causing his helmet to break a little. Shao would see how his helmet would break, and this made him angry, and quickly take Issei by the neck to stick his axe in his chest, causing Issei to spit out a large amount of blood and made him angry, and would take his harpoon and stick it in Xiao's forehead so that after a violent movement he would tear Xiao's forehead, causing him to start bleeding profusely and at the same time causing him to lose his sight for a moment, since his blood entered his eyes. Issei took advantage of this, and with Xiao's axe he would stick it in one of Xiao's arms, causing him to scream in pain. Xiao was already fed up with Issei and would take out the axe from his arm to launch himself at Issei to try to hit him, but Issei moved quickly and would throw a fireball at Xiao, making him scream in pain from the burns. Issei would quickly knock Xiao down and grab Xiao by the head and start headbutting him, causing Xiao's helmet to break, and to end the fight Issei would start fatally beating Xiao, making Xiao knocked out. Issei realized this, and would stop hitting Xiao and then get up. That way he would win the tournament. Scorpion wins, the music ends. Issei, it's over, I did it. Happy, Sindel, congratulations, Issei. Earth won seriously. Cinda and Kitana would leave the place while Issei saw Xiao, who was barely recovering, and Issei decided to help him. Issei, do you want me to help you? Xiao, don't come near me, Earthling. Angry. Then Lu Kang would arrive with a smile upon seeing that Issei won the tournament. Lu Kang, well done. You exceeded my highest expectations, smiling. Issei, thank you, Lord Lu Kang, smiling. Lu Kang, thanks to you, those who seek to disturb the peace of the outside world will once again be appeased, smiling. Now let us bid farewell to our hosts and return to Earth. Raiden, Johnny, Kenshiro and Kung Lao would bow to Issei for winning the tournament, while Issei would also bow in response while smiling, and they would start clapping. Johnny, haha, good. That was great, applauding Issei. Kung Lao, you taught the outside world a lesson, smiling. Kenshiro, you did it, that was very impressive, applauding Issei. Raiden, it was fantastic, Issei, smiling. Issei would be healed of his wounds, and an hour passed where Issei, Lu Kang, Johnny, Kenshiro, Raiden and Kung Lao would say goodbye to Sindel, Kitana and Melina. At the same time that Issei said goodbye to Jade and Shiva, who saw Issei very seriously, making Issei a little weird, but the truth is that they were thinking about lustful things about Issei. So everyone would return to Earth and make a surprise for Issei. Time skip 1 hour. Location, the tea house, China, Earth. The news that Issei had won the tournament had been given to the Lin Ke, who celebrated, to the Wushu Academy, who also celebrated, and to Mrs. Bo, who would prepare a banquet for Issei's victory. Teresa and Kuai Liang would go to the banquet without hesitation to see their brother/secret love, to hug him and congratulate him for winning the tournament, while Baihan would not go due to other matters. Issei along with Lu Kang, Johnny, Kenshiro, Raiden and Kung Lao would arrive at the tea house to eat something, and then Mrs. Bo arrives. Mrs. Bo, the Earth champion, has arrived, smiling. Issei, I'm flattered, Mrs. Bo, smiling. Mrs. Bo, haha. I heard you won the tournament. Congratulations, Issei, smiling. Issei, thank you, Mrs. Bo, smiling. Mrs. Bo, and since you managed to win the tournament, we have to celebrate it with a meal, smiling. Issei, thank you very much, I'm actually hungry, sadly. Mrs. Bo, and one more thing, the girls came to celebrate your victory, smiling. Issei, Kuai Liang and Teresa are here. Well, I'm not surprised they came, but I guess Baihan didn't come. Mrs. Bo, yes, I don't know what Baihan has now that he doesn't want to come anymore, seriously. Raiden, well, we'll know later, for now let's celebrate. Mrs. Bo, Raiden's right, let's go. The food is already ready. Mrs. Bo would lead everyone to a table and they would sit down. Before Issei sat down, he saw something that made him blush, and he saw Kuai Liang and Teresa with some plates of food and aprons, giving the signal that they prepared food and they left it on the table, being the cause of Issei's blush. Kuai Liang and Teresa were going to bring more food, but when they saw Issei they ran towards the brown Lin Ke. Teresa/Kuai Liang, ISSEI, Issei. Hello girls, blushing. Kuai Liang, congratulations on winning. Issei hugging Issei with much affection. Teresa, we knew you could win, hugging Issei with much affection. Issei, Mini Gigi, thank you girls, blushing while feeling Kuai Liang's and Teresa's breasts. Teresa, we'll make your favorite food, dumplings, smiling. Issei, thanks girls. If you made them, there's no doubt they'll taste amazing, smiling, making the two Lin Ke blush. Kuai Liang, what things are you saying? Issei, blushing. Everyone would laugh at the scene, but Lu Kang would speak. Lu Kang, you guys have fun, I have to go. Kung Lao, come on, Lord Lu Kang, celebrate with us, trying to convince the fire god. Lu Kang, sorry, but I have some things to do. Raiden, we understand, Lord Lu Kang. Lu Kang, before I go, I'd like to thank you for winning the tournament. Issei, No, Lord Wukong. Thanks to you. You gave me the life I always wanted. It wouldn't have happened if I hadn't met you. Grateful. Wukong, I'm glad. Enjoy the night. Happy as he leaves. Mrs. Bo, okay, let's start celebrating. Everyone would start eating while Issei looked around him with a smile. Kensher, give me Sento back. Johnny seriously. Johnny, give me 3 million and it's yours. Mocking. Kung Lao, I'm already hungry, drooling for food. Raiden, same as me, in the same state as Kung Lao. Teresa, Mrs. Bo, come eat. Eating. Kuai Liang, yes, rest a little, giving a chair. Mrs. Bo, thank you. Girls sitting down to eat. Issei was finally happy. He had a family who loved him, good friends, and they finally saw his efforts and thanked him for them. Issei could now have the life he always wanted. Meanwhile, in the city of Kuoh. In the city, the weather was cold and cloudy, giving the city a very sad appearance. Kuoh City became a very depressed city. No one was happy anymore. People still looked for Issei after 1 year. Some businesses closed because it was found out how some cities treated Issei, which caused Kuoh's businesses to close. Celebrities who lived in Kuoh had their careers ruined because it was revealed that they were hurting Issei. Most of the stores, malls, supermarkets and shops were closed because it was also discovered that they all mistreated Issei. In short, more than 80% of the city lost their jobs. The academy closed and classes wouldn't resume until they found Issei and gave him another chance. Something that will never happen. The young men who studied with Issei were still deeply sorry, while the girls who studied with Issei were very sad. They wanted Issei to come back to make up for it by being Issei's girlfriends, and they didn't mind sharing it. The teachers were in the same state as the entire city. They were very depressed for treating like that a student who was always good to everyone and never held a grudge against them. The nurse and the cooks who worked at the academy cried in their homes, while they remembered that they never cared if Issei was hungry or hurt, and they would also remember how Issei asked them for help and they never wanted to help him. Now they wanted Issei back and they promised to take care of him and be Issei's partners. Something that would never happen. The mayor was depressed by the state of the city, and because there was no trace of Issei. She met the Hyoudou family when Issei was barely 3 years old, and since then she treated Issei badly while she treated Menma, Izami and Arisu in the best way, pampering them with toys, ice cream and more. Now she wanted Issei back to give Issei compensation, and that compensation was to marry Issei. She didn't care if she was older. She wanted Issei in her arms. Basically, the city was going from bad to worse. I will soon post an image of what the mayor looks like. In a park, there were 3 women crying inconsolably. They were Aika, Murayama, and Keitase. The reason they were crying was because they couldn't find Issei, thinking that her ex-boyfriend had died or simply left forever. Aika, Issei, please come back, I miss you so much, crying inconsolably. Murayama, where are you, Issei, forgive me, and come back, crying inconsolably. Keitase, why, Issei, why did you leave, come back, crying inconsolably. Issei's 3 ex-girlfriends begin to remember how Issei was their boyfriend and how he treated them with great affection, and how he treated them as his girlfriends and not as objects like Menma did. Flashback 1 year and 11 months. When Issei gave the stuffed animals to the girls, he went and started hugging and kissing the girls on the cheeks. Issei, I love you girls, thank you for being with me. I swear I'll always be with you, hugging the girls with much affection. The 3 of them. Why yes, we too, with some disgust. Time skip 3 days later. At Kuoh Academy, Issei is seen during recess looking for his girlfriends, but he hears the 3 of them in a classroom and decides to hide and see what they are doing, but what he heard would only leave him heartbroken. Aika, we already fulfilled our bet, Mimakuen. We even burned the stuffed animals he gave us. Menma, seriously, should I give you some stuffed animals? Mocking. Murayama, yes, and the worst thing is that he made them mockingly. Keitase, the good side is that we burn them, ha ha ha. Aika, we don't want anything from that idiot. When he gave you the stuffed animals, I felt disgusted, mockingly. Menma, they are really bad girls, and when will they finish with that idiot, mockingly. Keitase, today I'm already fed up with your loser brother, mockingly. Aika, the most humiliating thing is that her little friend is very pathetic and adorable compared to Menma's sword, she said with mockery and lust to the last. Menma, Murayama and Keitase started laughing at what Aika said about the size of Issei's member, while Issei just listens to this and starts to shed tears. Menma, you are such a naughty person, Aika, that deserves a punishment, said the flirtatious Tide. Menma begins to approach Aika while she only sees him in a perverted way, and they begin to kiss full of passion, while Menma puts his hands on Aika's but making her give a small moan. Murayama, Aika, he's ours too, jealous. Keitase, Menmakuen, I also want a kiss with a pout. Issei just leaves the place crying with his heart broken while the students and teachers who saw him run just made fun of him, and this was heard by Menma, Aika, Murayama, and Kates. Menma, it seems that human trash discovered us mocking. Murayama, this is better, it saves us from having to finish it mockingly. Menma, well, we finished what we started with lust. The three, of course, flirtatiously. End of flashback. The girls, upon remembering all of that, would start to cry very loudly. All three, ISSSCII, screaming while crying inconsolably. Her cries were so loud that they could be heard throughout the park, making the atmosphere very depressing. Location: Issei's residence. Issei could be seen in a deplorable state. She was completely disheveled. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying so much, and she was wearing black pants with a black sweatshirt. At the same time, there were several empty wine bottles around her, implying that she had started drinking alcohol. Issei was drinking a bottle of wine while crying and remembering Issei. Issei, my Issei, why did I treat you so badly? If I hadn't been so stupid, you would already be here with me, kissing me and hugging me with your warm body. You don't know how much I miss you. Issei crying while drinking a bottle of wine. Issei would remember how Issei confessed to her, how she accepted him, and how she left him while Issei suffered. Flashback 1 year and 10 months ago. Issei looked quite nervous and blushing with a bouquet of flowers and some chocolates as he went to the living room where Issei was. When he arrived at the living room, he saw Issei while she was with some papers. Issei, hello, Issei-sensei nervous. Issei, hello, Issei smiling. Issei sensei. I have to confess something to you, nervous. Issei, tell me, Issei smiling. Issei, you have treated me well. You never insulted me, and you always helped me when I had problems, and you make me feel safe, and the truth is that I like you a lot, and please go out with me, nervous while holding the bouquet of flowers and chocolates. Issei was speechless, but she took courage and went to hug Issei while giving him a kiss on the cheek. Issei, Issei. You're really cute, and I actually like you too. Of course I'll go out with you. Hugging Issei. Issei sensei. It makes me very happy, hugging Issei. Since then Issei and Issei became boyfriend and girlfriend, but we already know what happened next. Time skip 2 weeks later. Issei-chan, please help me taking blows. Issei, you disgust me, uselessly looking at him with disgust. Issei, what? Somewhat confused. Issei, hit him more with a sadistic smile. Boys, HAI hitting Issei more. Issei, but why? Sadly receiving more blows. Issei, ha 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 ha, did you really think I was going to be with a pervert and useless like you? Of course not, because as you said that day, they would only make fun of me. I only used you as my toy to be able to get closer and make your brother jealous that he is a real man, not that you just discuss me. If you hadn't been born, my Menma and I would already be together, grabbing her cheek, thinking about Menma and her in a church getting married. If you'll excuse me, I have better things to do than seeing garbage like you. After all, I only used you to get closer and make your brother jealous. And if you hit him more, you'll have better grades leaving the place. Boys, HAI. 20 minutes passed where the students mercilessly beat Issei, who could only shed tears for what just happened with Issei and fell unconscious. When he finished being beaten, 2 hours passed where there was no one in the academy, and Issei woke up and was going to leave the place, but he heard some moans in a classroom, and what he saw left his heart even more broken, because in the classroom Menma and Issei were having hex in the place where Issei sits. Issei, yes, please give me more. Menma, do you like Issei-chan? Penetrating Issei. Issei, I love you babe, aha, come give me a kiss, giving Menma a tongue kiss. Menma, breaking away from the kiss, and what happened to that useless guy? Mockingly. Issei, that idiot was sad, ha ha ha, it was gratifying to see how they beat him, while I told him to just use him, ha ha ha. Menma, ha ha ha, that's what happens for being trash. At that point he starts sucking one of Issei's breasts while playing with the other breast and thrusting harder into Issei. Issei, ara, you look like a baby wanting his mom's milk. Don't worry my love, your mom is here to pamper you and take care of you. More hugging Menma's head towards her breasts. Issei just left there quietly so as not to be discovered while shedding tears in abundance. End of flashback. Issei, remembering that, couldn't hold back and started crying very hard, knowing that she was just a sexual object, an abuser of someone who did love her. Issei, please come back, I miss you. Screaming while crying inconsolably. Flashback 1 year ago, one day after the revelations of Issei's ex-brother's place, a chestnut tree can be seen escaping from demons, angels, fallen angels, Asgard warriors, Spartan warriors, Egyptian warriors and Hindu warriors while it was raining. The brown-haired boy was Issei's former older brother, Menma. Now Menma found himself in an abandoned forest, while he looked agitated. Menma, shit, this can't fucking happen. At that, Menma sees a person approaching him, making Menma stand on guard. Menma, who the hell are you? The person would show his face, and the person who was there was Shang Tsung. So that you don't get confused, there are two Shang Tsungs in this story, and I will explain this in upcoming chapters. Shang Tsung. Hello, Menma. Hyatt is smiling. Menma, how do you know me? Seriously. Shang Tsung, I've seen you for a long time and honestly, you interested me. Smiling. Menma, what do you mean? Shang Tsung, I've seen you since you were born. Your life has been good until now. So I'm here to offer you something. Menma, why me? Shang Tsung, because there was a battle in which a person I hate named Wukong and I faced each other for the hourglass. The hourglass served to modify history to his whim, and from that battle several timelines were fought. And in my timeline I won. In this timeline Wukong won and he created all history, so I decided to kill that bastard, and that's why I need you. Shang Tsung, join me. I offer you power, and you can rule this timeline. You'll have money, women. Everything you want you'll have. But I need to kill Wukong and his new champion. Your brother Issei. Menma, upon hearing his brother, would get quite upset since he had ruined the luxurious life he had. Menma, I accept. I want to kill that damn angry Shang Tsung. Fine. But I need your sister's sacred gear, Arisu. Menma, are you talking about his sword, Chameleon? Shang Tsung, that sword isn't normal. That sword was a living being that could copy the abilities of its enemies. With Chameleon, you'll be more powerful than Rias and Trihexa. Menma, fine. I'll get Chameleon from my sister's fox. Smiling. Shang Tsung, ha ha ha. Fine. Let's get out of this place. Menma and Shang Tsung would leave the cave while Menma smiled psychopathically while saying in his mind, Menma, I'm going to kill you. Little brother smiling in a disturbing way. Chapter 6. A New Threat and the Secrets of the Outworld. Normal narration. It's been 5 days since Issei won the tournament. Everything was peaceful for Issei and Wukong, who thought there would be no more dangers. Now they can enjoy peace without knowing what would come. Now Wukong was meditating in the temple where he lived. At that moment, Garas arrived and teleported using sand. Wukong stopped meditating and saw Garas as he stood up. Wukong, Garas, my old friend, it's only been a short time since what happened with Issei. I'm glad to see you smiling. Garas, same here, Lord Wukong. I've seen you with the hourglass. You're enjoying your role as protector of the earth. Wukong, being the guardian of time could never have pleased me as much as this. I never wanted to replace Chronica. Being the architect of history drove her mad. I don't want to share the same fate. That's why I will always be grateful that you volunteered to protect the hourglass. Even though I gave up its power, the new era unfolded as it should. Garas, you created me in your image. Duty is my true calling. Wukong, while I'm glad you're here, I know you don't make social calls. Is there a problem with the hourglass? Garas, was something he showed me seriously. Wukong, what, Garas? Serious. Garas, by resetting history, you altered the fates of certain evildoers to neutralize them. At least one of them didn't accept that fate. Shang Tsung seriously. Wukong, upon hearing Shang Tsung's name, became more serious as he remembered all the atrocious things Shang Tsung did in past timelines. Wukong continues seriously. Garas, he escaped his meaningless life and is on his way to becoming a powerful warlock. He's already managed to infiltrate Sindel's court seriously. Wukong, there was no trace of him at the tournament. But if that snake is influencing Sindel seriously, Garas, your peace project may already be compromised seriously. Wukong, thanks for the warning, Garas. I'll look into it. Now go back to the hourglass and try to find out more. Wukong left his temple to go to his champions, as he needed Shang Tsung brought to him. Time skip 30 minutes later. Wukong called Kung Lao, Johnny and Kensher while Wukong went to get Issei at the Lin K temple since he needed him for something important, which made Baihan, Kuai Liang and Teresa confused, but they let Issei leave with Wukong without saying goodbye to Teresa and Kuai Liang, although Issei did not know what Wukong wanted him for. Once Issei, Kung Lao, Johnny and Kensher are at Liu Kang's temple. Johnny was carrying Sento, Kensher a sword and Kung Lao his hat, while Issei was carrying some Lin K katanas. Wukong asked Issei to change his clothes for some of the Lin K, to which Issei, somewhat confused, agreed and changed clothes. Kung Lao, Johnny and Kensher found it strange that Issei was wearing those Lin K clothes since they always saw him wearing yellow clothes and his characteristic mask. Now Issei was wearing blue clothes with a mask that completely covered his face, only his eyes being seen. Note: Issei will wear those clothes only in this chapter. Once Issei finished changing, Wukong gave them a portrait of Shang Tsung and explained what they should do with it. When Issei saw the portrait of Shang Tsung, he became serious since he thought he had known him before. Issei, we must look for him in the outer world and bring him in for interrogation seriously. Wukong, yes. If what I fear has happened, he is a grave threat to the kingdom seriously. Kensher, anything else? Wukong, Shang Tsung is a master of deception. Don't believe a word he says seriously. Johnny, reminds me of my first agent. Issei, it's a complex mission. I'd rather go with Raiden than with this one seriously. Johnny, hey. This one will do the job. Angry. Wukong, this mission requires discretion. I'm breaking my word and sending them to the Outworld without Empress Sindel knowing. After the tournament, Issei is already a familiar face there. And I'm taking the risk of sending him since it will only increase the likelihood of them being discovered. That's why I asked Issei to wear the Lin K uniform so he won't be discovered seriously. Issei, and why isn't Raiden coming? Wukong, Raiden has to train the new monks, that's why he can't come. And that Wukong takes out a kind of red compass with a turning hand. Wukong, this talisman is linked to Shang Tsung's chi. It will guide you to him. Kensher grabs the talisman. And be careful. May the ancient gods protect you. Seriously. Location: Outworld Desert. Issei, Johnny, Kensher and Kung Lao had arrived in the Outworld and began searching for Shang Tsung with the talisman that Wukong gave them. A few hours had passed, and now they were all in a desert as night fell. Johnny, ugh, are we there yet? Kensher, again? How old are you? 5. Johnny, what can I say? These boots weren't made for walking sore. Issei, if that's the most pain you feel today, you're lucky. Mocking. Johnny, haha. I'm lucky now. I'm carrying Sento on my back. Kensher, she'll be mine. Cage, seriously. Johnny, you have 3 million? It's yours. Mocking. Kensher, you know I don't have them. Seriously. Johnny, I'm sure your Yakuza friends would get them. Oh, that's right, you abandoned them. If I learned anything from Hollywood, it's not to burn your bridges. You never know who might help you. Kensher would get angry and stop, and then look at Johnny. Kensher, the Yakuza are leeches who suck the blood of the weak. I grew up like that and never understood why, in order to win, others had to suffer. I've left, and I need my clan to do the same. We can't continue participating in their crimes. At that, the talisman would start to shine, indicating that they were close to Shang Tsung. Kensher would start to walk while Johnny stood there but was ignored by Issei and Kung Lao, who passed by Johnny while the aforementioned complained. A few meters away they could see what appeared to be a tribe fighting with soldiers from the outer world. The tribe seemed to be cannibalistic beings, so they believed that Shang Tsung was there. Johnny, what does your precious say? Seriously, while recording. Kensher, that Shang Tsung is among those things. Seriously. Johnny, my fans will go crazy dressing up as them at Cage Con. Recording. Issei could see a being from the tribe tied by the arms and being taken to a place while some soldiers were forcing him to go to the place. The being had sharp teeth, and it seemed that he had bones coming out of his body. Issei was watching everything but managed to see Shang Tsung with a syringe as he approached the being from behind while the being was held by the soldiers. Shang Tsung, hold him tight. If he twists, I won't be able to extract his marrow. On the other side, Issei would alert Kensher, Johnny and Kung Lao. Issei, there's Shang Tsung. Seriously. Johnny, let's go in when I'm done. In Fists of Steel. We did that. Kensher, we won't strategize with your movies. Cage, seriously, as he interrupts Johnny. Now let's look at the being to whom. Let me go. You can't do this. Angry as he tries to get rid of the soldiers, Shang Tsung would kick the being in the knee, causing him to kneel while he had the syringe ready. Shang Tsung, the wound will heal in time. It's a small price to pay for progress. Mocking. Shang Tsung would inject the syringe into the bone marrow, managing to extract a yellow liquid from the being while the being would scream in pain, causing him to become enraged and manage to break the rope with which he was tied and then create some kind of swords that come out of his forearms to bury them in the heads of the soldiers, killing them instantly, and then get up and see Shang Tsung to start fighting while the other beings fought with soldiers. And all this was seen by Issei, Johnny, Kensher and Kung Lao, who looked impressed except Issei, who looked serious. Johnny, on second thought, the scene is going well without us yawning. Let them finish it. Kensher, we must save Shang Tsung. Wukong needs him alive seriously. Everyone would go to the tribe to try to take Shang Tsung while the aforementioned was about to die, since the being would use his swords but was stopped by Kenshir, who would grab him by the neck to subdue the being who kicked Johnny, Kung Lao and Issei. Shang Tsung took advantage of this, and would transform into a being of the tribe to go unnoticed and disappear from sight by the beings of the tribe, and this was seen by Issei, Kung Lao and Johnny. Issei, how did he do that? Seriously, come, let's go for it seriously. Issei, Johnny and Kung Lao would go for Shang Tsung but would be stopped by the beings of the tribe, who became serious enough to start fighting. On the other hand, the being would manage to get out of Kenshi's grip. Music for the environment, smiley face. I would have killed him if it weren't for you. Angry, Kenshir, I understand your reasons, but you can't. Rawr. You're one of his henchmen. You'll die in his place. Put the video at minute 0:14 for a better experience, smiley face. Fight. Kenshir would draw his sword to fight, while the being would draw the swords from his arms to launch himself to attack Kenshir, but he would manage to dodge it, and would throw himself against the being to try to fit his sword or make cuts on his body, but the swords of the being prevented Kenshir, since it seemed like a sword duel, but Kenshir would manage to take the advantage since he was a swordsman, and would manage to make several cuts to the being, but they were not deep or serious, but that would make the being get angrier and now want to kill Kenshir to try to stick his swords in Kenshir, but the aforementioned would dodge all the attacks of the being and then kick him in the face. The being would try to take Kenshi's sword, but the aforementioned would hit the being with the crown of the sword and then kick him in the chest, making the being on his knees, and Kenshir took advantage of it to kick him in the face, sending him flying. The being was getting angry and went to Kenshir, who would manage to insert a kick in the ribs, making Kenshir complain a little but would recover, but in a short time Baraka gave Kenshir another blow to the face, causing him to fall to the ground. Kenshir, being on the ground, would kick the being, causing him to fall while Kenshir got up. The being would get up and see Kenshir to pounce on him and would manage to hit Kenshir in the stomach, but the aforementioned would recover quickly and would manage to stick his sword in the being's chest so that the aforementioned would begin to scream in pain, while Kenshir would take out his sword and then hit the being in the face, causing the being to fall to the ground. Kenshir saw this and took advantage and grabbed the being to give him one last cut on the chest and then let him fall to the ground. Kenshir wins. The music ends. Kenshir, please let me explain seriously, as he puts away his katana. Issei, Johnny, Kung Lao and Kenshir were now surrounded by the tribe while the being rose. Johnny, you got us into this. How about you get us out? Seriously, Kenshir, I know what this looks like, but we don't work for Shang Tsung seriously. If not, why save him? Seriously, Kenshir, because Wukong, the protector of the land, wants to question him. He believes Shang Tsung may be a threat to our kingdoms. I am Kenshir Takahashi, wanting to shake the being's hand, which he sees and growls at him. Our race doesn't shake hands seriously. Kenshir, sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. Don't you know what we are? Seriously, Kenshir, no serious. We are victims of Target. You don't get infected easily, but you can't risk exposing yourself further seriously. Johnny would be terrified by that, and wash his hands of it. It disfigures you, then weakens you. Eventually, it will turn us all into bloodthirsty monsters. Only death will set us free. Seriously, Issei, so you weren't always like this? I used to be a wealthy merchant, but when I got sick, I was banished. Now I run this colony. I'm Baraka. Seriously. Issei, what does Shang Tsung intend to do with your bone marrow, Baraka? Seriously, Baraka, I don't know. But he comes here every month to extract it. Seriously. Kenshir, free us and we'll capture him. And then we'll find out why he's been coming here. I promise. Seriously. Baraka would see the tribe and then see Kenshir. Baraka, let them go, noticing that the talisman broke shit. It was leading us to Shang Tsung. Now we can't find him. Seriously. Baraka, his lab is nearby. I'll take you. Time skip 1 hour. Location, Shang Tsung's laboratory. It was already morning. Baraka took Issei, Kung Lao, Kenshir and Johnny to the laboratory. Johnny, and you know what we're waiting for? Baraka, no. I was never inside. Seriously. Issei, stay here. We'll go in. Seriously. Baraka would stay outside while Issei, Kung Lao, Kenshir and Raiden would enter the building very stealthily, since they did not want to alert the people inside the place. They all went up until they heard Shang Tsung's voice. Shang Tsung, incorporating crushed chitin larvae, turned out to be a success. The test yielded much better results. I didn't use the same formula as last time. It now has several new ingredients. They all finished climbing the stairs and hid to see what Tsung was doing with Tanya and Rain, but they noticed that Melina was asleep on a stretcher. Tsung, this new serum is just what we need. Its effects will be immediate and long-lasting. Rain, how can you know? Tsung, because it's made with freshly extracted tarkatan marrow. It couldn't be more potent. Looking at the syringe he used on Baraka, Issei, Kung Lao, Johnny and Kensher thought that Tsung was going to inject Melina with Tarkat to infect her. Kung Lao, he's going to infect Melina with Tarkat seriously. Johnny, and 2 of Sindel's bosses are with him. No wonder Liu Kang is worried about this guy seriously. Issei, we must stop him seriously. Johnny, save a distressed maid? Consider it done. Smiling, Issei, Kung Lao, Kensher and Johnny would leave the place where they were hiding, alerting Tsung, Rain and Tanya to be on guard. Kensher, get away from her. Johnny, damn! Looking at Tanya, Kung Lao, excuse me? Looking at Johnny, you know, the movie with the little girl and the giant alien Ripley. Mimicking what, right? Really? Rain, inhabitants of Earth? How did you find us? Tanya, you've seen too much launching to attack Issei. Issei would stop Tanya's blow to hit her in the stomach, and then Kung Lao would kick Tanya in the face, sending her flying, while Johnny would hit Rain and Kensher would kick Tsung, causing the syringe with which he was going to inject Melina to break. Tsung, I need time. Get it for me seriously, as he goes to prepare a serum. Rain, Liu Kang sent them, right? To find out our secrets. Angry, Johnny, he sent us to find Tsung. But it seems he's only part of the problem. Seriously. Issei, I thought the Umgadi were loyal to the royal house. But here you are, plotting against the princess. Tanya, they're breaking into Outworld and interfering in imperial affairs. It's you conspiring, not me. Issei, Kung Lao, Kensher and Johnny would fight against Rain and Tanya, but it was not very difficult for Issei and the others since they were 4 and they were fighting against 2, so after a few minutes they ended up defeating and knocking out Tanya and Rain. Once they finished, Kensher went to the table where Tsung was. Kensher, move away from the table seriously. Tsung, this is the second time you've bothered me. The people of Earth have unhealthy habits. Seriously. Kung Lao, you heard it. You're not going to infect her with Tarkat seriously. Tsung, I'm trying to protect her, not infect her seriously. Issei, we heard you were lying. Forgive our skepticism. Seriously. Kensher, cover it. Issei, come with me seriously. Issei, come on seriously. Issei and Kensher would go to the place where Melina was on the stretcher and asleep. Once they arrived, they approached Melina to see if she was okay. Issei, princess, are you okay? That's when Melina would wake up. Melina, ugh, is it over? Kensher, yes. You're safe. We stopped Tsung. Melina would get upset upon hearing that. Melina, they arrested him? Why? Altered. At that, Melina would begin to convulse and become aggressive while her eyes turned crimson. Issei and Kensher, seeing this, would try to calm Melina down. Issei, princess. Princess, what's wrong? All this was heard by Johnny, Kung Lao and Tsung, who became worried. Kung Lao, what did you do to him? Angry, Tsung, it was your fault, asshole. Let me help her before it's too late. Seriously. On Issei and Kenshi's side, they saw Melina more aggressive, so they decided to back off a bit, and saw how Melina managed to get away from the stretcher since she was tied up at the same time that Melina's teeth were forming just like Baraka's. Melina, Baargg, Tsung, do you believe me now, inhabitants of Earth? Kensher, what do we do? Worried, Tsung, keep her busy. I need time to make more serum seriously while using potions. Kensher, Johnny, will you help me? Johnny, do we have a script? Or are we just winging it? Seriously, Kensher, whatever they do, we can't hurt her seriously. Johnny, to her? More like, she to us seriously. Melina would rush at Johnny to start hitting him and sending him against a wall. Music for the environment, smiley face. Kensher, princess. We can help you seriously. Melina, your blood sniffs, I can smell it. How nice it will be to lick it off my fingers. Put the video at minute 0:18 for a better experience, smiley face. Fight. Melina would lunge at Kensher to try to kill him, but Kensher hit Melina in the face, causing her to fall to the ground, but she would get up quickly again. Melina would lunge at Kensher, managing to hit him in the chest, and then in the face, and then kick Kensher in the stomach, sending him flying. Kensher would recover and had no choice but to hurt Melina, so he would get up and went for Melina to hit him, and that Melina would get angry and would lunge at Kenshiro, but he would take Melina's arms and headbutt her, making Melina complain of the pain. Kenshiro in a quick movement would take out his sword and make some deep but not lethal cuts to Melina, who would complain of the pain but would not care and would begin to hit Kenshiro in the face multiple times so that he falls to the ground, and Melina took advantage of this to try to open Kenshi's stomach but would not succeed since Kenshiro would kick Melina in the face, causing her to fall to the ground as well. Kenshiro would get up at the same time that Melina would also get up. Melina would try to take Kenshi's foot, but Kenshiro would hit Melina with the crown of his sword on Melina's head so that she would complain of pain. Kenshiro would grab Melina by the arm to bring her closer to him and start hitting her in the face and stomach, making Melina a little weak, but Kenshiro did not stop until Melina would fall a little weak. Luckily for Kenshiro, since Shang Tsung already had a new cure. Kenshiro wins. The music ends. Kenshiro, Issei, Johnny, Kung Lao, help hold her down. Melina would try to escape, but Issei, Johnny, Kung Lao would hold her to subdue her, but it was not easy since Melina was very aggressive and struggled a lot. Issei, it's now or never. Shang Tsung, holding Melina. Shang Tsung already had a new injection, but as he approached Melina would kick Shang Tsung, causing the syringe to break again, while Melina would manage to get away from Kung Lao to give him an elbow and would hit Issei in the face, causing him to move away. Melina was going to rush to Johnny, but Kenshiro takes her by the shoulders, but Melina would put him aside. Melina would see her sai on a table, and would take them to rush to Kenshiro, and would bury the sai in Kenshi's eyes. Kenshiro, screaming in pain. Johnny, Kenshi, scared. Shang Tsung didn't know what to do since the syringe used to heal Melina broke again, while Kung Lao and Johnny were horrified to see how Melina buried her sais in Kenshi's eyes. Issei would take courage and grab Melina by the arms to have her in front of him and hug her to calm her down a little. Issei, please, princess. Calm down. I'm here with you, hugging Melina. To Issei's surprise, Melina was calming down and then throwing away her sai to hug Issei. Every second that passed made Melina calm down to the point that her eyes returned to their original color and her teeth returned to normal. Shang Tsung saw this and was surprised since Issei's hug was more effective than the serum he prepared to cure Melina. From one moment to the next, Melina returned to normal but would fall unconscious, stopping hugging Issei, and then Issei would lay Melina on the ground. Issei, it seems that things have returned to normal. Seriously, Shang Tsung, but how? Shang Tsung would be interrupted as Kitana, Xiao, a shogun named Goro, and soldiers led by Xiao would enter the place. When Kitana saw Melina with blood and lying on the ground, she quickly went to help her sister. Kitana, oh my god! Melina! What happened here, witch? Worried. Shang Tsung, these men were sent to interrupt your sister's treatment and reveal her illness to create a serious scandal. Johnny, what? That's totally fake. Princess, Johnny couldn't finish as Goro would punch him in the face, knocking him out instantly. Goro would throw a punch at Kung Lao, but he would stop it, but Goro would use his other two arms to punch Kung Lao in the stomach and then punch him in the face, making Kung Lao fall unconscious. Now Goro would go for Issei to punch Issei in the face with two of his arms, but Issei would take both arms to jump and kick Goro in the face, making him fly away. Xiao, capture him. Issei, shit. The soldiers would go for Issei, but Issei saw a window and decided to go to it to leave the place. Managing to escape, Issei would run away to lose the soldiers while he had a thought. Issei's mind, forgive me for escaping Johnny, Kung Lao and Kenshiro. I'll be back to get you out of there. Just give me a little time while I take out these bastards. Meanwhile in the laboratory, Xiao would talk. Xiao, damn, he's gone. Shang Tsung, we will find him. Xiao, we should stop the Earthlings and the Tarkatan. At least until the Empress is ready to respond to the invasion. Seriously. Kitana, very good. Xiao would snap his fingers so that the soldiers would take Johnny, Kung Lao and Kenshiro, who was still alive but unconscious from the pain. Xiao, but you have to realize that this incident proves the bad faith of the inhabitants of Earth. We must attack them now to protect ourselves. Seriously. Kitana, no. They wouldn't do this. It must be a misunderstanding. At that moment a green portal would open and a bald man with pale skin would come out with some signs on his head and arms. This was the sorcerer Quan Chi. Quan Chi, this is no misunderstanding, princess. It's confirmation of my prophecy. If no one stops him, Liu Kang will conquer the Outworld. I'm sorry I didn't arrive sooner to defend your sister. I'm glad she received her treatment. Shang Tsung, the princess is safe, but the threat from Earth remains. Seriously. Xiao, yes. Quan Chi, when do you think they'll attack? Quan Chi, soon. The events that occurred today were foretold in the final quatrains of the prophecy. Shao, then I'm right. We have to act now, Princess. Kitana, I'll pass on your concerns to the Empress. She'll be the one to decide. Rain, Tanya, help me. Tanya and Rain would carry Melina to take her away from the place while Kitana left the place, leaving Shao, Shang Tsung and Quan Chi. Shao, what really happened here, witch? Seriously, Shang Tsung, it was a coincidence that the inhabitants of Earth interrupted the princess's treatment. They came because Lu Kang ordered my capture seriously. Shao Yu? Why, Shang Tsung, I must investigate that. For now, let us enjoy our good fortune. The timely arrival of the Earthlings is proof enough to convince the Empress that Quan Chi's prophecy is true. Quan Chi, conflict with Earth is now inevitable. Shang Tsung, not necessarily. The Empress has never sought confrontation. Shao, if she resists, she will be replaced. The outside world needs a tenacious leader. Shang Tsung, a leader like you, perhaps? Smiling, Shao, if my kingdom demands it. Wipe out the inhabitants of Earth. They must not report to Lu Kang retreating. Quan Chi, their deaths will also fuel anger between the kingdoms. Smiling, Shang Tsung, two birds with one stone. Smiling, Quan Chi, ha ha ha, our benefactor will be satisfied. Shang Tsung, to conquer both kingdoms, you need them in war, not in verbal conflict. Only then will we rule by your side. Smiling, referring to Chronica, Quan Chi, before I found myself languishing in the mines, I wouldn't have believed it possible. But thanks to her we'll soon go from being slaves to important people. Smiling. Meanwhile with Issei. Issei kept running as he was being chased by Shao's soldiers. Although Issei can easily beat them, he didn't want to risk attracting attention and Sindel knowing. So he decided to hide until they stopped looking for him. Issei, shit, I've been running for a while now and those bastards keep chasing me seriously. Issei would see a cave in the distance, so he ran with greater speed to the cave to hide. Once he got into the cave, he saw how the soldiers were going in another direction, to which Issei relaxed a little, but that relaxation would not last long. Issei, I think I'll be safe here. Seriously. Issei would go deeper into the cave but accidentally made a noise when he kicked a stone, causing it to make a loud noise throughout the cave, causing a being to wake up. Roar. The roar made the whole place start to shake, so Issei got serious. Issei, what now? Seriously, who dares wake up the Dragon Queen Onaga's sleep? Furious, from the darkness would emerge a dragon with horns on its head, with large sharp nails, gray skin, red eyes, large wings and a fairly developed body, not to mention that the dragon was 2.5 meters tall. She was the one who had given the roar and scream due to the interruption of her sleep. She was the Dragon Queen Onaga. Music for the environment, smiley face. Issei's mind, oh Buck, no more dragons please, I'm already fed up with dragons. Angrily remembering Ophis, Eris, Valerie, Mio and Tiamat. Onaga, were you the one who interrupted my sleep? Furious, Issei, if I'm the only one in this cave, then it was me. Seriously. Onaga, for waking me up, your punishment will be die. Put the video at minute 0:18 for a better experience. Smiley face. Fight. Onaga would throw fire from his mouth, but to his surprise Issei was not affected by the fire. Issei would teleport behind Onaga and kick him hard in the back, making Onaga scream a little in pain, but would recover and throw several punches at Issei, but none of the blows would hit him since he was somewhat slow, being very big. Issei would take one of Onaga's arms and take one of his katanas to bury it in Onaga, making him scream in pain, and then move away and take the katana from his arm to throw it at Issei, but the brown-haired man stopped the katana and then put it away. Onaga was furious, and in a fit of rage would rush at Issei, but Issei would be faster, and would start hitting Onaga all over the body while Onaga complained of the pain, and would roar to take Issei with the intention of whipping him to the ground, but Issei would take out his harpoon and stick it in Onaga's arm, causing him to release Issei. Onaga would start to fly to take a stalactite from the cave, and would throw it at Issei, who would quickly take his harpoon and throw it at Onaga, stabbing him in the stomach. Issei, come here! Issei would give his scream to pull Onaga to the ground, causing her to fall face down, hurting her since the blow was very strong, which would make it difficult for her to get up, but already fed up with Issei she would prepare her hand with her long and sharp nails to try to decapitate him, going for Issei at great speed, but Issei would remove his mask to launch a large flame of fire from his mouth, causing Onaga to scream in pain since she could be hurt with fire, to fall somewhat weak but still awake. But what would knock her out was that Issei prepared his fists covered in fire to start hitting Onaga in the face, and then fall defeated while Issei looked at her seriously. Scorpion wins, flawless victory. The music ends. Issei, I'm already fed up with dragons seriously. Onaga would wake up sore and angry seeing Issei. Onaga, damn, who do you think you are? You can defeat me? Angry, Issei, someone to make you look ridiculous seriously. Onaga would get angry at what Issei said. Onaga, bastard, you'll pay for this angry. Issei, say what you want, I'm leaving seriously. Onaga, why? You can't leave angry. Issei, why? Seriously. Onaga, why would you take me with you? Smiling mockingly. Issei, what? You're crazy if you think I'll take you with me seriously. Onaga, you don't understand. If someone beat me in a fight, the winner would have to take responsibility for me, smiling with a victory. When Issei heard that, he would get upset and respond to Onaga. Issei, you're an idiot if you think I'll take responsibility for you. Angry. Onaga, I'm sorry, but you won't be able to leave me here and I'll bother you until you take me with you, mocking. Issei's mind. This one is just as idiotic as Valerie and Albion seriously. Issei, ugh, I don't have time for these things. I have to go get Johnny, Kung Lao and Kensher. Okay, I'll take you with me. But if you do something stupid or try something suspicious, I'll rip your head off seriously. Onaga, well, by the way, what's your name? Curious. Issei, my name is Issei seriously. Onaga, are you the inhabitant of Earth who won the tournament? Issei, how do you know? Seriously. Onaga, I know about the tournament between the Outworld and Earth, and I heard that you were the champion to participate in the tournament and you won. I know because the news spread throughout the Outworld seriously. Issei, I see. Well, let's go. Onaga, wait, let me change into my human form. Issei, do you have a human form? Onaga, yes. If I use my dragon form, all of the Empress's soldiers will chase me down to kill me. Seriously. Issei, what problems do you have with her? Onaga, none. But the general is looking for me to kill me so he can have one more achievement in his collection seriously. Issei, well, transform so we can go now seriously. Onaga would nod and close her eyes so that her whole body would begin to glow red, turning into a beautiful woman with long red hair, wearing slightly revealing clothes that highlighted her large proportions. Ignore the cane. When Issei saw Onaga in her human form, he couldn't help but blush a little since she was a beautiful woman, but he would quickly wipe the blush away. Onaga, how do I look? Issei, pretty good, a little blushed. Onaga, where should we go now? Issei, to a laboratory of a sorcerer named Shang Tsung seriously. Onaga, okay, let's go seriously. At that moment we hear some soldiers who arrived at the cave and saw Issei. Soldier, we found it. Issei, shit seriously. 10 soldiers would arrive and go for Issei, but Onaga would decapitate them all in one movement with his nails that were still somewhat long and sharp. Issei, wow, that was good, surprised. Onaga, thanks, by the way, do you know where the place is? Issei, yes. It's a bit far, but we have to hurry. Onaga, well, let's go. So Issei and Onaga would leave the cave to go to Shang Tsung's laboratory at great speed. But Issei was somewhat worried that Shang Tsung would do something to Johnny, Kung Lao, Kensher and Baraka. In Shang Tsung's laboratory, some people seemed to be suffering because they had been experimented on to the point that they no longer had a form, and were only moaning in pain while bleeding all over their bodies. In the same place were Baraka, Johnny, Kung Lao and Kensher. Baraka, who was hitting the bars of the cell in which they were all locked up. Kensher, you've been at it for hours sitting while enduring the pain of losing his eyes. Baraka, if you could see, you would know why banging on the cell bars. Kensher, that's not going to happen, is it? Keep talking. It keeps me distracted. Tell me about your life before you got sick. Baraka, I was doing well trading goods along the Fartak coast. My family was comfortable and happy. Sighs and discouragement, then came the target. It took my wife's life, then my children's. But it was cruel enough to spare me for now. I think it enjoys slowly consuming my body. Seriously, at that Johnny would wake up. Johnny, ugh, what a hangover, recovering but sees Kensher. Going to see Kensher, damn, is the pain too bad? Worried, Kensher, terrible. Johnny, you saved me. I won't forget it. Baraka, but you might regret it seriously. Johnny, what? Johnny would see the place where they were and was horrified to see the sight. The place was full of blood with several bodies of people. Some were infected with target, and others were subjected to be experimented on. Johnny, what the buck? At what point did we move to survival horror? Baraka, this is Shang Tsung's real laboratory, seriously. Kensher, we're under the place from before. It was a fake facade. Johnny, it reminds me of a low-budget movie I saw a long time ago, The Flesh Pits. What a piece of crap. That's when a man would enter Shang Tsung's real laboratory. Johnny, Who is it? Seriously, Baraka, our jailer. The man went to a cell to feed the Tarkatans by throwing them pieces of human flesh. The man wore green and gray clothing, his eyes were also green, and he had tattoos on his face and arm. The man went to the cell where Baraka, Johnny, Kenshir and Kung Lao were, who had already recovered from Goro's blow. How are you? Looking at Kenshir, Johnny, they tore out his eyes. Guess seriously. The man would grab a jar to give it to Johnny. That will ease the pain. Johnny would take the bottle, see its contents, and see that it is an ointment. Baraka, it's vile to be part of this seriously. You are Shang Tsung's prisoner, and I am his slave. He has my family. He'll kill them if I don't obey him seriously. Johnny would take some of the ointment, and take out a red bandage to spread the ointment on it. Once the ointment was on the bandage, Johnny would tie the bandage with the ointment on Kenshi's eyes, causing the aforementioned to sigh in relief. Baraka, why did he choose you? Seriously, to find out how I shape-shift seriously. Kung Lao, did he learn it from you? We saw him do it. It was unreal. Johnny, how does it work? You just take any shape you want? I can only switch between this form and my natural state. The man would change shape into that of a huge and quite threatening reptile to earn the name Reptile. Johnny, wow! Surprised. Baraka, you're from Zatera. Can your race shape-shift? Reptile, nobody can, except me seriously. In that reptile would change form back to his human state because Shang Tsung would arrive. Shang Tsung, are you ready? It's time smiling. Baraka, what for? Which? Angry. Shang Tsung, replication experiments. We'll start with vivisection. I'll use the parts one removed from your body for new creations. The process is lethal, of course. Johnny, Liu Kang won't let you get away with it seriously. Shang Tsung, ha ha ha. Only if he finds out what happened. Once I'm done, there'll be no trace of you left. I'll be back soon to check on the progress. Now I have other matters to attend to. Shang Tsung would withdraw from the place by teleporting. Baraka, you don't have to do this. Reptile, it's you or my family seriously. Reptile would go to a cell where there were Tarkatans to free them, and once the Tarkatans' cell opened, the Tarkatans ran out. Reptile, put them in the chambers seriously. In that the cell where Baraka, Johnny, Kenshir and Kung Lao were would open so the Tarkatans could catch them, but Johnny would kick one of them and then go out and fight with other Tarkatans. Kung Lao and Baraka would also fight with the Tarkatans, but Baraka would kill them since he knew how the Tarkatans fought. Kenshir, not seeing, was easily subdued to a small electric chamber, as well as Johnny, since several Tarkatans subdued Johnny by putting him in another electric chamber, so that Reptile turns on a switch and begins to electrocute Johnny and Kenshir. Kung Lao was also going to be imprisoned, but luckily he managed to free himself from the Tarkatans and saw his hat, so he went quickly for it and threw it, managing to decapitate most of the Tarkatans. Baraka finished killing the last Tarkatans and went to the chambers to destroy them and free Johnny and Kenshir. All this was seen by Reptile, who would get angry. Music for the environment, smiley face. Reptile, I'm finished. Shang Tsung will torture my family to punish me. You will pay for their suffering, Tarkatan. Put the video at minute 014 for a better experience, smiley face. Fight. Reptile would change his reptile form to launch himself to attack Baraka, managing to hit him with his tail, sending Baraka flying. Baraka would recover and would take out his swords to rush at Reptile, managing to make some cuts on Reptile's body, causing the aforementioned to start bleeding. But the strange thing about Reptile is that his blood was green, but Baraka would not care and would rush at Reptile to try to bite Reptile in the neck, but would not succeed since Reptile created an acid bubble that managed to hit Baraka, causing the aforementioned to burn a little, and this was taken advantage of by Reptile to take Baraka. But Baraka would cut Reptile, leaving him. Reptile would slide with the help of his acid to kick Baraka in the chest, making Baraka scream a little in pain, but he would recover and take Reptile's tail to bury his swords in Reptile's tail, making him scream in pain as he moved away, and would throw a punch in Baraka's face, sending him to the ground, so that then Reptile would take Baraka by the head and start to smash him against the floor, and then send him flying with a kick. Baraka would recover and get angry with Reptile, so he lunged at Reptile to start hitting him, but they were blocked by Reptile, and he would also start throwing punches at Baraka, who dodged Reptile's blows, and Baraka managed to see an uncovered area of Reptile, so he would hit Reptile in the liver, making him complain of pain to stop hitting, and Baraka took advantage of this to give Reptile a hook that would lift him a few meters and then fall, very badly injured. Baraka wins. The music ends. Baraka, we're leaving seriously. Reptile, then kill me. If I die, maybe I'll leave my family alone. Baraka, no. I won't kill you. Reptile, It's mercy, not murder. Although, given what I did, I don't deserve it. Baraka, you protected your family. I would have done the same. Reptile would rise since he felt identified with Baraka, but then Shang Tsung would appear, who would see the bodies of the Tarkatans. Shang Tsung, what happened here? Angry. At that, Johnny would take Sento and stand next to Reptile and Baraka on guard. Shang Tsung, Sizoth, you idiot! You let them ruin everything. Angry. Baraka, we're leaving, which on guard, Johnny, and we'll take you with us. Wukong would like to talk to you on guard with Sento in his hands. Shang Tsung, they can't catch me that easily. Shang Tsung would cast a spell making Baraka, Reptile and Johnny retreat, and at the same time making the laboratory begin to turn green since Shang Tsung released a poisonous gas. Johnny, yeah, this gives me a bad feeling seriously. Shang Tsung, I bid you all farewell. Cheer up, Sizoth. I'm going to reunite you with your family. Smiling. Reptile, are they dead? Did you kill them? Shang Tsung, several moons ago. I hate loose hair. Reptile in a fit of rage would launch himself at Shang Tsung, but he would disappear while the gas was getting stronger. Johnny, we have to get out of here coughing. Kensher, what's wrong? Coughing while being carried by Kung Lao. Reptile, the door must have sealed when the gas was released. Coughing trying to open the door. Baraka would hit the door, but he couldn't break it, causing the gas to rise and everyone to start coughing. But by a miracle, Issei had just arrived with Onaga, who didn't know where Baraka, Kung Lao, Johnny and Kensher were until Onaga noticed the gas. Onaga, there's something down there seriously. Issei, come on, hurry up. Issei and Onaga had arrived at the place where the gas was and could see that the door was being hit until they heard Baraka's voice. Baraka, damn it, it won't open. Banging on the door. Issei, Baraka. Shouting from the other side of the door. Johnny/Kung Lao/Neshi. ISSEI. Issei, hold on, I'll get you out of there. Issei would cover his fists in fire to start hitting the door with great force until he would finally destroy the door, and then see Kung Lao, Johnny, Kensher, Baraka and Reptile. Issei, quick, Reptile, follow me. This way. Music for the environment, smiley face. Kensher was carried by Kung Lao and Johnny so that later Issei also helped Kensher, and everything was seen by Onaga. Kensher, let me go. I'll only delay you. Issei, what? If Shang Tsung finds you, he'll kill you seriously. Kensher, look at me, Issei. I'm just in the way. Don't risk your lives for mine. Johnny, hey. You're not going to give up. The Tyran need you, remember? We'll go home and figure out how to help you. Understand? Issei, Johnny, Kensher, Kung Lao, Baraka, Reptile and Onaga had left Shang Tsung's laboratory to start walking through a forest where the trees had faces. Reptile, if we delay, they'll capture us seriously. Kung Lao, we need help getting Kensher to the portal and Sun Do seriously. Baraka, I can only take you as far as the city gate. We Tarkatans are forbidden to enter seriously. Reptile, I'll walk you the rest of the way. It's the least I can do to make it up to you. Johnny, by the way, Issei, who is the woman coming with us? Issei, her name is Onaga. I met her when I was escaping from Shao's soldiers. Onaga, these are Kung Lao, Kensher, Johnny, Baraka, and who's coming with us? Reptile, my name is Sizoth, it's a pleasure. Issei, Issei, likewise Sizoth. Onaga, it's a pleasure to meet you, inhabitants of Earth, Zaterran and Tarkatan. Reptile, how do you know I'm Zaterrano? Onaga, because I can sense that your blood is cold. Baraka, Onaga, you have the same name as the Dragon Queen. Onaga, well actually Issei would cover Onaga's mouth so that she doesn't reveal that she is the Dragon Queen. Baraka, what about you? Issei, she doesn't know why she's called that. Onaga would get angry with Issei for what he did, but he let it go. Some time passed in which Issei, Johnny, Kensher, Kung Lao, Baraka, Reptile and Onaga walked and entered the forest. Johnny, wow, this reminds me of Evil Planet. There was a forest in the second act. Kensher, the Battle of the Manticore? Johnny, yes. It was very difficult to film, but the result was epic. Kensher, I imagine it with details. Baraka, this is the living forest. Kung Lao, is there any forest that isn't alive? Baraka? Baraka, no other has trees that house the souls of the dead. Johnny, wait a second, are you talking about ghosts? Baraka, good, not evil. Issei, do you know anyone here? Baraka, some distant relatives. Reptile, you won't find Zaterrans. Kensher, why not? Reptile, the warm bloods don't like us. So we keep our distance and live underground in Zakander province. Kung Lao, so how did you meet Shang Tsung? Reptile, My ability to take human form made my people see me as a freak. They bullied me, and I ran away. Hungry and penniless, I joined a traveling carnival. It turned out there were plenty of people willing to pay well to see my gift. Back then, Shang's son was a traveling salesman. Our paths crossed, and he saw my skills. When he began to learn real sorcery, he wanted to study me. And when I refused, he captured my family. Seriously, Johnny, wow. An offer you can't refuse. Reptile, he's dangerous and he has plans. General Shao, Rain, and he are plotting seriously. Issei, to do what? Seriously, Reptile, I don't know for sure, because I only heard fragments seriously. At that, distant roars would be heard that would alert everyone, but Reptile would change form to that of a reptile and Baraka would take out swords from his arms and they would run to the place where the roars were heard while leaving Issei, Kung Lao, Kenshir, Johnny and Onaga in the place where they stood. Baraka and Reptile arrived at the place where the roars were heard and saw a woman in white clothes, black hair, completely black eyes with what appeared to be marks on her face. The woman was killing strange beings with a magic sword. Music for the environment, smiley face. The woman would see Baraka and Reptile. Quan Chi sends more demons? Baraka auto. No. The woman would take out some white wings and would launch herself to kick Baraka, sending him to the ground, while Reptile watched this seriously. With each one I kill, I am closer to my absolution. Spilling their blood brings me closer to the light seriously. Fight. Reptile would throw a spit of acid in the woman's face, causing it to burn and give off some small screams of pain. Reptile would take advantage of this to use his tongue to tie the woman's feet and then lift her up. Reptile would scratch the woman and then stop using his tongue and hit her, sending the woman flying into a tree and then crash. The woman would get up and take out her wings to fly and attack Reptile, but in a quick movement Reptile would hit the woman with his tail, causing her to fall to the ground and then get up. The woman would get upset and take out her sword to try to kill Reptile, but Reptile would create an acid bubble to throw it at the woman, but the woman would cut the acid bubble, but she didn't count on Reptile kneeing her in the stomach, but the woman still with her sword would manage to make some cuts on Reptile's chest, who would complain of the pain but would take the woman's hand to hit her with the intention of breaking her arm, but she wouldn't succeed since the woman would grab Reptile's face and hit him in the eye so that Reptile would move away a little. Reptile would get a little angry and would throw up acid towards the woman to try to burn her, but he didn't succeed because the woman would dodge the vomit and then lunge at Reptile, but the Reptile would grab the woman by the head and would start headbutting the death and then kick her in the feet, making the woman kneel down. Reptile would start to knee the woman several times, making her fall to the ground somewhat unconscious. Reptile saw this and better stopped hitting her. Reptile wins. The music ends. Reptile, whoever you are, we're not demons, seriously. If they aren't demons, what are they? Hurt as she stood up. Baraka, he's Zaterran. I'm Edenian. Or I was, until I contracted Target. Are you from the outside world? My apologies. I'm glad I didn't cause any permanent injuries. Issei, Johnny, Kung Lao, Kenshir and Onaga had arrived at the place where Reptile and Baraka were. Kenshir, what is that? Stepping on a creature's head. Issei, just keep walking. Johnny, so who is our femme fatale? I am Ashra, demon of the Netherrealm, seriously. Johnny, demon? You look human, or almost. And what is the Netherrealm? Seriously, Kenshir, the monks explained it. Did you fall asleep in every class? Johnny, it seems that in that case. Kung Lao, the Netherrealm is the embodiment of torment, seriously. Johnny, don't tell me. Issei, in the supernatural world there are demons that look like humans and there's something like the Netherrealm there? Issei, yes, but the demons there are complete effeminate, and the female demons are boars in their maximum splendor, and the equivalent of the Netherrealm there is Tartarus. But in Tartarus there is nothing but pain, seriously. Ashra, I look almost human because I've purged most of the evil in my soul. When I'm done, the last vestiges of my demonic form will be gone. Issei, why were those demons chasing you? Seriously, Ashra, they were sent by Quan Chi, my former master. I was part of the Brotherhood of Shadows. Their intention was and is to dominate the kingdoms. I left him when I realized I couldn't corrupt them, seriously. Reptile, and now he wants to kill you, seriously. Ashra, exactly. I followed Quan Chi from the Netherrealm to here. He's building soul-stealing devices on a massive scale. He's first testing them on the dead residing in the forest. Seriously. Baraka, why steal souls, Ashra? Seriously, Ashra, she wants to use her power. For what? I don't know. But I do know that her intention is to contribute to another witch's plans. Shang Tsung seriously. Issei, shit, this is bad seriously. Johnny, damn. It's everywhere seriously. Onaga was already serious upon hearing that, since at first she took it as a joke, but seeing everyone's concern, she knew it was something serious that would affect the kingdoms. Onaga, are you sure Quan Chi is here? Seriously, Ashura, my Chris senses it. He's nearby using his sword. Kensho was about to walk but Johnny stops him. Johnny, no. You're going home seriously. Kensho, we have work to do. Quan Chi can take us to Shang Tsung. Baraka, Liu Kang is right. Shang Tsung is a danger we must confront. I will help you. Reptile, me too. Johnny, The votes in favor matter. Motion approved. Issei, Ashura, guide us. Ashura would smile and start walking to guide everyone to look for Quan Chi. Thanks to the sword that guided her to Quan Chi, some time would pass. Ashura, Quan Chi is approaching. The emanations of his evil are intensifying seriously. Baraka, that's a powerful weapon. Ashura, and that serves me well. As I destroy the evil it encounters, I become more and more purified. Johnny, I've been to therapy and I'm all for self-help. But since when does a demon want to be less evil? Ashura, I spent a damned eternity in the Netherrealm. I had assumed nothing else existed. But then I discovered Earth and the Outworld. I saw there was a better way to live. But to have that, I had to cleanse my soul. My demon sisters were furious when I changed my mind. Kia and Jataka were the first to hunt me down. Reptile, is Quan Chi also a demon? Ashura, actually, she's from the Outworld. But she's mastered the dark magic necessary to travel unrestricted to my kingdom. Reptile would see an insect that was flying in front of him and decided to eat it by sticking out his tongue to catch it. Johnny saw this with a bit while Issei and Kung Lao didn't care. Issei, any ideas on how he allied with Shang Tsung? Ashura, they share a benefactor. She brought both beings out of the darkness and taught them what they know. I don't know her, but there's no doubt she's an incomparable sorceress. Seriously. Ashura's sword would react, implying that they were close to Quan Chi. Ashura, Quan Chi is nearby serious. In the distance you can see Quan Chi using spells to store the souls in a container. Quan Chi, I look forward to your contributions. A woman with red hair, wings and fangs resembling a vampire would approach Quan Chi to give him a red stone. Quan Chi, excellent, Nitera. I need yours too. A man with very little armor was accompanied by another man with brown skin and orange clothing who would approach Quan Chi. Darius and I were thinking, Warlock. Quan Chi, don't try to renegotiate. Havoc, we need proof that you'll do your part seriously. That he has fulfilled his duty to the Vaeternians of Nitera is proof enough. A woman similar to Ashura called Serena spoke. Nitera, Serena is right. Thanks to Quan Chi's magic, the sunlight no longer poisons the people of my kingdom. We are finally free from the shadows. Quan Chi, I assure you that the government of order will fall thanks to the spells you will receive seriously. Havoc, when will we have them? Quan Chi. Seriously, Quan Chi, after attacking Earth, which might not happen if the Soul Stealer's effectiveness isn't demonstrated soon. Havoc would give Quan Chi a red stone and then unite it with the other red stone that Nitera had given him. Once the stones were fused, Quan Chi would begin to recite an incantation while being watched from a distance by Issei, Johnny, Kung Lao, Baraka, Reptile, Onaga and Ashura. Johnny, wow, the plot got complicated seriously. Ashura, Earth is in grave danger. A single soul stealer is enough to kill hundreds of thousands. If you deploy many, Baraka, millions will die seriously. Ashura, I'll take care of Quan Chi. You 5, hold the others back. Everyone was going to move forward but Johnny stops Kensho. Johnny, wait a minute, big guy, this is where you get off seriously. Kensho, you heard her. Millions could die seriously. Johnny, that's why we don't want you to trip us up. Now, give me your sword seriously. Kensho, why? Johnny, just give it to me seriously. Kensho would take his sword to extend it in front of Johnny as a signal to take the sword. Johnny would take Kenshi's sword and then take Sento, who had it on his back, and would give it to Kensho. Kensho would realize that Johnny gave him another sword, to which Kensho reacted in a surprising way since the sword that Johnny gave him was Sento. Kensho, what? I can't. Not when. Johnny, you saved my life. It's yours. Kensho didn't know what to say. He felt like crying since he finally had the sword of his ancestors. On the other hand, Quan Chi was doing the spell, but Issei, Johnny, Baraka, Kung Lao, Reptile, Ashura and Onaga would come running, but Nitera would notice. Nitera, Quan Chi. Quan Chi would see Ashura getting serious. Quan Chi, once again, you've evaded capture, Ashura. And it looks like you have allies now, seriously. Ashura, we will face you as a group, which you will not steal a single soul. Issei, Johnny, Kung Lao, Baraka, Ashura and Reptile would go to fight with Quan Chi's henchmen who were Havoc, Darius, Serena and Nitera. It wouldn't take long to knock out Quan Chi's henchmen, but Quan Chi took advantage of that time to finish doing his spell, making all the souls that reside in the trees of the forest go to the Soul Stealer, causing the forest to lose its leaves and dry up, stopping being green to a completely dead and gray forest, and with the faces of the trees now have the shapes of skulls. Johnny, oh my god. It's a soul tornado, seriously. All the souls, when gathered together, would create a soul tornado. Quan Chi finished casting his spell, and from the souls that gathered in the Soul Stealer, a being with a dead appearance would be created, with green eyes and wearing red and black clothes while levitating in the air. Ashura, what kind of dark magic is this? We are Ermac, a collection of souls united by Quan Chi's magic. We live to obey his commands. Quan Chi, kill them, smiling. Music for the environment, smiley face. Ermac would throw an energy ball at Johnny, Kung Lao, Baraka and Ashura, sending them flying. Reptile would try to attack Ermac, but the aforementioned would easily get rid of Reptile and then grab him and send him flying into some trees, crashing with great force, making Reptile get knocked out. Onaga would attack Ermac, throwing fire from his bag, but Ermac would create a barrier and then grab Onaga by the neck, but Onaga would hit Ermac in the face, causing him to release the aforementioned. Issei would also lunge at Ermac, but the aforementioned was very difficult to fight with. Kenshir heard all this and would gather his courage. Kenshir, I can't let them die, seriously. Kenshir would rush at Ermac with Sento in his hands, but Ermac would create a burst of energy, making Kenshir fly away and at the same time lose Sento in his hands. Issei, Kenshi. Concerned. Kenshir would look for Sento, but it was difficult since he was now blind, but then some voices would be heard coming from Sento. Sento, Kenshir Takahashi. Kenshir, what? Who is it? Confused. Sento, your ancestors. Come to us. Kenshir would be able to guide himself thanks to Sento's voices, and then take her and stand up since he was crawling. Sento, in this time of need, the Taira will not fail you. Sento had returned Kenshi's sight in a very strange way, but Kenshir did not care as he saw Ermac moving away from Issei and Onaga to go to the direction where Kenshir was. Ermac would begin to attack Kenshir, but the aforementioned dodges each blow from Ermac so that with a quick movement Kenshir stabbed Sento in Ermac's chest, causing him to scream in pain, while it seemed that Sento absorbed some of Ermac's souls. Ermac would create a burst of energy to send Kenshir flying, who now did not fall but only Sento. Ermac would throw energy balls, but Sento would evade all the attacks while returning to Kenshi's hand. Kenshir, he sucked their souls dry. Now he has their power. Then Ashura, Johnny, Kung Lao, Baraka and Reptile would arrive, who had recovered. Ashura, that was unexpected. Kenshir, don't even mention it. Ermac had recovered from the attack and would launch himself to attack everyone, but Issei would hit him, making Ermac stop. Issei, you guys go and stop Quan Chi. Onaga, you go too. I'll take care of this mummy, seriously. Onaga, okay, serious. Ashura, come on, seriously. Kenshir, are you sure you can fight him? Seriously. Issei, yes. Now go for Quan Chi, seriously. Johnny, Kung Lao, Kenshir, Baraka, Reptile, Ashura and Onaga went for Quan Chi, who would start to fight against all of them with difficulty. On the other hand, Issei saw Ermac in an angry way, as did Ermac with Issei. Issei, I'm not done with you yet. This is just the beginning, seriously, putting himself on guard. Ermac, we are many. You are one. We will destroy you, angrily. Put the video at minute 0:15 for a better experience, smiley face. Fight. Ermac would launch himself at Issei to hit him, but Issei would teleport behind Ermac to throw his harpoon at Ermac's back, managing to stick it, making Ermac scream in pain. Issei, get over here. Issei would pull his harpoon, causing Ermac to go towards Issei to start hitting Ermac in the stomach with great force, causing Ermac to start spitting blood, but Issei didn't care. Ermac would quickly block Issei's attacks to start hitting Issei in the face with the same force, causing Issei to start bleeding from the nose and break his mask, making Issei even angrier. Issei would block a blow from Ermac to elbow Ermac in the arm hard enough to break his arm that even the bone would come out of the skin, leaving the bone exposed, causing Ermac to scream in pain. Ermac would create an energy ball to throw it at Issei, managing to dodge the ball, but upon impact a huge explosion would be created, destroying half of what was the living forest. Issei would create a fireball throwing it at Ermac, who stopped it with his telekinesis, and then throw it at Issei, but it did not do any damage to Issei. But what Issei did not expect was Ermac teleporting behind him to see how Ermac would kick Issei in the back, causing him to complain of pain, while Ermac would create some energy balls impacting Issei, causing him to fly and at the same time destroying some trees. Issei would recover, and because of how furious he was, he almost returned to his ghost mode, but he controlled himself and lunged at Ermac at a speed that Ermac could not see and was the victim of a blow to the face from Issei, and then Issei took out his 2 katanas and would stick them in Ermac's stomach, causing him to scream in pain. But Issei did not finish and would cover his fists in fire to start hitting Ermac all over the body. Issei would finish hitting Ermac, giving him one last blow, sending him flying, while Ermac was already very weak and would fall defeated by Issei, while the aforementioned goes to the place where Ermac is. Scorpion wins, the music ends. Issei: so many souls and not one could defeat me seriously. Johnny, Kung Lao, Kensher, Baraka, Reptile, Ashura and Onaga managed to defeat and subdue Quan Chi, since being 7 against 1 made it easier for them to knock out Quan Chi. That's when Ashura would arrive to see Ermac. Ermac, we are many. You are one. We will destroy you, pained. Issei: what's wrong? Ashura: the fight must have weakened the magic that keeps their souls together seriously. Ermac: Sindel, you're mine and I'll find you. Fainting. Issei: what was that? Serious. Ashura: keep an eye on him. I'll turn off the Soul Stealer seriously. Ashura would go to the place where Ermac was created to destroy the red stones that Quan Chi had united. Quan Chi: Ashura, no! Ashura would manage to break the red stones, making the llamas that were in the Soul Stealer free, but one of the souls would go for Quan Chi and would take him by the head while Quan Chi screamed in fear. Once the soul grabbed Quan Chi, it would suck Quan Chi's energy and then disappear, while Quan Chi would fall exhausted and fainted. Ashura: since that didn't kill you, I will angry. Ashura was going to kill Quan Chi, but Issei stops her. Issei: no, Ashura, Ashura, it's too dangerous to let him live seriously. Issei: Lu Kang must interrogate him. He knows Shang Tsung's plans seriously. Ashura: very well, putting away her sword. That's when Baraka, Reptile, Kung Lao, Kensher, Johnny and Onaga would arrive at the place. Johnny: well, it's clear I paid very little for it. Did you know what I could do? Looking at Kensher: Kensher, there's no mention of mystical powers in the legend. The souls of my ancestors live within. They try to guide me. Johnny: well, just don't forget who gave it to you. Takahashi smiling. Kensher: never. Cage smiling. Now let's take it to Earth. Issei: I know this place is your home. Baraka: but Sizelth, Ashura and Onaga, you can come if you want. Lu Kang will surely welcome you, smiling. Ashura: I've never had a home. That would be wonderful, smiling. Reptile: sure, why not? I'd love to see the Earth, smiling. Onaga: I would love to visit Earth, so I can always bother you, silly, mocking. Issei: ha ha ha, angry while laughing mockingly. Everyone would laugh at that and started walking to go home while they took Quan Chi. Location: ruins of Ing Fortress, China, Earth. Shang Tsung would create a portal through which Chronica would emerge. Chronica: speak. Shang Tsung: Shang Tsung, Soul Stealers is under construction. Quan Chi is testing the final components right now. Chronica: and the army? Shang Tsung: he will obey your every command once he's fed on enough souls. I also devised a plan to distance the Lin K from Lu Kang. Instead of defending Earth, they'll betray it, smiling. Chronica: excellent. You learned quickly, Shang Tsung. And well, you'll soon reap the rewards of what you sowed, smiling. Back in the outside world. It was already night in the Outworld. Baraka could no longer accompany the others since, being a Tarkatan, he was forbidden to enter, and everyone had to go to Sundu. Now Reptile was on the roofs of the Sundu buildings while there was a festival. The reason why Reptile was in the buildings was because he had to see where the portal to go to Earth was. While that was happening, Sha was looking for something, or someone, and this was what Li Mei would realize. Who are these inhabitants of the Earth we are looking for? Seriously, Shao, you have their descriptions seriously. Li Mei: at least you could tell me why you are here, what you have done seriously. Shao: their state secrets. You can't find out, leaving Li Mei. While that was happening, Melina and Kiatana were dressed in something resembling kimonos while greeting people on a high place. At that, Melina would call Tanya. Tanya: yes, princess? Melina: could you give us some water? Tanya: as you wish, leaving. Kitana: carefully, sister. It's forbidden to involve yourself with the Umgadi. You know their oaths, seriously. Melina: who told you? Seriously. Kitana: no one. I have eyes. Just like the serpents of the court who would celebrate seeing you fall seriously. Melina, the Umgadi rules are ridiculous annoyed. Kitana, and you can change them when you become empress. For now, you can't risk your assumption. It would be. Melina, already fed up, would withdraw while Kitana sees this. In an alley, Issei, Kung Lao, Johnny, Kenshiro, Ashura, and Onaga were changing their clothes so they wouldn't be detected. Now Johnny was putting a hat on Quan Chi so he wouldn't be recognized. Johnny, good night, Prince of Darkness mocking perfect. They'll fit together perfectly. Ashura, couldn't you have stolen a more practical hat? Annoyed since the hat was too big. Johnny, what? It's hiding your face. And to tell you the truth, it looks good on you smiling. Kenshiro, I still have my doubts. Wearing it draws attention, and we don't want that seriously. Issei, look out there. They remind me of festivals or carnivals. People will think the party was good smiling. Reptile would fall from the ceiling to the place where they were all gathered. Johnny, what's up? Reptile, go to the stage, then to the right and to the portal. But there are soldiers and officers everywhere. Kung Lao, are you sure that's enough? If anyone sees us, we're dead seriously. Reptile, that's why I'll create a distraction. Kenshiro, they're looking for you too, Sizoth. Reptile, if they don't see me, they won't be able to catch me. At that, Reptile would become invisible, making everyone surprised. Johnny, damn. You didn't tell me you're like the Predator smiling. Everyone would leave the alley to go to the portal while Reptile would go through the roofs. Issei and his group approached a group of soldiers, so they got serious. Issei, that distraction would do us good seriously. Reptile would launch a rocket, and because of the spark of the rocket, a building would start to burn, making people get scared and leave the place quickly, leaving the way clear for Issei and the others. Onaga, good job, Sizoth seriously. After that, Issei and the others continued advancing while Tanya and Kitana left the place so that nothing happens to Kitana. Shao, seeing the chaos that was there, went with his soldiers to find whoever caused the chaos. Shao, put out the fire and find who's responsible. Li Mei, stand down, General. The problem is mine, not the military's. Shao would not pay attention to Li Mei and would look for Issei, Johnny, Kung Lao and Kenshiro at a fast pace, and it did not take long since Shao saw something strange when he saw two people carrying another, and they were Kung Lao and Johnny carrying Quan Chi. Shao, I found them chasing Issei and the others. Issei, Johnny and Kung Lao would notice that Quan Chi was waking up, so the three would look at each other and nod their heads and then hit Quan Chi to knock him out again, but they only knocked him to the ground. In that, they would notice that Shao would arrive with soldiers and Goro, and they could not knock out Quan Chi, so he would escape. All this was seen by Reptile, who would not hesitate to help. Goro, what's up with him? Seriously. Shao, just worry about the inhabitants of Earth seriously. Johnny, if it were one of my movies, we would be saved by a comic or a daring, serious character. Suddenly a laugh would be heard, and then Reptile would be seen falling to the place where everyone was. Reptile, if we die today, it will be together. Johnny, I don't know if it's funny, but fearless, for sure, smiling. Everyone would rush to fight Shao's soldiers while Issei went to fight Shao and Johnny with Goro, since he remembered how Goro beat him in Shang Tsung's laboratory. Thus began a fight in which the soldiers could not with Reptile, Ashura, Onaga, Kung Lao and Kenshiro. Issei, knowing how Shao fought, would defeat him easily and help Johnny to beat Goro, to which the Shogun was already weak, but they would see that more reinforcements from Shao arrived. Issei, we must go. Now. Everyone would run towards the portal to get to Earth, but Johnny would hit Goro in the face, leaving him knocked out as revenge, and then run away. Johnny, HA. Everyone kept running until they finally saw the portal and would enter it to teleport to Earth. Location: Wukong Temple, China. A gate would open in Wukong's temple, and Issei, Johnny, Kung Lao, Kenshiro, Reptile, Onaga and Ashura would come out in a hurry. Once they arrived on Earth, they were on guard because they believed that soldiers from the outer world were going to come out. But luckily for them, no one came out, so they relaxed. At that moment, Wukong would arrive with some monks. Wukong, Issei, Johnny, Kenshiro, Kung Lao. They returned safely smiling. Wukong would notice that Kenshiro was wearing a blindfold as a sign that he had gone blind. Wukong, by the ancient gods. Worried. Johnny, we had a run-in with Princess Melina's inner demons. Kenshiro, I took my sight away. But Sento, in his own way, gave it back to me. Wukong, I'm glad you and Sento teamed up. Although I was hoping the means would be different this time. Kenshiro, this time? Confused. Wukong, forgive me, Kenshiro. I was confused. Go, the monks will tend to your wounds. Kenshiro would withdraw from the place with some monks to treat his wounds. Issei, we found Shang Tsung, but he got away. I understand why you're worried. He's up to his neck in some very serious stuff. Seriously. Wukong, rest and eat. We'll talk later. Johnny and Kung Lao, rest and get your wounds treated. Issei, thank you, Lord Wukong. Kung Lao, thank you, Lord Wukong. Johnny, can I have a martini too? Shaken, not stirred. Wukong would give a smile but noticed the presence of Ashura, Reptile and Onaga. Wukong was impressed that Onaga was here since he knew that she was the Dragon Queen of the Outworld. Johnny, sorry. These are the new players from Earth. We wouldn't have made it back without them. Wukong, Ashura, Sizoth and Onaga. Reptile, do you know us? Wukong, as a protector of the Earth, I know many things. Onaga, so you know I'm the Dragon Queen, right? Wukong, indeed, Queen Onaga. That would alert Reptile. Reptile, are you the Dragon Queen? But you were supposed to be in a deep, nervous sleep. Onaga, I was. But when Issei arrived at my cave, he woke me up and I furiously attacked him, but surprisingly he won. So I decided to be with him since a dragon has to be with the being who beat her. And I came because I fell in love with the idiot mocking. That would leave Johnny, Kung Lao, Ashura, Reptile and even Wukong surprised, but then Ashura would speak. Ashura, do you also know my former master Quan Chi? He conspires with Shang Tsung seriously. Wukong, a new deadly alliance? Come on, everyone. Tell me everything you know, seriously. Everyone would retreat with Wukong while Johnny was left sad. Johnny, oh bye. Goodbye to the martinis sadly as he left. Chapter 7. Sub-Zero's Betrayal and the Beginning of the DxD Girl's Obsession. Normal narration. Hours passed in which Issei along with Johnny, Kenshir, Kung Lao, Ashura, Reptile and Onaga arrived on Earth after having gone to the Outworld with the intention of going for Shang Tsung at Liu Kang's request, but they failed the mission. Issei, Johnny, Kenshir, Kung Lao, Ashura, Reptile and Onaga told Wukong everything that happened on the mission, to which Wukong became serious since he knew that Shang Tsung would be a danger to everyone. Wukong let Ashura, Reptile and Onaga stay on Earth and give them a place to live while Johnny, Kenshir and Kung Lao went to rest. Wukong also wanted to send Issei to rest, but he refused, saying that he did not need to rest, to which Wukong agreed. Location: Wukong Temple. Now Wukong was in his temple with Garas to talk about what happened with Shang Tsung and Quan Chi. Wukong, are Shang Tsung and Quan Chi plotting against Earth again? What Issei, Johnny, Kenshir, and Kung Lao are reporting can't be possible. You're witnesses to how I rewrote history. I gave the sorcerers meaningless lives. They should never have gained power, let alone a serious army. Gara, and your work was impeccable. This is what their lives would have been like if no one had interfered seriously. Wukong, interfered? What do you mean? Seriously, Garas would begin to create sand holograms showing the figures of Shang Tsung and Quan Chi being helped by a woman. Garas, that person visited both witches. His intervention twisted the paths of their lives seriously. Wukong, who is she? Seriously, Garas, unknown. His identity remains hidden from the hourglass seriously. Wukong, who could possibly have that power? Is it Chronica? Did she manage to resurrect herself? Seriously, Garas, impossible. Titans, once destroyed, cannot be revived seriously. Wukong, so someone must have survived the previous timeline, someone who wants revenge on me seriously. Garas, it's the only plausible theory seriously. Wukong, you must verify if it's true, Garas. The fate of the kingdoms could depend on it seriously. Time skip 3 hours later. Wukong had called Baihan, Kuai Liang and Teresa since he needed them to do a mission to investigate Shang Tsung. Issei also wanted to go, although Teresa and Kuai Liang did not want Issei to go because Issei rested very little and did not eat anything, but after so much insistence they let Issei go with them. Kuai Liang, are you sure you're okay, Issei? Worried. Teresa, you should have stayed and rest. Worried. Issei, don't worry. I just needed to rest a little. Teresa and Kuai Liang were still worried about Issei while Baihan remained silent. 20 minutes of silence passed until Baihan spoke. Baihan, how long are we supposed to wait? Angry. Issei, patience, Baihan. Liu Kang's attention is in high demand. Calm down. Teresa, if father were here, he would tell us to wait without protesting. Baihan, but now he's not here, and I'm the Grand Master seriously. Kuai Liang, his teachings did not die with him. They will continue to guide us, don't worry. Baihan, they can guide us, of course, but chain us, no seriously. Teresa, we cannot abandon tradition. Baihan, mind your own business, Teresa. Even though father took you in and made you one of us, you'll never have the blood of a Lin K. Seriously. Teresa got a little angry at how she was treated by Baihan until Issei spoke up. Issei, enough, Baihan. I won't let you talk to Teresa like that. Angry, Baihan, don't get involved, Issei. It's not even any of your business. Angrily, Issei, I know it's none of my business, but I won't let you talk to Teresa or Kuai Liang like that. Seriously. Teresa and Kuai Liang blushed for being defended by Issei. Baihan was going to answer Issei, but then Raiden and Kung Lao would arrive and bow in greeting. Raiden, now Lord Liu Kang can see you. Seriously. Baihan, it was about time. Seriously. Raiden and Kung Lao took Issei, Baihan, Teresa and Kuai Liang to Liu Kang's temple. Once they arrived at the temple, Liu Kang would explain to Baihan what he should do. Liu Kang, Shang Tsung is here, in the ruins of Ying Fortress. He's already building his soul stealers. You must destroy them and capture Shang Tsung before they harm Earth. Seriously. Baihan, we'll leave immediately. Seriously. Raiden, we'll go with you. Seriously. Baihan, you're not part of the Lin K. You'd only hinder the task. Seriously. Kung Lao, Raiden and I are more than. Issei, we train differently. Common Kung Lao. Kuai Liang, mastering our techniques takes years. Kung Lao would just nod. Liu Kang, Raiden and you are my most trusted people, but you're needed elsewhere. Go to Wuxi. The monks must prepare you for war. Seriously. Location: ruins of Ying Fortress, China. Issei, Baihan, Teresa and Kuai Liang arrived at the place assigned to them by Liu Kang. Although they were somewhat far from the place, it could be seen that the fortress was large. Issei, Kuai Liang and Teresa were quiet while Baihan had a telescope to see where they could enter without being detected. Teresa, we'll only get in if we jump over the walls. Seriously. Baihan, before attempting to ascend, we must seek a less guarded section. We finally face a worthy enemy. Victory will bring us glory. Kuai Liang, glory? We must fight. Seriously. Baihan, is our father's spirit possessing you? All I hear is his voice. Seriously. Kuai Liang, we must honor his vision. Baihan, seriously. Baihan, vision was what he lacked. He couldn't see our superiority. We were content to defend Earth, but we could help lead it. Seriously. Teresa, our clan doesn't rule, it just serves. Seriously. Baihan, that was our past, but it won't be our future. Seriously. Baihan was leaving the place while Issei, Teresa and Kuai Liang watched Baihan leave until they decided to follow him. A few minutes later Issei, Baihan, Kuai Liang and Teresa were climbing the walls of the fortress. Issei used the chains of his harpoon to climb. Teresa created smoke to be able to fly, although she needed great concentration. Baihan and Kuai Liang used ice stakes to be able to climb. Once everyone reached the top of the wall, they began to search the place until a monster would be heard. When everyone turned to see where the scream came from, they saw a woman with vampire wings, and it was Nitera who rushed at Teresa, who was still flying. Nitera was able to push Teresa, making her smoke disappear. When the smoke disappeared, Teresa began to fall, who would begin to scream in panic since the height at which she was falling was too high. Teresa would try to grab onto the wall, but when she couldn't, she began to panic more, and then she took out her karambit and stuck it into the wall, managing to stop her fall. Issei, Baihan and Kuai Liang saw that Teresa was fine, although Baihan kicked a large stone that was going in Teresa's direction, but luckily she managed to dodge the stone. Clearly this bothered Issei and Kuai Liang, and they went to help Teresa. But at that same moment Nitera would return and attack Baihan, dragging him a little until Baihan would get rid of Nitera, who was hurt a little while Baihan got up. Baihan, as a child, I heard stories of battles against your people. I thought they were fake. Snapping his shoulder. Nitera, soon, all the inhabitants of Earth will know of Vaeternus. My kingdom is starving and will come to feed. Seriously. Baihan and Nitera would start fighting while Issei and Kuai Liang were helping Teresa up. A few minutes passed and Baihan had defeated Nitera while Issei and Kuai Liang continued to help Teresa. Baihan, you're going to be hungry today. Seriously. Baihan was about to leave but was stopped by a green magic that would immobilize his feet. Baihan, what is this? Seriously, trying to walk. Ermac would descend from the sky, who had already recovered from the fight he had against Issei in the outer world. Ermac, we were tasked with defending the fortress. No one will escape us. Seriously. Ermac would immobilize Baihan's arms and begin to stretch them with the intention of tearing his arms off. Baihan would try to escape Ermac's magic until he managed to do so, and would throw an ice ball at Ermac, hitting the being, causing him to fall to the ground. Music for the environment, smiley face. Baihan, you are Quan Chi's creation. Issei and Liu Kang warned me about you. I was waiting for the opportunity to confront your dark magic seriously. Put the video at minute 013 for a better experience, smiley face. Fight. Baihan would create an ice ball to throw at Ermac, but it would not hit Ermac since the aforementioned would fly to dodge the ice ball. Ermac wasted no time and lunged at Baihan to try to grab him, but before he could grab Baihan, he would create an ice statue freezing Ermac when he touched the statue. Baihan wasted no time and would create an ice mallet hitting Ermac's head, causing the aforementioned to thaw. Ermac was somewhat dizzy from the blow, but Baihan took advantage of this and would lunge at Ermac, embedding ice stakes in his stomach. Ermac would groan in pain but would grab Baihan by the neck and lift him up to slam him against the ground, making Baihan fall on his face. Baihan would get up and lunge at Ermac to hit him. Ermac managed to block some blows, but sometimes he couldn't block them and ended up receiving them. Ermac would get fed up with Baihan and would throw energy balls at Baihan, managing to hit the aforementioned chest, making Baihan feel some pain in his stomach. Baihan would recover from the pain and create an ice spear and then slide towards Ermac, managing to stick the spear in his chest, causing Ermac to give a small cry of pain. Baihan took the opportunity to create an ice dagger and began to make somewhat deep cuts to Ermac, who screamed in pain. Baihan would stick the dagger in Ermac's foot, causing the aforementioned to kneel. Baihan took advantage of this to grab Ermac's head and begin to knee him. After a while, Baihan would release Ermac, who was knocked out because he received too many knee blows to fall to the cold ground. Sub-Zero wins. The music ends. Baihan, you're not that scary, seriously. Then Issei and Kuai Liang arrived and helped Teresa get on. Baihan, are you okay? Kuai Liang, yes, brother. Baihan, good. After years of inactivity, I'm pleased to fight again seriously. Issei, I'll feel satisfied after completing the mission seriously. Time skip 5 minutes later. Issei, Baihan, Kuai Liang and Teresa were going deeper into the fortress and came to a courtyard where the soul stealers that Wukong ordered to be destroyed were. In that same courtyard was Quan Chi, who saw the workers building the soul stealers. Quan Chi, keep working. I have to oversee the production of the remaining basins seriously. Quan Chi would leave the place to enter a building in the fortress, and all of this was seen by Issei, Baihan, Kuai Liang and Teresa, who were stealthily killing the guards who were there. Teresa, that's Quan Chi, the other sorcerer Issei and Wukong described it would be. Baihan, Issei, Kuai Liang, and I will capture him. Stay here. Prevent them from activating the soul stealers seriously. A short time would pass and now Quan Chi could be seen walking through the corridors of the fortress, but he would not realize that he was being followed by Issei, Baihan and Kuai Liang. This happened until Quan Chi arrived at a room where there were several treasures. Baihan saw a coin on the floor and would take it, realizing that the coin was made of real gold, until he saw the room and he could realize that the room was full of coins and more treasures. Baihan, in this war, there will be a lot of loot seriously. Kuai Liang, you have to win first, brother, seriously. Issei, Baihan and Kuai Liang would hear someone approaching the room, so they would go hide quickly, and they saw who was approaching the place was Shang, who went to where Quan Chi was. Shang, will the soul thieves be ready in time? Quan Chi? Quan Chi, yes. Our benefactor's instructions proved to be very helpful, smiling. Everything was heard by Issei, Baihan and Kuai Liang, who saw everything. Issei, if we break it, we'll stop its construction seriously. Baihan, very good, serious. Issei, Baihan and Kuai Liang would come out of hiding and rush towards Shang Tsung and Quan Chi, who did not expect the attack but were able to react in time. Quan Chi would create too many skulls with the intention of stopping Baihan, while Issei and Kuai Liang went to fight Shang Tsung. Music for the environment, smiley face. Baihan destroyed the skulls and began to hit Quan Chi, who dodged the blows but received some of them. Quan Chi, the Lin K. We've been waiting for you, smiling. Baihan, did they also tell you to expect defeat? It can only end like this, seriously. Putting himself on guard. Put the video at minute 016 for a better experience, smiley face. Fight. Quan Chi would quickly hit Baihan, who couldn't dodge it, and received it in the face. Baihan would get annoyed with Quan Chi and would start creating ice stakes to throw them directly at Quan Chi's face, but the aforementioned would create a shield blocking the stakes. Baihan would get more annoyed and would create an ice sword, but Quan Chi would summon a sword. So both would start having a sword fight until Baihan would make a quick movement and would give a somewhat deep cut on Quan Chi's back. Quan Chi would recover from the pain but would not expect Baihan to hit him with his fists covered in ice, making the blows more painful until Baihan would punch Quan Chi's chest with great force, sending him flying, causing him to crash into a wall. Quan Chi would get up and create a portal from which a monster with tentacles would come out that would grab Baihan and subdue him. Baihan would try to freeze the monster, but before he could do it, Quan Chi would punch Baihan in the stomach and kick him in the face, causing Baihan to fall to the ground. Baihan would get up, and before Quan Chi could create another portal, Baihan would throw an ice ball at Quan Chi, who couldn't dodge and would freeze. Baihan quickly went to the place where Quan Chi was and would start hitting him all over his body until he gave him a hook, making Quan Chi rise a little from the ground, so that later Baihan would kick Quan Chi hard enough to knock out all the air and knocking him out at that same moment, while he landed in the treasures. While Baihan saw Quan Chi knocked out, Sub-Zero wins. The music ends. Baihan, your failure was inevitable. Seriously. Issei and Kuoh Liang continued fighting with Tsung, who in an exchange of blows would throw a fireball at Issei and Kuoh Liang, who would dodge it but did not see that from the place where the fireball hit, coins and treasures would begin to fall, causing Issei and Kuoh Liang to be buried and trapped in the coins by the great weight of the treasures. Music for the environment, smiley face. Baihan and Tsung saw each other for a few moments, but quickly Baihan would launch a blast of ice, but it was countered by Tsung with his magic. Tsung, that's not necessary at all. You can't refuse what I have to offer you. Smiling. Baihan, unless you give up, I'm not interested. Seriously, putting himself on guard. Put the video at minute 0:16 for a better experience. Smiley face. Fight. Baihan would launch himself against Tsung, managing to connect a kick in the arm, but Tsung would not let him and would hit Baihan in the stomach, causing him to lose some air. Baihan would recover from the blow and would pounce on Tsung to hit him. Tsung also pounced on Baihan, so both would begin to exchange blows, but the one who had a greater advantage was Baihan, who with an accurate blow would stun Tsung, and Baihan took advantage to begin hitting Tsung's entire body, who received each blow until Baihan would throw a kick in the stomach of Tsung, causing the aforementioned to fall to the ground. Tsung would get up quickly and throw a fireball at Baihan, who could not dodge it, receiving the fireball, causing him to give small screams of pain. Tsung took advantage of this and would change his form to that of Johnny to do a split and hit Baihan's testicles, who would give a scream of pain, but it did not end there, and Tsung would change his form again to that of reptile to stick out his tongue and grab Baihan by the feet to lift him up, and would begin to make cuts in the chest with his claws, and then release him and give him a strong blow to the head, sending Baihan flying. Baihan would get up fast and furious. Tsung would create an ice sword to run at great speed and would manage to bury his sword in Tsung's arm, causing the aforementioned to cry out in pain, but it did not end there, since Baihan would subdue Tsung's arm to begin hitting him in the face. Until then he would pull his sword out of Tsung's arm and would give him a strong blow to the head, knocking out Tsung. Sub-Zero wins. The music ends. Baihan would create an ice axe to kill Tsung, while Issei and Kuoh Liang managed to get out of the place where the treasures were, but then Shao would arrive with a horde of soldiers who would start fighting against Issei, Baihan and Kuoh Liang, but as there were too many soldiers, Issei, Baihan and Kuoh Liang would be easily subdued and would be on their knees while trying to resist, and then Tsung would get up. Tsung, perhaps you would now like to consider my offer. Smiling. Baihan, how would you know what I value? We're strangers. Seriously. Tsung, I know you wish to free yourself from Liu Kang's influence, and for your clan to attain unparalleled power. I offer you the means to do so. Smiling. Baihan looked convinced by what Tsung said, and this was seen by Issei and Kuoh Liang, who believed that Baihan could accept Tsung's offer. Issei, ignore him, Baihan. He promises nothing but corruption. Seriously, while being subdued by a soldier. Tsung, Grandmaster, you're probably wondering if you should trust a man you don't know. But the real question is if it's better for you not to. Smiling. Baihan didn't say anything, but from his look you could see that he was convinced. Music for the environment. Place. Garas can be seen manipulating a rather large hourglass, and inside the hourglass were the holograms of Kronika and Tsung when they first met. Kronika's hologram. You deserve better. To live among kings, not peasants. But ever since you were born, there have always been plots against you, those who fear how strong you could become. I am your liberation, Tsung. Join me, and I will lay kingdoms at your feet. Garas watched this seriously as he tried to figure out who the person pretending to be Kronika was. Garas, who are you? Impossible. Impressed. Returned to Issei, Baihan and Kuoh Liang. Issei, Baihan and Kuoh Liang were chained by the hands as they walked to another room where Shao and Tsung were heading, while behind Issei, Baihan and Kuoh Liang there were Shao's soldiers, so they could not escape. Shao, my kingdom and your clan have a lot in common. We both feel oppressed by Liu Kang. Seriously. Tsung, when Outworld rules the earth, You'll be able to remake the Lin K as you see fit. Smiling, Bai Han continued listening to what Shang Tsung was saying and looked more convinced, but Issei and Kuai Liang were made to. Issei, Bai Han, don't listen to us. We have to stop them. No, Bai Han, silence. Issei seriously interrupting Issei. Kuai Liang, but brother. Bai Han, obey your Grand Master. Angrily interrupting Kuai Liang. Issei and Kuai Liang remained silent. Kuai Liang felt sad as he believed that his brother would not be someone who would be carried away by greed, while Issei became serious, as he remembered that Menma was that corrupt, and had the feeling that Bai Han was never someone good. Bai Han, can you win this war? Soul stealers are lethal, but they're not enough. Seriously. Shang Tsung, you think that way because you don't understand its true purpose. Smiling, Bai Han, explain yourself seriously. Shang Tsung, Emperor Ying built this fortress during one of the most turbulent times on Earth. Enemies besieged him from every direction, and he assembled a great army to protect his empire along with another that would protect him in the afterlife. This is Emperor Ying's dragon army. Issei, Bai Han and Kuai Liang arrived at a very large room that was filled with statues resembling ancient soldiers. Bai Han, impressive. But is this history lesson of any use? Shang Tsung, the great magicians of the Emperor's court erected these statues and cast spells on them. Smiling, Shang Tsung was walking to a box, and when he opened it there was a crown with some bottles with a green liquid, to which Shang Tsung would take the crown and a bottle. Shang Tsung, they are animated by soul fragments. When they come to life, they will fight tirelessly without remorse or mercy. Smiling, Shang Tsung would pour the green liquid into the crown, making souls scream. Once Shang Tsung poured all the liquid into the crown, he would place it on his head, causing the statues to activate and begin to move in unison. Shang Tsung, as our ally, you'll command several battalions. Few people on Earth can stand against the Lin K. Smiling. Once Shang Tsung finished saying that, Bai Han would go to Shang Tsung to remove the chains from his hands as a sign that he accepted the offer, and this was seen by Kuai Liang, who was in shock, while Issei knew that Bai Han was never trustworthy. Issei/Kuai Liang, Bi-Chin. Screaming while being subdued, Shang Tsung was removing Bai Han's chains. Kuai Liang couldn't believe that his brother could be so greedy, while Issei looked at Bai Han with anger since he never changed and was the same bastard he was in the previous timelines. Kuai Liang, how could you? Father would be turning in his grave if he saw this. Angry, Bai Han, he was a senile old man. That accident he had was in our favor, and I was right to let him die. Seriously. When Bai Han said that, Kuai Liang couldn't believe that his brother let his father die, and he started to shed tears. Kuai Liang, you let him die. You said you would save him. Furious while shedding tears, Bai Han, I lied because you couldn't, and can't face the truth. Father had condemned the Lin K to mediocrity. Now we will achieve greatness. Seriously. Kuai Liang was already furious and managed to free herself from the soldiers while freezing her chains and breaking them to rush at Bai Han, while Issei was still subdued, since being the strongest they had to subdue him with more force, and could only see how Kuai Liang wanted to fight against Bai Han. In that, Issei had a memory of how the corruption of the Lin K killed his wife Mayo, his son, and the clan he belonged to in the previous timelines. Memories of Issei. End of Issei's memories. Kuai Liang lunged at Bai Han to try to hit him, but Bai Han would dodge Kuai Liang's blows and quickly connected a blow to Kuai Liang's stomach, making Kuai Liang writhe in pain as Bai Han's strength was greater than hers, and then she was subdued by Xiao's soldiers, but Kuai Liang would freeze the soldiers to again launch herself at Bai Han, who continued to dodge the blows. Issei was worried about Kuai Liang, but what he would see unleashed his fury. Kuai Liang kept trying to hit Bai Han, but it was useless as Bai Han hit Kuai Liang with great force, causing Kuai Liang to scream in pain until Bai Han created an ice dagger and began to attack Kuai Liang, who dodged with difficulty but managed to exchange a few blows until Bai Han launched himself at Kuai Liang with the intention of stabbing her, but Kuai Liang was able to grab Bai Han's arm to prevent him from stabbing her until he saw that the hand he stopped did not have the dagger, making Kuai Liang worry. Bai Han, you became weak. Seriously. Bai Han would take out the dagger from his other hand and stab it into Kuai Liang's right eye, causing the aforementioned to let out a heartbreaking cry of pain. Kuai Liang, screaming in pain. Issei, Kuai Liang, screaming in horror. Bai Han didn't stop there and would hit Kuai Liang to knock her out. At that moment, Issei no longer cared about the mission. He only cared about Kuai Liang and killing Shang Tsung and Bai Han, so that he screamed in fury. Issei, Bi-Chin. Furious. When Issei gave that scream, his body began to cover in fire while burning alive the soldiers who subdued him, and the chains that Issei had in his hands melted. The whole place began to shake and the temperature also began to rise. That made Xiao's soldiers worry while Baihan, Shang, Tsung and Xiao did not know what was happening until they saw Issei, who was still covered in fire until the fire dissipated, and an Issei with white eyes and different clothes was seen, but his mask remained the same. And on his back he had 2 swords with a grip similar to that of a scorpion stinger. This change implied that Issei returned to being a specter full of fury. When Baihan, Shang Tsung and Xiao saw Issei's new appearance, they were surprised, but then they noticed how Issei was looking at them with those white eyes, making them feel a little intimidated. Issei, without saying anything, would move at great speed and begin to kill all the soldiers who were in the place, impressing Baihan, Shang Tsung and Xiao, who were on guard. Issei, after killing all the soldiers, went for Baihan with the intention of killing him, but as Baihan was on guard he could only hit him, leaving him on the ground. Issei now went for Shang Tsung, who was also on guard, and the only thing he could do was receive Issei's blow, leaving him badly injured. Issei went to where Baihan was, who was lying on the ground, but before Issei could do anything he would be stopped by Xiao with his axe, but Issei would dodge him and take out the chains of his harpoon, and then climb behind Xiao and be able to suffocate him, but Xiao would break free and throw Issei a few meters while Shang Tsung got up. Music for the environment, smiley face. Shang Tsung, ha ha ha. He's very combative, smiling. Xiao, are you going to keep chattering away, or are you going to do something useful? We must neutralize the Earth champion seriously. Put the video at minute 0:11 for a better experience, smiley face. Fight. Xiao would try to attack Issei, but before he could do anything, Issei would teleport in front of Xiao to give him a strong blow that would send him flying. Xiao would be furious, and would quickly get up, and would lunge at Issei to try to cut his head off, but Issei would use his chains, wrapping Xiao, to begin heating the chains until they had a reddish color, causing Xiao to scream in pain at being burned. Issei would remove the chains and with a quick movement would hit Xiao's face, causing Xiao's mask to break. Xiao was beyond furious, and launched himself at Issei at high speed, managing to grab him by the arm to lift him up and headbutt Issei, who would groan in pain, but then Issei would grab Xiao's head and begin to bury his thumbs in Xiao's eyes, making the aforementioned cry out in pain while he hit Issei in the stomach, sending him flying. Issei would get up and draw his swords and then quickly go to the place where Xiao was and stick the swords into his legs, making Xiao cry out in pain and get on his knees. Issei would take Xiao's head and begin to hit him brutally, causing Xiao to start bleeding from the nose and spit blood with some remains of his teeth that were broken by Issei's blows. Issei stopped hitting Xiao to take his swords and would begin to create large flames of fire to burn Xiao, who screamed in pain and would fall unconscious from the pain but was still alive. Scorpion wins, the music ends. Issei, none of you are up to the task. Angry at that, Baihan would begin to wake up from the blow he received from Issei. Baihan, don't let Issei escape. Shang Tsung would use the crown and send the statues to attack Issei, but Issei would take out one of his swords and make a cut in the ground and then take out fire from Tartarus, managing to melt the statues. Once the statues melted, Issei went for Kuai Liang, who was unconscious, and would carry her and then quickly leave the place. Issei continued to escape stealthily so that they wouldn't hear him while he had Kuai Liang in his arms, who was bleeding from his eye, to which Issei threw a small fireball into Kuai Liang's eye to stop him from bleeding. Issei arrived at the room where there were treasures and heard the voices of Rain and Quan Chi. Rain, so the purity of gold matters seriously. Quan Chi, pollutants decrease efficiency. Like barnacles on a ship's hull, they create drag and reduce speed. Seriously. Rain, I see seriously. Issei was walking carefully so as not to be detected, but it was no use since Rain saw Issei with the reflection of a treasure that was hanging, so he would leave Quan Chi to follow Issei. It didn't take long for Rain to be behind Issei without being detected, and in that he would throw a ball of water at Issei, causing him to fall to the ground on his back so as not to hurt Kuai Liang. Rain, so you and your sister rejected Shang Tsung's offer. And I assumed your brother wouldn't be. Issei, that shitty witch doctor tempted him to renounce his oath seriously while laying Kuai Liang on the ground. Music for the environment, smiley face. Rain, he can be very persuasive, right? Turning him down is a serious mistake. Put the video at minute 0:18 for a better experience, smiley face. Fight. Rain would throw water balls at Issei, who countered them with his fire. In a quick movement, Issei would take Rain by the shoulders and headbutt her, causing Rain to be stunned. Issei took advantage of this to start hitting her all over her body and then kick her in the face, sending Rain to the ground. Rain would get up somewhat angry and create a water whip that would take her by the foot and begin to whip Issei on the ground several times until Rain sent Issei flying against the wall. Issei would get up, but before he could do anything, Rain lunged at Issei and started hitting him, but Issei would manage to block all the attacks and take Rain's arms to kick him in the chest, sending Rain flying. Rain would get up, but in that Issei would teleport behind Rain and kick him in the head, causing Rain to be stunned, and this Issei took advantage of to take out his harpoon and stick it in Rain's shoulder, causing the aforementioned to scream in pain. Then Issei would grab Rain and throw her, and then take her chain and pull her, causing Rain to also be pulled to be sent flying by a kick from Issei. Rain would try to get up, but before doing so Issei would kick her in the head, making Rain unable to get up. Issei would take Rain and start whipping her against the ground, causing Rain to break her nose and start bleeding, staining the ground. A little time would pass in which Issei continued whipping the ground with Rain, who was already knocked out, and with a large amount of blood running from her nose, to which Issei got up while leaving Rain on the ground. Scorpion wins, the music ends. Issei, the mistake is Tuto, inhabitant of the outer world, seriously. At that moment Havoc and Darius arrived and saw Issei next to Rain, who was knocked out. Havoc, what have you done? Angry, Havoc and Darius would rush towards Issei, who would begin to dodge Havoc and Darius' blows until reaching a chamber where there was lava and several weapons, implying that it was an armory. Issei continued dodging Havoc and Darius' blows while he also hit them, but in a careless moment Issei would be pushed into a pit full of lava, and although Issei was not affected by the lava, he would be subdued by Havoc and Darius with the intention of submerging Issei's head in the lava. Issei did not resist, and Havoc and Darius would submerge Issei's head in the lava, and when they took him out they saw that Issei had no wounds, to which Issei would headbutt Darius to release him and would move Havoc to put him in the lava, making Havoc scream while being in the lava. Issei would release Havoc, who would come out of the lava pit, and continued screaming in pain until his screams stopped, and then he would see Issei in an angry manner. Music for the environment, smiley face. Havoc, ugh, I'm not done yet. For burning me you will burn in hell. Furious, put the video at minute 0:08 for a better experience, smiley face. Fight. Havoc would lunge at Issei to try to hit him, but Issei would dodge all of Havoc's blows, although he didn't expect Havoc to grab him by the neck and start vomiting blood, causing Issei to be somewhat blinded, and this was taken advantage of by Havoc to start hitting him in the face. Issei received each blow until he could finally see and saw that Havoc was going to headbutt, in that Issei would take Havoc's head and with a quick movement he would headbutt Havoc, causing him to be stunned. Issei would take Havoc's arm and with a strong blow he would break Havoc's arm, who screamed in pain as the bone came out of the skin. Havoc would take his arm and tear out his bone to use it as a dagger, something that surprised Issei, but he didn't care and would dodge Havoc's attacks, who had intentions of killing Issei. Havoc would manage to stick his bone in Issei's leg, making the aforementioned give a small cry of pain, but he didn't expect that Havoc would start biting his neck. Issei screamed in pain and took Havoc's head to bury his thumbs in his eyes, causing Havoc to release Issei and scream in pain. Issei would take out his harpoon and throw it at Havoc, who would manage to dodge it, and then Issei would teleport behind Havoc and would start stabbing Havoc in the back with his harpoon, making Havoc scream in pain and turn around to attack Issei, but at that moment Issei would connect a blow to Havoc's face, managing to stun him, and at that same instant Issei would start hitting Havoc all over his body, and then give him a precise blow, making Havoc fall to the ground, and when he got up he was very stunned, and this was noticed by Issei, who wanted to end this and would approach Havoc. Music for the end of the fight, smiley face. Issei would draw his swords and amputate Havoc's arms while the aforementioned screamed in pain and fell to the ground half dead while bleeding. Brutality. Scorpion wins, the music ends. Issei, burn, idiot, seriously. Issei would hear Baihan's voice in the distance, who sounded quite upset. Baihan, split up. We have to find them. Angry, Issei without wasting time would go for Kuai Liang and carry her again to leave the place. Issei continued running from the place until he left the building he was inside to return to the courtyard where Teresa was and was received by the same. Teresa saw that Issei had different clothes and saw that his eyes were white, but what worried her most was seeing Kuai Liang fainted with multiple wounds and had a large wound on her eye. Teresa, Issei, what happened to you? What happened to Kuai Liang, and where is Baihan? Worried, Issei, Baihan betrayed us. We're in danger now. We must leave here now, seriously. Issei would explain to Teresa how Baihan betrayed them, how he revealed that he let his father die, how Baihan was the one who inflicted Kuai Liang's injuries, and how Issei had those clothes. Teresa was shedding tears knowing that Baihan let his father die, but at the same time she was angry. Teresa, She let father die and renounced the earth? She lost her mind. Furious, with a few tears, Issei, Baihan's frustrations ran deep, but I never imagined they would lead to such madness. We can't allow his corruption to spread seriously. Teresa, whatever it costs, I will cooperate seriously. Issei, thank you. We may not share blood, but we are brothers smiling. Issei and Teresa would give each other a hug that showed affection for each other. Teresa would now carry Kuai Liang and they were going to leave until Baihan would appear behind them. Baihan, does your oath mean nothing? Your duty is to obey my will. Angry, Issei, not if the principles of the Lin K are betrayed. Angry, Teresa, we're not going to sacrifice them for your ambition. Angry, Baihan would throw an ice sphere at Teresa who could not dodge because she had Kuai Liang in her arms receiving an ice sphere. Teresa would begin to notice that her legs and abdomen were beginning to freeze at the same time that Kuai Liang was freezing, but that was not all. Teresa would begin to scream in pain as her body would begin to freeze and cause ice stakes to be created that were embedding themselves in Teresa's body at the same time that Kuai Liang was also being hurt, but the ice stakes but only gave moans of pain as she fainted. Teresa, screaming in pain. Issei, Teresa. Baihan was just smiling since during the entire time Issei was in the Lin K he knew how Issei fought, so he wouldn't have many problems. Baihan, end this, Issei. And accept the future, smiling arrogantly. Issei, I will not be a part of that. You pervert everything that being a Lin K means. Angry, put the video at minute 011 for a better experience, smiley face. Fight. Issei and Baihan would clash their fists, and in a quick movement Issei would take one of Baihan's arms and subdue him to break his legs, making Baihan kneel, and Issei took advantage of this to start kneeing Baihan, but Baihan would take one of Issei's knees and give him a strong blow to the stomach to Issei, making the aforementioned retreat. Baihan would get up and create an ice sword while Issei took out one of his swords and covered it in fire, so both would begin to have a sword duel where the battle was very even until Issei managed to cut Baihan, who screamed in pain because the cut having fire burned Baihan's wound. Baihan would throw an ice sphere to freeze Issei, to which the aforementioned would throw a fireball so the attacks would collide and smoke would be created, and this was taken advantage of by Baihan to hide and was able to stick an ice dagger in Issei's shoulder, to which Issei furious would hit Baihan in the face, causing him to move away. Issei saw Baihan with an angry face while Baihan saw Issei with a serious face. Baihan, you challenged me for the last time, Issei seriously. Issei, you dishonor your family and your clan. Angry, Issei and Baihan would pounce on each other and start hitting each other until Issei managed to connect a blow to Baihan's chest, causing him to spit blood. Baihan would get angry with Issei and create a ball of ice in his, managing to hit Issei in the face, causing him to start bleeding from his face and his body to freeze. Issei would cover himself in fire to remove the ice while bleeding from his face and take out his harpoon that would cover him in fire to launch himself to attack Baihan, managing to make cuts on his chest and arms, causing Baihan to scream in pain, but then Issei quickly went to where Baihan was and kicked Baihan, sending him flying. Issei would take a big jump and would throw two harpoons at Baihan that managed to embed themselves in his shoulders, causing Baihan to scream in pain, and then Issei would lift Baihan with the chains of his harpoon to whip him to the ground, causing Baihan to hurt his back and neck. Issei would take out the harpoons from Baihan and would throw himself at him because he had gotten up, to which Issei would give Baihan a hook covered in fire, causing the aforementioned to fall to the ground fainted, while Issei saw Baihan with notable hatred. Scorpion wins, the music ends. Issei, you are no longer my Grand Master, seriously. Issei would remove the Lin K insignia and then go to thaw Kuai Liang and Teresa with his fire, who was recovering from the pain, although she was confused since Issei could have been a Grand Master. Once Issei thawed Teresa, they went to where Baihan was so that Issei would bend down and leave his insignia to Baihan. Teresa, what are you doing? When the truth comes out, won't you be Grand Master? Confused. Issei, you're forgetting Sirax and Sector. Their loyalty to Baihan is unconditional. They would rather instigate his corruption than follow me. We must chart a new course. One that honors your father's legacy and serves the earth. Seriously. At that, Issei would get up and see Teresa. Issei, help me. Take Kuai Liang, I'll take Baihan. We can't leave him here to help Shang Tsung, seriously. Issei would take Baihan while Teresa took Kuai Liang. Several minutes passed and Issei and Teresa were already quite far from the fortress, but they would hear a noise, and when they turned to see they noticed that some green rays were coming out of the fortress, implying that the soul stealers were activated. Those rays were seen from afar by Wukong, who was serious and worried since that meant that Issei, Baihan, Kuai Liang and Teresa failed the mission. Wukong, how did you do it, Warlock? Seriously. At that moment Garas would arrive, who looked serious. Wukong, you've come along just when I needed you, Garas. Do you know something? Seriously, Garas, when I analyzed Shang Tsung and his benefactor's first meeting, I discovered something important. The essence of her life, the very time crystals that comprise her are not from this timeline. Seriously. Wukong, not from this timeline? How could someone from a previous timeline get into this one? Seriously, Garas, that's impossible. Seriously. Wukong, if that's impossible, then what happened, Garas? The only timelines that exist are the ones that preceded us. Seriously. Garas, all evidence points to the presence of a second timeline that exists parallel to ours. Seriously. Wukong, two parallel timelines moving forward simultaneously? Seriously. Garas, never in billions of lifetimes have I seen anything like this. But that doesn't make the other timeline any less real. Shang Tsung's benefactor definitely comes from there. Seriously. Wukong, who is he? Why is he here? Where did he come from? We must answer these questions. And we can't do it while we're under attack. I'll go see Sindel to explain how history is being manipulated and convince her to leave Earth. Seriously. Garas, then you'll have to mention your past as a time guardian. Seriously. Wukong, the situation leaves me no choice. Garas, I'll need your help to prove my case to the Empress. Seriously. Garas, so it will be. Seriously. Wukong, I just hope the factions haven't discovered the truth and are now looking for Issei. Otherwise, we'd have another serious problem. Meanwhile, the factions. A meeting was being held to find out Issei's location, since everyone knew that Issei managed to escape from Tartarus, although they still didn't know how long ago he escaped, but they wouldn't care since the only thing that mattered to them was that Issei forgive them and bring him back to be the pillar of the factions, be the Secretary, be the carrier and Mio, and that he marry the girls. Surzex, I'm glad everyone came to this meeting. Have you heard from Issei-kun yet? Seriously. Azazel, I sent fallen angels to investigate, and from what they told me, it's likely that Issei is in China. Seriously. Michael, if Issei managed to get out of Tartarus, why is he in China? Curious. Azazel, I don't know, but I suppose he has no intention of taking revenge, because if he had taken revenge he would have already done something serious. Surzex, now that you mention China, the demons I sent to investigate where Issei-kun would be told me that in China there is a clan of ninjas called Lin K. Do you think Issei-kun joined that clan? Seriously. Odin, probably yes, but we don't know, but that doesn't matter since we'll bring him back. Zeus, but something also worries me. Seriously. Shiva, what's wrong, Zeus? Seriously. Zeus, remember when Hades mentioned that there could be another god? Seriously. Yes. But he said it could only be a theory. Seriously. Odin, well, we believe that God does exist. Seriously. Searches, Azazel, Michael, Odin, Zeus, and I investigated more about it, and it could be a god who lives in China. Seriously. Azazel, all we know is that his name is Wukong, but beyond that, we don't know much more about him. We don't know what kind of god he is, and we don't know how old he is. Seriously. Zeus, but apparently, we can rule out the possibility of him attacking us since it seems he has no intention of attacking us. Seriously. Shiva, but Issei could be in China, and that god is in China. Do you think Issei is related to that god? Seriously. Surzex, I don't know, but if they are related, we'll make that god hand Issei-kun over to us, and if he doesn't accept, we'll face him. After all, we're the entire alliance against a single god, so we can easily defeat him. Smiling. Shiva, by the way, what about the girls? Surzex, they've been searching for Issei-kun nonstop. It's clear they want Issei-kun back, so the first thing we'll do is have the girls' wedding with Issei-kun when he returns. My sister, her entourage, and the other girls always talk about how to have happy lives with Issei. Smiling. Azazel, in fact, Penemu and Reina threatened me with their spears of light so they could marry the boy. Michael, Irina and Gabriel spend their time praying to find Issei, and once they find him, they want to have a family with him. Smiling. Gora, in fact, I already gave the girls my blessing to marry my son when we find him. Smiling. Mickey, my little son will not suffer anymore. I plan to make him a delicious meal when I get back. Smiling. Odin, It looks like the brat is going to be very happy with the girls and the other rewards we're going to give him smiling. Location: Hyatt Mansion, Kuoh, Japan. Since the girls discovered that Issei managed to get out of Tartarus, they have been looking for Issei like crazy everywhere. Because as expected, the girls wanted Issei back to apologize to him so they could then be his girlfriends, and then be his wives. During that time, Mickey and Gora gave the girls their blessing so they could marry Issei, to which they very happily imagined a married life with Issei, so they would search with greater speed. Of course, since they lost their virginities to Menma, they would create a spell to regain their virginity, and lose it to Issei on their honeymoon. But as time passed, the girls became more attracted to Issei to the point of becoming obsessed with him. Every day that passed, the girls' obsession increased, and more the girls' sanity depended on Issei as if he were the only thing they had in life. All the girls who rejected Issei felt like idiots for losing him, but when Issei returned they would never lose him again. Although they became furious and jealous since other families wanted to engage their daughters with Issei, to which the girls threatened each daughter of the family to kill them if they were with Issei, arguing that only they could be Issei's wives. Now all the girls were in their corresponding rooms while saying strange things that involved Issei and them while they had faces that reflected madness. Rias, my cute and adorable Issei, when I find you and have you in my arms I will never let you go. I can already imagine you and me at our wedding giving each other our I do kiss. Just wait, my love, your beloved Crimson Diamond will go for you and we will finally fulfill our dream of getting married together and starting a beautiful family with a sick smile. Akeno, my sweet Kohai. You must be cold and hungry. Don't worry, Anada. Once I find you, I'll feed and warm you up as you wish. I can't wait to take you to a room and make you lots of delicious things, fufufu. With a sickly smile. Asia, Issei-san, I pray every night for him to come back to us so we can get married. I swear I'll make him happy. His cute little nun will be eagerly awaiting his return. With a sickly smile. Kaneko, Issei-senpai, I swear that I will protect you from any danger. I will also have the offspring you wish for. Your cute kitten will go for you and we will go live in a beautiful place. With a sick smile. Zenobia Issei, once I have you here with me you will need a lot of water because I won't let you sleep. And since you left my side now you owe me more strong children. With a sick smile. Irina, oh darling, you must be sad because you're not with your childhood friend. Don't worry darling, when I find you we'll fulfill our beautiful promise to get married and I'll give you a gift that you'll love. With a sick smile. Yumi, honey, why did you leave me? I love you so much. Come to me and let's get married, sweetheart. I'll be a loving wife and a good mother to our beautiful children. With a sickly smile. Flandra, Issei-senpai, I'm afraid something has happened to you. Please come back because I miss you. You have no idea how much. If you come with me I will give you a lot of love and from our love our little vampires will be born. With a sick smile. Rosweiss, where will you be, my little sugar cube? When I have you in my arms I will eat you with kisses, I will pamper you and spoil you. You will be with me forever. Just hold on a little longer my love. Your beautiful Valkyrie will go for you and we will marry like the beautiful couple we were always meant to be. I may leave you in a wheelchair because I will make you mine, my love. With a sick smile. Revel, Issei-sama, why don't you come for me? It's not that I want you here, but I would love for you to be here so you can try my pancakes, which I will make with much love. I recommend that you marry me so that my brother doesn't do anything to the father of my children that I will have with you. With a sick smile. Kuroka, my cute kitty, my Issei Naya. I miss you so much, but when you come home I'm going to mate with you until dawn. Naya, I already want to taste your milk. I'm going to drain you dry, and we'll have lots of kittens, watching them grow up happily married. Naya. With a sickly smile. Lufei, Issei-sama, I recommend that you let yourself hide since you won't be able to avoid me finding you so that I can kiss you, hug you and make you my wife. So I recommend that you come for your pretty magician so that she can give you a spell so that you never leave my side. With a sick smile. Elmenhild, my beautiful Issei, I really want to taste your blood. It will surely taste exquisite, just like you, my love. It's only a matter of time before I find you and we have many children. With a sick smile. Seraphal, Issei-chan, when I have you in my arms you will marry me and Sotan even if you don't want to. We will have your children, and we will be very happy like in princess stories. If you are in danger your magical girl will save you and you will compensate me with your love. With a sick smile. Ingvild Issei, you have to be here with me. Without you I am nothing. Please come to me and be my beloved husband. I swear that I will be faithful to you forever, my Issei. With a sick smile. Sikveria, damn it Issei. Why don't you want to be here with me? If you have your beloved Sikveria who loves you, you better come back and I'll give you a gift if you behave with a sick smile. Latia Issei, you better come back with us and we'll give you an unforgettable night. I'm sure you'll love us being your wives with a sick smile. Suzaku, Issei-kun, when Akeno and I have you in our arms we will make you scream our names while we scream yours for the pleasure we will have when we are alone with a sick smile. Gabriel, my honeypot, my sweet Issei, I still pray that I can find you so we can get married and have our little ones. I don't mind falling in love if it's you, my Issei with a sickly smile. Penemu, Issei-kun, wherever you are, you'll be here with me whether you like it or not, and you better not be unfaithful because if not, I'll kill the hitch you're cheating on me with and punish you in a delicious way with a sick smile. Yasaka, oh my love, you don't know how much I miss you, my man. Kunu wants you back so you can be her father and I want you back so we can get married and mate like rabbits until you get me pregnant with a sick smile. Rainier, Issei, I don't care what you say. I was your first girlfriend and by right I will be the first to marry you and be your first time. I can already imagine you and me giving each other a kiss full of love while our children play in a park with a sick smile. Sona, Hyoudou, Oni-sama and I agreed to be your wives. You'll see that we'll be a beautiful family, and we'll show our parents their grandchildren with a sick smile. Tsubaki, Issei-kun, you're probably dying to be with me. I'm also dying to be with you. I'm going to love you and pamper you with my breasts. I know you'll love to touch them or better yet, suck them. Just thinking that I'll have you between my breasts makes me hot with a sick smile. Sally, my love, with the help of Vritra I will suck every drop of your essence, and it will be all mine. You will remain like a mummy while I kiss you and pamper you with my breasts with a sick smile. Valerie, my precious little dragon, you belong to me. When I bring you back we will be rivals and husbands and we will have many children. Fuck that idiot Menma. You are the only one in my heart, my Issei with a sick smile. Mio, my companion, my little dragon. I know you're frustrated for not having me as a companion. It's okay, my love. When I have brought you back we will be the best companions in the world and then we will have several little dragons. Some will have red hair and others will have brown like yours, my love with a sickly smile. I'll be, my alpha. Mio will not stay alone with you, darling. I will have you with me even if it costs me, and when we are in our mating season, we will go to our love nest where you will mark me and impregnate me like the male that you are with a sick smile. Tiamat, you know something, my man? I'll stop being stupid Azami's mate so I can be your mate, my love. Mio will have to share. When you're asleep, I'll make you mine while I mark your entire body with kisses. With a sick smile. Ophis, my beautiful little dragon, I will find you and when I do we will be together forever, my love. I will give you my power, and you will be my dragon god. For some reason you will be mine and I will be yours with a sick smile. Eris, my adorable little dragon, I will make you only mine and we will have many little dragons. Now I will be the new Miss Hyoudou, and you will be the most powerful being there is. I will grape you every night, and you will make me scream your name while we are in ecstasy with a sick smile. All that and more they said about Issei as they looked at his fingers that had the rings they found in Issei's closet on, and had hearts in their eyes and had disturbing smiles that showed love and obsession to Issei. With Issei's sisters, Izami and Arisa also wanted their brother back. But something was going through their heads. They had feelings of affection for Issei, but it wasn't brotherly affection but lover's affection. They always regretted having treated Issei the worst, so they set out to give him what Issei always deserved, which was the love and affection of his sisters, but they thought that their sisterly love was too little and decided to love Issei as lovers. That way they could reward Issei for everything. But that thought of loving Issei left them somewhat obsessed with Issei, so they only thought of Issei as if he were a god. Izami, my Ototo, I will take care of you as it should have been done from the beginning. I will not let anything bad happen to you, but in return I want you to be by my side forever. You have to love your sister just as I must love my little Ototo. I do not care what they tell me, you will be mine and I will make you fall in love with me, my love with a sick smile. Arisu, Issei, my beloved little brother, I know you hate me and that hurts me, but I just realized that I love you, little brother, so I will make you love me so that you never leave me. We will get married and we will have a life full of love. I promise to love you and take care of you and be a good mother to our cute babies. I'm coming for you, my cute little bro Arthur with a sick smile. I clarify that I might kill these hitches XD. Chapter 8. The Truth of a Dark Past. Normal narration. It's been 5 minutes since Liu Kang saw the rays coming out of the ruins of the Ying fortress, implying that Issei, Kuai Linag and Teresa failed the mission they were assigned because of Baihan, who had betrayed them. Issei and Teresa had to leave Baihan a bit far from Ying's fortress so he wouldn't help Shang Tsung, and they decided to stay near the fortress while they waited for help from Lu Kang, who had previously said that if they were late in the mission, he would help them. Meanwhile, Lu Kang would travel to the outside world to talk to Sindel so that she would know everything that was happening and that he needed her help. Location: Sundu, outside world. Lu Kang had arrived at Sundu, specifically at the portal where he had already passed with Issei in the tournament, but this time Lu Kang came alone. When Lu Kang arrived, there were several Sundu officials and the one in front was Li Mei, since she was the one in charge. When Li Mei saw Lu Kang arrive, she would walk until she was face to face with Lu Kang. Li Mei, return to your home, Lord Lu Kang. I will not allow anyone to pass seriously. Lu Kang, I must see your majesty. You must cease the attack on Earth. Li Mei, her decision was wrong, but she doesn't want my advice anymore. And I doubt she's interested in yours seriously. Lu Kang, the Empress was deceived. Shang Tsung and General Shao fomented this crisis in order to seize the throne. Li Mei, General Shao? I knew he had ulterior motives. But joining Shang Tsung, I knew he wasn't trustworthy. If he were still Umgadi, he wouldn't have breathed the same air as the Empress. My sources told me he came out of nowhere and immediately influenced the Empress. Seriously. Lu Kang, he gained her trust because he treated Princess Melina's illness. Unfortunately, she suffers from Target. Li Mei, Target? The Empress must be out of her mind. If Shang Tsung found a treatment, there's no wonder she took it seriously. Lu Kang, I didn't tell anyone about this. I trust that you, more than anyone, will keep it a secret seriously. Li Mei, of course. If it were made public, it would be the end of the royal family seriously. Lu Kang, Li Mei, Empress Sindel needs our help. Will you come with me? Seriously, Li Mei, Emperor Jared's mistreatment of Sindel has always haunted me. I failed the royal family once. I won't do it again seriously. Several minutes would pass where Lu Kang and Li Mei went towards Sindel's palace in a carriage, being escorted by several of Li Mei's officers. Li Mei, now it all makes sense. My contacts within the Umgadi had said that the general's soldiers have advanced. However, I can't fathom it. Is General Shao committing treason? Seriously, Lu Kang, he is the fruit of a poisonous seed planted by Shang Tsung. He took advantage of the general's vanity and exacerbated his prejudices to convince him that only he could save the Outworld seriously. Li Mei, I could be unstoppable. The Umgadi are few and my officers are unprepared for serious warfare. Lu Kang, you should know that I will also help defend the Empress seriously. At that the carriage suddenly stops, leaving Li Mei somewhat disconcerted. Li Mei, driver, what's going on? Li Mei, not receiving a response from the driver, would check by going out a bit, and would see that Li Mei's officers were formed to defend the carriage since something was happening. Li Mei, seeing this, would get back into the carriage. Li Mei, I could really use that help now seriously. Li Mei and Lu Kang would get off the carriage and then Reiko and a centaur would arrive in front of them who looked upset. Reiko, take Lu Kang to the portal entrance, Li Mei. He's not welcome in the outside world seriously. Li Mei, I will not support General Reiko or his plan to usurp the throne seriously. Reiko, in that case, you won't live to see the new regime angry. At that Reiko would look at the centaur who would nod his head and the centaur would grab the hands of one of Li Mei's officers with force, causing him to tear them off and the officer to scream in pain. Reiko's soldiers would fight against Li Mei's officers and Li Mei would see how Reiko killed her officers and Li Mei would re-enter the chariot. Li Mei, they surrounded us seriously. Lu Kang, I am the protector of Earth, Li Mei. I am no stranger to combat seriously. Li Mei, then, let's go seriously. Lu Kang and Li Mei would quickly get out of the chariot and begin to forcefully hit Reiko's soldiers. But then Reiko would arrive, looking at Li Mei, standing face to face with her. Reiko, you should have joined us, not the officers. Your Umgadi skills would have come in handy. Seriously, Li Mei, enough. A traitor's compliments are worthless. Annoyed, Li Mei and Reiko would fight while Lu Kang fought with him. Li Mei, you and your accomplices will be judged. Reiko, seriously. Once Li Mei defeated Reiko, Li Mei's officers would arrest Reiko's soldiers and take them to another location, while Lu Kang and Li Mei would stay and get on the carriage before more reinforcements from Reiko arrive. Li Mei, we must go. Reinforcements should be on the way. Li Mei and Lu Kang would leave the place in the carriage to be able to talk to Sindel and try to explain to her what Shang Tsung was doing. Location: Sindel Palace. Lu Kang and Li Mei had arrived at Sindel's palace and were walking through the corridors until they reached the palace garden. But then Tanya arrived, who saw them, arrived at the garden and went to confront them. Music for the environment, smiley face. Tanya, the news of his arrival has already arrived. If you want to get through this unscathed, surrender. Seriously. Li Mei, let us pass, Tanya. The Empress and her family are in danger. He informed us of Shang Tsung and Xiao's conspiracy against her. Tanya, the general? Are you that easily fooled by lies? Once again, you've proven yourself incapable of protecting the royal house. Please put the music at 017 for a better experience, smiley face. Fight. Tanya would go to hit Li Mei, but she would dodge the blows that Tanya tried to give until Tanya would manage to hit Li Mei in the face, but Li Mei would not let her, and would kick Tanya in one of her knees to put her on her knees and give her another kick in the face, sending Tanya flying. Tanya would get up angrily, and would take out her cane that could be divided into 3 sections and would use it to hit Li Mei, who would be stunned a little by the blow, but before doing anything Tanya would hit Li Mei again in the face with her cane, causing her to fall to the ground and blood coming out of her mouth. Li Mei would wipe her mouth that was bleeding and get up somewhat sore from the blow, and would see that Tanya would launch herself at her again with her cane until Li Mei would take the cane and hit Tanya in the stomach, causing her to drop the cane. And now Li Mei had the cane, and would hit Tanya in the face as if they were chacos, causing Li Mei to make Tanya's nose bleed, making her angry. Tanya would try to grab her cane, but before she could even grab it, Li Mei would kick her in the hands and then kick her again in the head, causing Tanya to fall to the ground. Li Mei would leave Tanya's cane and take the opportunity to subdue her, and would begin to hit Tanya in the face, and she would try to defend herself from Li Mei's blows, who would not stop hitting her until Tanya would grab Li Mei's hair and would begin to stamp on the ground, causing Li Mei to bleed a little until she would hit Tanya's arm, causing her to release her, and Li Mei would get up quickly to grab Tanya's hair and knee her in the face several times, making Tanya somewhat weak until one of Li Mei's knees would knock her out, and Li Mei would release her and see how Tanya fell to the ground hurt. Li Mei wins. End of music. Li Mei, I'm sorry you forced me into this. Looking at Tanya. At that moment, Umgadis would arrive with spears surrounding Lu Kang and Li Mei. Li Mei, priestesses, you know who I am and how I acted when I was one of you. I may no longer be welcome, but in my heart I am still one of the Umgadi. I will always honor my oaths. He came to eliminate the threat to the Empress. If you prevent us from continuing, she will lose the throne, but if you support us, we will save the empire. Seriously. Li Mei would manage to convince the Umgadi to let them free, and they would be taken to the Empress's room while Tanya was taken tied by the hands. Tanya, why didn't you kill me? Seriously, Li Mei, because we don't want to hurt you. Seriously. Lu Kang, your being alive will serve as proof to the Empress. Seriously. A few minutes would pass, and finally Lu Kang and Li Mei would arrive at Sindal's throne, which was the same place where the first fights of the tournament in which Issei participated took place. And Sindel could be seen upset to see Li Mei and Lu Kang arrive while they were escorted by Umgadis and had Tanya's arms tied. Sindel, how dare you, Li Mei? Wasn't it enough for you to allow Jared to abuse his power? Would you let Lu Kang destroy the rest of my family? Annoyed. Li Mei, the way your husband mistreated you tore me apart. I lost not only my position as Umgadi, but you, my best friend. You may never forgive me, but don't let anger and hurt blind you. We came to help you. Tanya would take advantage of Li Mei's carelessness and subdue her with the ropes that tied her hands, while the other Umgadis would be on guard and would pounce on Lu Kang, who had no difficulty fighting them. Kitana and Melina would see how Lu Kang and Li Mei fought without difficulty against Tanya and the Umgadis, to which they would get annoyed, and Kitana would take out her steel fans going to fight. Melina was also going to go but would be stopped by Sindel. Sindel, no, daughter. Your illness worried. Li Mei kicked Tanya several times in the head and managed to knock her down, since Tanya had her hands tied and couldn't do anything. But then Kitana arrived, who looked upset. Kitana, your disloyalty shocks me. Li Mei, how can you join Earth against us? Angry. Li Mei, what I'm doing is for your family and the outside world. If you'd take a moment, you'd realize. Seriously. Eventually, Li Mei and Kitana would fight, but Li Mei, being more experienced from having trained Kitana and Melina since they were children, found it easy to fight with Kitana, and only a few minutes would pass where Li Mei would gain the advantage in the fight and would easily defeat Kitana. Li Mei, you must think clearly, princess. Seriously. Li Mei had already defeated Kitana, and this would be seen by Melina, who was angry and wanted to help Kitana, but again would be stopped by Sindel. Sindel, no, Melina. I forbid you. She would grab Melina's arm. Melina, I must. If I didn't risk my life for the throne, I wouldn't be worthy of it. I wouldn't be. Melina would get out of Sindel's grip and would lunge at Li Mei, being more aggressive than Kitana, and would manage to hit Li Mei in the face, and then kick her in the stomach, causing Li Mei to fall to the ground, and would see Melina. Li Mei, I remember teaching you that, princess. You were just a little girl, seriously. Melina, that's the past. A lot has changed. Annoyed. Li Mei, my loyalty to your family is gone. Trust me like you used to. Once again Melina would attack Li Mei aggressively, but Li Mei would manage to kick Melina in the face, knocking her to the ground, but Melina seemed a bit strange as she didn't raise her gaze and was still. Li Mei, please, princess, listen to me. We mustn't fight, Melina, grr. At that Melina would raise her gaze, showing that the target was affecting her again, making her more aggressive. Melina would stand up and see Li Mei with intentions of killing her, but Sindel would run to help Melina with her illness, and Melina would notice Sindel. Sindel, Melina! Running worriedly towards Melina. Melina, blarg! Attacking Sindel and knocking her to the ground. Sindel, HH! Trying to get rid of Melina. Melina would try to hurt Sindel, who was on the ground, because Melina threw her, and before she could do anything Li Mei would take Melina by the arms and push her to another side where Sindel would be safe, and thus Li Mei and Melina would be face to face. Music for the environment, smiley face. Li Mei, forgive me, princess, but I will not allow you to harm yourself or others seriously. Please put the music at 016 for a better experience, smiley face. Fight. Melina would lunge at Li Mei to try to bite her, but before she could throw Li Mei she would kick Melina in the face, who would fall to the ground quickly for going so fast and having received that kick, but would get up quickly with a jump and would get upset with Li Mei, who looked serious. Melina, annoyed, would take out her side to try to stab Li Mei, and when she saw that Melina took out her weapons, Li Mei would take Melina by the arms and kick her in the stomach, causing Melina to run out of air, and Li Mei would take advantage of this to be able to take the sai from Melina and throw them to a distant place, but she would not expect Melina to hit her in the face, and would try to scratch her, making a scratch on the cheek and hitting Li Mei in the face, throwing her to the ground. Li Mei would get up, touching her cheek that was bleeding from Melina's scratch, and would see how Melina came running towards her again, and this time Li Mei would throw herself at Melina, knocking her down, and would start hitting her in the face until Melina takes Li Mei's face and begins to sink her thumb into one of Li Mei's eyes, causing her to scream in pain, and would get up from Melina, and then receive a kick in the legs from Melina, throwing her to the ground. And now Melina was the one hitting Li Mei in the face, who was trying to cover herself from Melina's blows. Li Mei would see an opening in Melina and would hit her in the liver, causing Melina to moan in pain and stop hitting Li Mei, which Li Mei took advantage of to grab her by the arms and kick her several times in the stomach, causing Melina to spit out saliva and a little blood. Melina was a little stunned by Li Mei's kicks and would not see that Li Mei would give her a hook, causing Melina to rise a little by Li Mei's hook and would fall stunned and a little weak, being a little calmer, and would not be fainted but drowsy. Li Mei wins. End of music. Li Mei, we are all victims of target serious. Tanya would be freed from the rope that had tied her hands and would go to Melina, who was calm and being cared for by Sindel. When Tanya arrived, she would take out a syringe with a yellow liquid and inject it into Melina's bone marrow and make Melina no longer have sharp teeth and return to normal. Tanya, blessed Argus, relieved. Sindel, thank you? I owe you, looking at Li Mei. Li Mei, no, your majesty. There can be no debt between friends, smiling. Wukong, I'm glad you're safe and that our conflict is over, looking at Sindel. Sindel, it's on pause, but I'm not finished. Li Mei has earned my favor. It remains to be seen if you will too seriously. Wukong, I just want peace, your majesty. Sindel, is that why you assigned your henchmen secret missions in my empire? You've proven to be the enemy I was warned about long ago. Seriously. Wukong, I understand your anger, but I had reason to believe Shang Tsung posed a threat to both of us. I didn't want to overwhelm you with my suspicions until I confirmed them. Seriously, Sindel, and now? Seriously, Wukong, it turned out to be true. Shang Tsung, Quan Chi, and the general are plotting to conquer our kingdom. Seriously, Sindel, it's a very serious accusation. And the evidence? Seriously, Wukong, in Shang Tsung's lab. If what you see there doesn't convince you, Earth will surrender without a fight. Seriously. Meanwhile, Issei and Teresa were still waiting for Liu Kang's help, while taking care of Kuai Liang, who was still fainted from the wound caused by Baihan. Issei was using the ointment that Reptile gave to Johnny to relieve the pain of Kenshir, who lost his eyes, and now Issei was using the ointment for Kuai Liang. When Issei finished putting the ointment on Kuai Liang, it seemed that she was relaxing from the pain relief and he would let her rest. Teresa, how are you doing? Worried. Issei, he seems fine. Baihan only gave him a deep cut on his face, but it didn't hurt his eye. It seems the ointment relieved the pain seriously and relieved. I clarify this because in the previous chapter 1 put a gif where they buried something in his eye, but I didn't find a gif similar to that of a cut in the eye. Issei would sit while he concentrated to return to his normal state, since he still had his spectre appearance when he recently fought with Xiao, Havoc, Rain, and obviously with Baihan. Once he managed to return to his original form, he felt his power decrease since the power he used before came out of anger, and also caused him to use the flames of Tartarus, and was seen by Teresa. Teresa, hey, Issei, getting Issei's attention. Issei, is something wrong, Teresa? Teresa, how did you manage to gain that power? And how did you have those clothes before? You looked like a demon made of fire. Curious. Issei, remember I told you how the supernatural world treated me and sent me to Tartarus? Well, when I was there, I met a monster that lived there. He helped me when I was about to die and gave me his powers. But he disappeared. Seriously. Teresa was listening to everything he said, and although she was angry about the fact that Issei suffered in Tartarus, at least she felt calm that someone helped him. Teresa, do you remember what the monster looked like? Did it have a name? Issei, the monster's appearance was like a humanoid scorpion. The funny thing is that it didn't have a name, so I called it Hanzo Hasashi. I remember that before he gave me his fire, he told me that we would meet again, but it's been a year since then. Teresa was intrigued by what the monster looked like and didn't know what it meant that Issei would see the monster again. Music for the environment, smiley face. Teresa, and what will we do with Baihan? Teresa was furious with Baihan for knowing that he was not afraid to kill his loved ones, and an example was how he let his father die, the same man who adopted her as a child when she had nowhere else to go. Issei, I don't know what we'll do with him, but from what happened I don't think we can go back to the temple. Thoughtful. Teresa, and what will we do? Sad. Issei, I think that looking for a new home. Thoughtful. Teresa, Baihan. He will pay for what he did to father. Shedding tears. Issei could see Teresa's sadness and pain. Although he didn't have a father to support him, he understood the pain Teresa was going through now, just like Kuai Liang felt when Baihan revealed everything. Teresa, Baihan killed the one he considered a father, and now I don't know if he wants to kill us like he did with his father. Crying. Issei, seeing her cry, went to her and gave her a hug so she could calm down a little, and Teresa responded to the hug tightly while crying. Teresa, Issei, why can't we just be happy for once? Crying while hugging Issei. Issei, Teresa, we are happy, but people like Baihan make our lives impossible. Hugging Teresa. Teresa, so what can we do? Crying while hugging Issei. Issei, don't worry, Teresa. I'll be with you and Kuai Liang to protect them. Hugging Teresa. Teresa continued crying, and after a few minutes she would calm her crying while she continued hugging Issei until she finally stopped crying, but she still had tears in her eyes. Issei, seeing that Teresa had calmed down, decided to stop hugging her. But when he tried to let go, Teresa continued hugging Issei with the intention of not letting go for a long time. Issei. Teresa, somewhat blushing. Teresa, I want to keep hugging you. Silly. Hugging Issei. Issei couldn't refuse and let himself be hugged by Teresa, who stopped crying but still had tears in her eyes until she finally stopped hugging Issei and would see him with a sad smile and with her eyes covered in tears. Issei, it seems you've calmed down now. Looking at Teresa. Teresa, yes, it seems so, with a sad smile. Seeing Teresa calmer, Issei would caress Teresa's head, who just let out a small giggle. Teresa, Issei, thank you very much for being here with us, for being there when we were having a bad time, when Baihan mistreated us, for being our real brother. Seeing Issei with tears, Issei would see her and give a small smile, but he would see that Teresa was approaching him, but not with the intention of hugging him. She was approaching with the intention of kissing him, and Issei would realize that, and would start to blush, trying to take a few steps back. Issei. Teresa, what are you doing? Nervous and blushing. Teresa, Issei approaching Issei. Issei was going to say something, but before he did, Teresa quickly approached him and kissed him on the lips. The kiss lasted only a few seconds before Teresa separated from Issei with a more animated smile. Issei. Teresa blushing. Teresa, you deserve that for always being there for me. Smiling. Issei. Teresa, I would be interrupted. Teresa, don't say anything. It's our secret. With a smile. Before Issei could say anything, Kuai Liang would start to get up, and this would be seen by Issei and Teresa, who approached Kuai Liang, who was complaining a little about the pain in his eye. Issei/Teresa. Kuai Liang. Going to help Kuai Liang. Kuai Liang, Issei. Teresa. Looking at the two. Issei, it's good that you're already awake. Smiling. Teresa. Kuai Liang, doesn't your eye hurt? Somewhat worried. Kuai Liang, a little, but I can see well. Issei, I'm glad. Baihan was able to take your eye seeing Kuai Liang. Kuai Liang, where are we? Looking at the place. Issei, outside Ing Fortress. Kuai Liang, are we still here? What happened while I was unconscious? Standing up. Issei, after Baihan attacked you, I had to leave the fortress while I carried you with me in my hands. I had to leave because I would attract too much attention if I stayed fighting, and when I left I told Teresa that Baihan betrayed us, but before we could leave, Baihan appeared and I had to fight him because he froze you and Teresa. When I defeated him, I unfroze you and took Baihan to a place far from the fortress while Teresa looked after you. And now we are here, waiting for Wukong to come and help us, seeing Kuai Liang. Kuai Liang's mind, Baihan, she thought angrily. Kuai Liang, if that happened, then I think Baihan will see us as traitors for not doing what he wanted it would be. Teresa, when this Shang Tsung problem is over, we'll have to find a new home. Baihan will probably seek us out to kill us for treason. Seriously. Issei, and since the Lin K are loyal to Baihan, especially Sirax and Sector, they'll see us as traitors. We can't trust any Lin K anymore. Seriously. Kuai Liang, what he did to father is unforgivable. He doesn't deserve to have the name Sub-Zero. Angry. Teresa, you are more Lin K than Baihan. You should be the one to bear the name Sub-Zero. Seriously. Issei, well, because of what happened, we can't return to the Lin K. Let's forge a new clan and their Kuai Liang will be called Sub-Zero. Looking at both of them. Kuai Liang, a new clan? That sounds good, but what are we trying to achieve with the new clan? Issei, to honor your father's legacy, to serve the earth and stand up to the traitor Baihan. Seriously. Teresa, I like the idea. And what will we call it? Issei, we'll think about it later. For now, we must take care of Shang Tsung and wait for Wukong. Kuai Liang, by the way, what were you doing while I was still unconscious? Seeing Issei and Teresa. In that, Issei and Teresa would remember how Teresa kissed Issei and would try not to blush so that Kuai Liang would suspect. Issei, we were just talking about Baihan trying to sound serious and not blush. Teresa, yes. We also put some ointment on your eye that Issei brought from the outside world, trying not to blush. Kuai Liang, well, thank you for putting that ointment on me. It relieved my pain. Smiling without suspecting anything. Issei, yes, trying not to blush. Kuai Liang, now what should we do? Issei, we just have to wait for Wukong to arrive. Let's hope he doesn't take too long. Seeing the green rays coming out of the fortress. End of music. Returning with Wukong and Sindel. Wukong along with Sindel, Kitana and Melina had arrived at Shang Tsung's laboratory together with some Li Mei officers and some Umgadis, and upon entering they would see the horrible things that Shang Tsung did. Sindel, Kitana and Melina were horrified to see Shang Tsung's atrocities and were watching a being that was once human suffer while chained. Sindel, how could I have misjudged them so? For Shang Tsung to indulge in such depravity, and for General Xiao to approve of it, they are not the men I thought. They were horrified. Wukong, despite all my efforts, neither of them, nor Quan Chi, are who they should be. Sindel, they're not your responsibility. They're from the outside world. Wukong, however, it was I who forged their destinies along with the rest of beings, at the dawn of history. Kitana, you created the realms? Is your mind clouded, demigod? Seriously. Wukong, I'm a mere demigod now, but several eons ago I was more powerful than all the old gods combined. I was a titan, and the keeper of time. Seriously. Wukong would begin to create a sandstorm and soon after would take the form of a man so that Geras would finally appear. Wukong, this is Geras. Introducing Geras. Geras, your majesty. Royal highnesses bowing to them in greeting. Wukong, Geras is the guardian of the hourglass. The hourglass is a celestial object that lies beyond the realms and regulates time and destiny. Geras would begin to create a sand version of the hourglass for Sindel, Kitana, and Melina to observe. Wukong, when I used his power, I had to take charge of shaping all existence, and I did, when I restarted history. Seriously. Sindel, a reboot? Seriously. Geras, this timeline was preceded by billions of others, though this is the first one designed by Wukong. The others were handled by his predecessor, Chronica. Music for the environment, smiley face. Geras would begin to create projections of everything that happened in the previous timelines, and the cause was Chronica, who manipulated the hourglass. Geras, Chronica was obsessed with balancing good and evil. When the timeline leaned too far to one extreme, she'd stop it and restart history, manipulating lives and events in the hopes of achieving her precious balance. Seriously. Wukong, In previous timelines, Chronica gave Shang Tsung and Quan Chi mastery of the most vile magic seriously. Garas would start creating more projections, and this time they were of Sindel, and at that time Shao Kahn. Lu Kang. Shao wasn't a general, but a tyrannical ruler with a thirst for conquest. You, Sindel, were his cruel wife, who would do anything to maintain her privileges. Seriously. Garas would create other projections where now Lu Kang became a god and fought against Chronica and made her glass, and Lu Kang would kill her. Lu Kang, when I took the hourglass from Chronica, I swore I would create something better. In this timeline, warlocks would have no dark powers. Shao would be your loyal follower, and you would rule the Outworld firmly, but you would be fair. Garas. But someone interfered with Liu Kang's design. Shao, Shang Tsung, Quan Chi, an unknown entity groomed them to become the villains they were in previous timelines seriously. Sindel, Itana and Melina were processing all the information they received from Lu Kang and Garas, since now they knew that they had another life in a previous timeline, and now in this one they were created by Lu Kang. Sindel, where do I begin? Should I bow down to my creator? Do you expect me to worship you? Lu Kang, no, your majesty. My previous role was imposed by circumstances. I am not a deity. Sindel, you had power over all creation, but you gave it up. Lu Kang, because I saw how he drove Chronica mad. I knew that if I kept him, my fate would be very similar. Sindel, upon learning of her past life, seemed bewildered as she saw how cruel and ruthless she was to everyone, but then Issei's past life came to mind. She remembered how Issei mercilessly beat Reiko and heard everything he said to Kenshir, Kung Lao, Johnny and Raiden in the tournament about how he had lived through hell and believed that Lu Kang was responsible for what Issei suffered. Sindel, and what about the Earth Champion? I remember hearing how he suffered his entire life after he finished fighting Reiko in the tournament. Did you make his life like that? Seriously, Lu Kang, no, your majesty. In fact, it was quite the opposite. I wanted Issei to have a peaceful and normal life because he was never happy in the previous timeline. Seriously. Sindel, what do you mean? Seriously, Lu Kang, like you, Issei had a different life than the one he has now. He was never a villain, but someone who sought revenge for the death of his clan, his wife and son, as well as his own death. Garas would create a new sand projection of what Issei looked like in the previous timeline, showing how Issei was a specter. Li Kang, Issei had the nickname Hanzo Hasashi so that they would not discover his true identity. He was a member of an earth clan called Shirai Ryu, the same clan with which he had war with the clan that he now belonged to, the Lin K. Issei was revived as a specter by Quan Chi's magic, turning him into a specter called Scorpion, and sought revenge against the Lin K who killed him and his wife and son. That Lin K was called Sub-Zero, and Issei would kill Sub-Zero but would discover that the murderer of his clan and family was Quan Chi, who disguised himself as Sub-Zero and made Issei believe that Sub-Zero killed his family. And when Issei learned the truth, he killed Quan Chi. Garas created another projection where Issei killed Baihan by burning him, and then Garas created another projection where Issei killed Quan Chi by beheading him. Lu Kang, in this timeline, I took Issei's powers and kept them in a place away from everything. Issei should have had a normal life away from everything that happened before, and when I made my first creation I asked him to make an extra kingdom where there would be demons, angels, fallen and more beings who do not know about this. But unfortunately my plan did not turn out as it should have been, and Issei was supposed to be an only child, but it seems that fate had other plans. I had no plans to make Issei suffer, much less for supernatural beings to send Issei to the place where I kept his powers seriously. Garas, for now, we believe that Issei's life was also interfered with by the unknown identity by causing Issei's siblings to be born seriously. They would all remain silent upon learning that Issei could not be happy in the previous timeline or in this one. But before they could say anything, Xiao Rain, Neotera and Goro would enter Shang Tsung's laboratory, and Sindel would be upset when she saw him. End of music. Sindel, you? How dare you conspire with the outside world? Angry, Xiao, not against the outside world, but against your wayward government. Your deference to it makes us all vassals. Seriously, Sindel, so you approve of these unspeakable horrors? And you lie to me about the threats we face? Thanks to you, I have earth blood on my hands. Blood spilled without cause or provocation. Angrily, Xiao, no, don't move, taking out an amulet. Lu Kang, Empress, and the others, back off. Worried, Sindel, what is that? Seriously, Lu Kang, Shinnok's amulet. A weapon of terrible power, serious and worried. Garas, it shouldn't exist. Its creator has no power, according to Liu Kang's design, seriously. Liu Kang, more evidence of external interference, serious. Shao, enough with the chatter. You will kneel before the new creator of the Outworld, smiling arrogantly. Liu Kang, let go of the amulet. You can't control that much evil. Seriously. Shao, ha ha ha. Do you think I'd fight if I hadn't practiced with my weapons? I'm more than ready. Smiling arrogantly, Shao would use the amulet and manage to absorb Garas, Kitana and Melina while they screamed and would be trapped in the amulet, while Li Mei's officers and the Umgadi fought with Shao's soldiers, while Liu Kang fought with Rain and Goro, while Li Mei fought with Shao and Sindel fought with Nitera. Sindel. So, General Shao united the Outworld enemies against me. He must be stupid to ally with you. Seriously, Sindel would fight with Nitera while Li Mei's officers and the Umgadi fought with Shao's soldiers. Liu Kang would fight with Rain and Li Mei would fight with the soldiers. It would not be long before Sindel would finish fighting with Nitera by knocking her out. Sindel, you're no better than Shang Tsung's monstrosity, seriously. Liu Kang would finish fighting with Rain and then Sindel would arrive. Liu Kang, your daughters aren't dead, they're trapped in the amulet. We can still save them, seriously. Before they could do anything, Shao would arrive with the amulet and had intentions of also absorbing Sindel and Liu Kang, but before he even wanted to use the amulet, Sindel would arrive behind Shao and kick him in the head, causing him to fall to the ground and drop the amulet, which would start to roll and Sindel would take it. Once Sindel took the amulet, they would try to leave the laboratory, but more of Shao's soldiers would arrive, and when they saw that they were being followed, Liu Kang would use his fire to burn the soldiers and Sindel would shout at the roof, causing the structure to fall and crush the soldiers, and now that she had a clear path they would go up to Shang Tsung's fake laboratory, but they would not tell that Reiko was there with more soldiers and the centaur. Reiko, stop them! Serious. The officers and the Umgadis would fight with the soldiers, but they could not against the centaur, and Sindelo and Reiko would see each other face to face. Music for the environment, smiley face. Sindel, I'm not surprised you joined Shao's betrayal. You must know it will cost you your life. Seriously. Reiko, I owe you mine and more. Such a sacrifice in your service will be an honor, with an arrogant smile. Please put the music at 018 for a better experience, smiley face. Fight. Reiko would launch herself towards Sindel, but she would use her hair catching Reiko's feet and would lift him up to start whipping him against the ground, causing Reiko to start bleeding from her forehead, and then she would send him flying, causing Reiko to crash into a shelf. Reiko would get up and angrily launch herself at Sindel, managing to hit her, but that hit would make Sindel enraged, and she would scream at Reiko, causing Reiko to start bleeding from her ears, complaining of the pain, and she would not recover because Sindel would start slapping her. Sindel would continue slapping Reiko until Reiko would grab Sindel by the head and headbutt her, making Sindel stop slapping her and be somewhat stunned, and this would take advantage of Reiko to hit Sindel in the stomach and a right hook, and would try to grab her arm to subdue her, but before being able to hit her, Sindel would use her hair grabbing Reiko by the arms and would pull them, making Reiko scream in pain, and would dislocate her arms, leaving Reiko vulnerable. Sindel would take advantage of the fact that Reiko couldn't use her arms and would start whipping her with her hair as if it were a whip, leaving several marks of lashes on Reiko's body, but it wasn't over yet, and she would grab Reiko by the neck with her hair, and then grab her jaw, and with a quick movement she would break it, causing Reiko's jaw, making her scream in pain, stifled by not being able to speak well, and she would throw him to the ground to start whipping him several times until Reiko was knocked out and with a large wound showing the skull bone, and then whip him and leave him lying there. Sindel wins. End of music. Sindel, your rebellion will fail seriously. Sindel still couldn't be calm since Rain and Shao would arrive, who would kill the Umgadi quickly. Rain. Music for the environment, smiley face. Sindel, your betrayal is the one that hurts the most. Rain. You were like a daughter to me, disappointed. Rain, I've surpassed you, Empress. Shang Tsung said I'd barely unleashed a shred of my power, and that to unleash it, I'd have to break free of your limits. Seriously. Please put the music at 014 for a better experience, smiley face. Fight. Rain would summon a water bubble, trapping Sindel, and when the bubble exploded, Rain hooked Sindel, causing her to fly a little and Sindel to fall abruptly to the ground. Sindel would get up annoyed, and before Rain created a water tornado, Sindel would scream, making Rain stun, who complained about the scream, and Sindel took the opportunity to grab her by the legs and pull her legs apart, causing Rain to do a kind of split, making her scream in pain, and before she continued screaming in pain she would be slammed hard into a wall, leaving a hole, and Rain was stunned. Rain would try to recover from the blow but would not see that Sindel was approaching, quickly pushing herself with her hair, and Sindel would hit Rain's breasts, causing her to complain of pain. Sindel would try to take Rain's staff, but Rain, seeing that, would get angry and would hit Sindel's teeth hard with the staff, breaking some of her teeth, and Sindel would give a small cry of pain, and furious would take Rain's arm and with surprising strength would take Rain's fingers and bend them, breaking Rain's fingers, who would give a cry of pain and grab Sindel's hair to headbutt her. Sindel would be a little dazed but would recover quickly, and would see that Rain was going to create 2 walls of water to crush Sindel, but she would scream, breaking the walls, and would take Sindel's arm with her hair and break her arm, causing Rain to scream in pain and leave her cane, and this took advantage of Sindel to take Rain's cane and would begin to hit her on the head several times while Rain fell to the ground being beaten brutally, and once she ended up fainted on the ground, Sindel would not stop and continued hitting her with her head, leaving Rain in serious condition, and decided to leave Rain, who was already half dead. Sindel wins. End of music. Sindel, to me, you're dead forever, seriously. Shao continued fighting with the Umgadi, headbutting one of them, causing the Umgadi to become stunned while bleeding, but Shao used his axe to amputate an arm, killing the Umgadi, and ended up cutting the neck of another Umgadi. Then he would see Sindel. Music for the environment, smiley face. Shao, your reign is over, Sindel smiling. Sindel, I remember how weak and sickly you were as a child and how your father struggled to help you cope with your weaknesses. And now you repay him by spitting on his ideals. Your revolt destroys every value he held dear. Angrily, please put the music at 013 for a better experience, smiley face. Fight. Shao would launch himself towards Sindel with his axe to try to kill Sindel, but she would use her hair to stop Shao but would not take into account that Saho would break free from Sindel's hair and would hit Sindel hard in the face, sending her flying, crashing her against a bookshelf. Sindel would get up from the blow angry, and would see that Shao was going towards her with great speed, and she would use her hair again, this time grabbing Shao by the horns, and would begin to lift him to hit him in the testicles, causing Shao to scream in pain, and then Sindel would whip him to the ground face first, breaking his mask. Shao would see his mask broken and notice that he was bleeding a little from his forehead, and angrily would launch himself at Sindel, knocking her to the ground, and before he could do anything to her with his axe, Sindel would use her hair, putting it in Shao's mouth, and would put it down to his throat, making Shao try to separate from Sindel, and she would take advantage of this to take the axe away, and would stick it in one of Shao's arms, making him give a muffled scream when he couldn't do anything with Sindel's hair stuck in his mouth, and then Sindel would take out her hair to give a scream towards Shao, causing him to start bleeding from his ears and his eyes to start reddening from the blood, leaving Shao stunned. Sindel would take advantage to take Shao and would start hitting him in the face, and before Shao could defend himself she would use her hair, stopping Shao's arms, and would headbutt him, leaving Shao even more stunned, and Sindel would take advantage of this to hit him in the stomach, leaving Shao without air, and finally Sindel would use her hair to grab Shao's leg to lift him up and would kick him in the testicles, breaking his pelvis, and then she would grab Shao's leg and would give him an elbow, breaking his leg, and Sindel would scream, leaving him on the ground knocked out. Sindel wins. End of music. Sindel, you are relieved, General, seriously. Wukong finished fighting with the remaining soldiers and the centaur, and once he finished fighting he went to Sindel to ask for the amulet. Wukong, the amulet, Your Majesty. Sindel would give the amulet to Wukong, and once Wukong had the amulet he would begin to release power until he would finally free Garas, Kitana and Melina. When Sindel saw Melina and Kitana again she would hug them, and they would hug her back. Wukong, sorry to interrupt, but we must act quickly to save the Earth. Sindel, is that my creator's order? Wukong, no, Your Majesty. It's a friend's request, smiling. Location, Ing Fortress Ruins, Earth. Wukong had already arrived on Earth with Garas, Sindel, Kitana, Melina and Tanya, and they went to the outskirts of the fortress where Issei, Kuai and Teresa were waiting for him, and when they arrived they saw the three waiting for them. Issei/Kuai Teresa, Lord Wukong. Wukong, it's good that you waited for me. At that Sindel, Melina and Kitana would approach to greet Issei, Kuai and Teresa. Sindel, it's a pleasure to see you again, young man. And it's a pleasure to meet your friends. Teresa, it's a pleasure, Empress. Kuai, nice to meet you, Empress. Issei, it's a pleasure to see you again, Empress and princesses. Wukong, and where is Baihan? Seeing that Baihan wasn't there, Issei, Kuai Liang, and Teresa would remain silent. Kuai Liang had an annoyed face while Teresa had a serious face until Issei would finally speak. Issei, Baihan wanted to ally with Shang Tsung, and we had to leave seriously. When Lu Kang heard that, he became serious since Baihan was once again the same arrogant Lin Ke he was in the previous timeline, and that led to his death. Lu Kang, and where is he now? Seriously, Issei, far from the fortress. I had to knock him out and take him to a remote area of the fortress seriously. Lu Kang, okay, then we should do this without Baihan seriously. Sindel, and what's the plan? Seriously, Issei, we must destroy all the soul wells and then we go for Shang Tsung and Quan Chi seriously. Lu Kang, we should go now. If Shang Tsung has too many wells, it's because something big is about to happen. Seriously, everyone would see the fortress as it emitted green lights indicating that they were the soul wells and would prepare to face Shang Tsung. Not knowing that they would discover something worse. In another timeline location, you could see a city that was destroyed, and it looked like it had been destroyed for at least a year. In the destroyed city there were thousands of corpses murdered in grotesque and disgusting ways. One of the places where there were more corpses was a destroyed building that from what remains looked like an academy, and the corpses seemed to be young people, but 4 corpses stood out from the rest since their heads were impaled without the rest of their bodies being 4 women. One with brown pigtails who had no eyes or nose, one with short pink hair who was missing her ears and teeth, another with brown hair and glasses was missing her jaw leaving her tongue exposed to the air, and the one who seemed to be the oldest of them had brown hair who had half the skin on her face leaving half of her bloody face visible. In another place you could see a house that before could be said to be luxurious was now in very bad condition, and inside it were 2 people being a woman and a man of brown hair who were lying dead in a large pool of blood, and the cause of that was that her stomach was open causing some organs to be exposed. The woman looked like she had a drawing by a 4-year-old child, and it was of a family that was stained with blood, and there was a text written on the wall made with blood saying, "Bastard son." And it seemed that before dying they cried not from physical pain but from emotional pain. Place? In another place it looked like a battlefield since there were several mutilated bodies, but something was strange about those bodies since they seemed from a supernatural world. Thousands of corpses could be seen, ranging from children to adults. Despite the deplorable condition of the place, it was clear that before the attack, there were many elegant buildings and some luxurious mansions that now didn't even look like mansions, but rather like war zones. The sight was very grim, but now let's focus on another place where heartrending screams could be heard. A large group of women could be seen lying on the ground. Most of the women were dead, and the few who remained alive were in agony. There were women with silver hair, blonde hair, red hair, and black hair. All those who had died in grotesque ways. Some had their organs outside, others had their heads nailed to the wall with swords, others had a hole in their chests indicating the lack of their hearts, and others were mutilated without arms or legs. The few that remained tried to get up since they had several broken bones and cried in pain, but their suffering would soon end since someone threw fireballs at them, burning them completely. A black-haired woman with one demon wing and another fallen angel wing screamed in pain. Health. WHYY. Senpi. They all screamed as they felt the fire that was burning them spread throughout their bodies and how the fire entered and burned their organs until finally they no longer felt pain and stopped screaming because they had died. All the women had now died on the spot. But one still remained. That woman had red hair and eyes, or rather, light blue eyes since a bleeding hole could be seen in her missing eye. It was obvious she was exhausted and badly injured. She was trying to approach a person with the intention of hugging him, but that would be her worst mistake. Please sorry AG Charar. Before the red-headed woman could finish speaking, the being grabbed her neck tightly and with a strong pull tore off her head with the vertebrae hanging, and the redhead's dead body fell to the ground. When the being finished killing the woman, he felt great satisfaction because he felt great hatred towards the city he destroyed and the beings he killed. His satisfaction would not last long since a man wearing blue clothes and a blue mask would speak to the being. Hey Issei. Are you done killing these beings? Lord Shang Tsung is waiting for us to go to Liu Kang's line. Issei. Yes, I'm done seeing the redhead's corpse. That being who killed the woman was Issei from Shang Tsung's temporary alliance, who had a wardrobe similar to that of the Issei we know, with the difference that this Issei managed to take revenge on the supernatural world, the city of Kuoh and his former brothers. Evil Issei looked at the corpses of the girls with satisfaction. He remembered how they asked him to return when they humiliated him before. Evil Issei. Finally I was able to get revenge on these vermin. They deserved it for what they did to me and for what they did to her. Angry. The reason why Evil Issei killed the supernatural world was because he not only suffered the same as the Issei we know, he also saw the death of the only woman and person who loved him. She was Mio. When Evil Issei left Tartarus he met Mio again, and she asked him not to take revenge on them. But one day when Evil Issei went to get water he saw Successor killing Mio with a sword and let Mio die. Issei, seeing his beloved dead, was filled with fury, and Shang Tsung appeared telling him to help him kill the factions in exchange for joining him, to which Evil Issei accepted, and from that day on he made the city of Kuoh and the supernatural world a true hell, without knowing that Shang Tsung disguised himself as Successor. The story of the revelation of the truths of Issei's brothers was the same, with the difference that they managed to find Menma and executed him the moment they found him. When Evil Issei finally appeared, everyone was happy to see him again, but the first thing Evil Issei did was decapitate Izami and Arisu, and then tell them to take revenge for everything. And so it was that Evil Issei made everyone suffer for 1 year, until now that he managed to kill all those who made him suffer. Now that he knew that there was a timeline different from his own, he wanted to see if his version of that line also suffered. Evil Issei, let's see if my cheap imitation of Liu Kang has also suffered. I would love to fight him and kill him, smiling sinisterly. In that, Evil Issei would see some bodies that he himself chained to torture them, and they looked lifeless. The beings that were chained were Successor, Azazel, Michael, Yasaka, Odin, Zeus, Shiva and Are. All the faction leaders were there with gaunt and lifeless appearances, but the one who looked the worst was Successor, since his face was burned and only his teeth and the holes where his eyes were could be seen, while his entire face was nothing more than his skull with blood. Evil Issei would leave with a group of people who were the evil doubles of the timeline belonging to Evil Issei, and each one had a goal in mind: killing their versions that Liu Kang did. End of chapter. Next chapter, Scorpion vs. Scorpion.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.